people than the seniors served by Meals on Wheels. As a volunteer, you deliver a hot, nutritious meal and a friendly hello to someone just like your mother, grandfather, or next door neighbor. These seniors are inspiring people with incredible stories to share, and they love to see you. The smiles you get back are priceless. Delivering with Meals on Wheels is easy, and you don't have to drive like me for it to be quick. You can volunteer your lunch break once a week or just once a month. With 1 in 6 seniors facing hunger and many more living in isolation, your lunch break can make a real difference. So, America, let's do lunch. Volunteer your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
Okay, Simon, what are you wearing right now?
Nothing.
That's right. And what do people normally wear?
Clothes.
Exactly. So now Mommy's going to teach you how to dress yourself. Clothes keep us warm, they look good, and if we go out without them, the neighbors will talk. So it's important to know how to get dressed. Here's how it's done. Underwear always comes first, name tag at the back, then pants, then shirt. Get the first button in the right hole or you have to start all over. If you're wearing a tie, it goes over, round, through, and pull tight. Tuck your shirt into your pants and zip up your flap. Socks going first, then shoes right on right, left on left. With shoelaces, just take the ends, cross them over, switch the loops. The rabbit goes down the hole, pull tight, and you're left with bunny ears.
I love bunnies.
Good to know. Now remember, spots don't go with stripes, socks don't go with sandals, and if you've tucked in your shirt, wear a belt. Got it? Why are your pants on your head?
Most parenting is hard to do in just 2 minutes. But spending just 2 minutes twice a day making sure they brush their teeth is easier and could help save them from a lifetime of tooth pain. For fun 2-minute videos to watch while brushing, visit 2min2x.org. That's 2min2x.org. A message from the Partnership for Healthy Mouths, Healthy Lives, and the Ad Council.
So you see, son, good manners are very, very important. Someday, many years from now, when you're a grown-up, you'll be a man. And when you are, you should be a gentleman. Do you want me to go through it one more time?
Yes.
Yes, please.
Yes, please.
Exactly. Always say please, thank you, you're welcome, and excuse me. Sit up straight, hold doors open for ladies. If a door's shut, then knock first. Don't burp, don't swear, don't speak with your mouth full, don't reach across people's plates, keep your elbows off the table.
What table?
And don't interrupt. While we're at it, don't stare, don't use foul language, don't call people names, but do remember people's names. Always share your toys, play nice, and cover your mouth when you cough or sneeze. On the bus, give up your seat to anyone who has trouble standing. Bottom line, treat others the way you'd like to be treated. Got it?
Got it.
And stop picking your nose.
Most parenting is hard to do in just 2 minutes. But spending just 2 minutes twice a day making sure they brush their teeth is easier and could help save them from a lifetime of tooth pain. For fun 2-minute videos to watch while brushing, visit 2min2x.org. That's 2min2x.org. A message from the Partnership for Healthy Mouths, Healthy Lives, and the Ad Council.
Hey, there he is. How's it going?
I'm having a stroke.
Are you going to shake my hand or what?
I'm having a stroke.
Wow, you're not even moving your arm.
I'm having a stroke.
Are you okay?
I'm having a stroke.
Your face looks weird too.
I'm having a stroke.
Are you having a seizure or something?
I'm having a stroke.
When someone is having a stroke, they may not be able to say it with words, but their body language will tell you loud and clear.
I'm having a stroke.
You just need to know the sudden signs. Look for FAST, F-A-S-T. F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. Or S, speech difficulty. Then T, time. Time to call 911 immediately, because the sooner they get to the hospital, the sooner they'll get treatment. And that can make a remarkable difference in their recovery. Know the sudden signs. Face, arm, speech, time. Spot a stroke fast. Visit strokeassociation.org. Brought to you by the American Stroke Association and the Ad Council.
The average time a resume spends on an HR manager's desk is 7 seconds, and most of them are tossed aside. Now imagine if one of those resumes belonged to Yasmin, who was
living in a shelter, juggling 3 jobs. I had to be resilient. That's something that you can't teach.
Or if that resume was from someone who
worked 12-hour shifts at the recycling company with my dad, who's 72. That taught me a work ethic that I carry with me every day.
We rely so much on a resume, yet it could never tell the full story of someone.
Growing up where I did, a lot of things could have gotten in the way of my goals. But I learned to push through, and that's what I bring to work every day.
So maybe it's time we look beyond the resume and look to Grads of Life. Discover new ways to develop great talent that are so much more than what's on paper at gradsoflife.org. A public service announcement brought to you by Grads of Life and the Ad Council.
Saturday, August 28th, add it to your calendar. The Sports Betting Channel presents To Be Determined, Our new show starts at 8 o'clock out here in San Diego, 11 o'clock in New York, and then we're done just in time for the first game kickoffs for college football. You're going to get 4 totally different slices of sports. Blackhawk West joins us for Saturdays in Canada and some plays for the CFL game. What do you do when the easy sports data is trending in opposite directions? Well, Mo's going to help us decide what to do on Something's Gotta Give. There's also Paulo's plays. Now, if you're not betting soccer, you really should be. And this guy is very, very good. Finally, there's Wake and Bake, where sports betting meets marijuana. Hey, the games start early here in Southern California. Now, 9 o'clock's a lot easier when marijuana is legal. It's like having 4 shows in one. Check it out Saturday, August 28th on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network, on the Belly Up Sports Podcast Network, and on the Sports Betting Channel.
Be fearless at MMA Long Island and Seituha Karate. Located at 28 Colt Court in Ronkonkoma, MMA Long Island is the martial arts school for you if you want to learn combat-proven techniques, build confidence, discipline, and self-esteem while learning real martial arts to fight back against bullies, predators, and peer pressure. MMA Long Island offers group and private lessons for all ages and levels in traditional Goju-Ryu Karate, MMA, and self-defense. MMA Long Island is one of Long Island's most affordable martial arts schools. There are no promotion, belt, or membership fees, and family discounts are available. All classes are taught by 7th degree black belt Sensei John Benedict with over 30 years teaching experience. So whether you want to get in the ring or protect yourself and your family, MMA Long Island can help you reach your goals. Visit MMALongIsland.com. That's MMALongIsland.com or call or text 516-381-9660. That's 516-381-9660.
Do current market conditions have you nervous? Our experienced team of financial professionals at Heritage Harbor Financial Associates understands that no two investors are alike. We all have different goals, needs, and appetites for risk. That's why the one-size-fits-all approach does not work, especially when planning for retirement. At Heritage Harbor Financial Associates, we analyze your unique investment style so that you can work toward your individual retirement goals on your terms. Heritage Harbor Financial Associates can help you take steps to reach your retirement goals by providing a wide array of financial products to fit your needs, even for the risk adverse. Give us a call at 631-331-6599 to learn more or to set up an appointment with one of our financial professionals. You can also find us on the web at hhfa.org or on Facebook at facebook.com/hhfa.org. Our number again is 631-331-6599. That's 631-331-6599. Investments in stock, bonds, and mutual funds and variable annuities are not FDIC insured and are subject to fluctuation in value market risk, including loss of principal. Heritage Harbor Financial Associates offers securities through AXA Advisors LLC, New York, New York. Member FINRA, SIPC, annuity and insurance products offered through AXA Network LLC.
Edward Lehman has been a trusted insurance advisor for over 16 years with insurance solutions for auto, home, commercial, life, and retirement. He's located at 54 Sunnyside Boulevard, Suite H in Plainview. That's just 1,000 feet south of 495. Local agent, local advice. The time to think about insurance is before you need it. So do yourself a favor, and before you pay your next insurance bill, give Ed and his team a call, 516-935-3900, or visit him online at www.allstate.com/EL. Edward H. Lehman Insurance is your trusted insurance advisor.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
What are you talking about?
No, it's not him. There's only one more. There is only one more. That's it. One more.
Get a rest!
No!
They saw your team put up zero effort.
Wake up!
Remember in the old days they used to have oxygen for them. Where's the oxygen?
Play like absolute just garbage. This is the Sports Loudmouths.
Yay!
Man, can you keep it down? I'm trying to introduce here. With Errol Marks, Speedy Petey, and Tyler Harrison.
You're not even a has-been. You're a never was. You're a never was. You're a never was.
We are back, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Sports Loudmouths. I'm your host, Errol Marks. My co-host, Speedy Dan Petey, and obviously Tyler Mothball, a.k.a. Giant Fan Harrison. Remember, you can call us at 631-672-3108. You can go to our website at www.worldwide WWSRNsportsradio.com. Download our app by going to iOS, WWSRN or Android, Worldwide Sports Radio Network. Wow. It has been a long week. We had a great week number 2, not for the Jets and the Giants, but all in all, it was a great week of football. The New York Yankees are now tied right now in the last wild card spot. We will get into the Yankees a little bit later. The Mets look like absolute garbage. So we'll get into the Mets a little bit later in the show. We will get into the Red Sox and the Rays. And today, that Blue Jays and Rays fight where all the benches completely emptied. So we'll get into that a little bit later. The whole Manny Machado, a.k.a. Tatis thing, which we didn't get into last week. Manny Machado saying what he felt. It's not about you. It's about the team. Very interesting for Manny Machado when Manny Machado was all about himself when he was on Baltimore.
Yeah.
So we will get into that a little bit later as well. We will also get into this Ben Simmons saga, which he has come out and said to his agent, he will not play this year and he will not practice with the team or train with the team until he gets traded. So the Ben Simmons story keeps on going and going and going. So we'll get into that a little bit later as well. We will also, ladies and gentlemen, get into more than you think with the Islanders as they added Zdeno Chara over last week, adding another defenseman to their team. I believe a Stanley Cup competitive team going into the new year. I think Lou Lamoriello, and by the way, Lou Lamoriello coming out and saying that he is mandating every single player on the team to get the COVID-19 test and get the shots. If they don't, they will not play on that team. So mandating. As everybody knows what Lou Lamoriello. Speedy, put my headsets up a little bit. So we hear that about Lou Lamoriello. But first things first, I want to get into week number 2. By the way, this whole thing with the Long Island girl, obviously everybody knows the story. They're trying to find this kid, Brian.
He's a douchebag.
Well, obviously, it's a crazy story. Petito, right? Her last name is Petito, if I'm not mistaken.
I actually worked with her uncle.
I'm sorry?
I worked with her uncle.
Really?
Oh, really? Yeah.
It's a shame. It's a sad story. And
if anyone knows who this guy is and you don't call the cops, you might as well just go with him.
Well, obviously, I was reading a story, and I could pull up the story right now. And his parents had...
his parents in jail.
I understand that, but his parents had some kind of what do they call that? Humvees or something like that? Not Humvees. Those big trucks that you have a kitchen in it. What's it?
Winnebago.
A Winnebago. Supposedly, the Winnebago that his parents owned has magically disappeared. So, so
Dad's
obviously
missing, the son's missing.
Obviously, the parents are trying to hide their son.
Carl says the girl is from the town just north of me in Florida.
Yeah, and by the way, she's from Long Island, New York.
She is from Long Island.
Blue Point. I actually know the godmother of the girl. My sister it's my sister's hairdresser. So it's a sad story. Hopefully they find this kid. A lot of people think he's going to kill himself. He's not going to. If he didn't kill himself yet, he's not killing himself now. So it's just a scary, disgusting story. First of all, and I don't want to get into this too much into the show because it's a sports radio show. When the police pulled them over in Wyoming, and they knew that he was swerving, supposedly he claimed that she hit him. They should have taken her away from him. And I think for the night, for 24 hours, she stayed in another hotel room and he was in another hotel, and then they got back together after within 24 hours. But to me, the parent, first of all, there's no reason why the cops should have let these two get back together. Yeah, they did. 24 hours. They kept them away from each other for how did she die? He killed her.
No, I understand. But what I'm saying is, what else were they supposed to do?
Ben says one of his parents' vehicles was completely wiped down after being gone on a trip with the parents for a few days.
Mm-hmm. And they found her body. Obviously, they're doing an autopsy. It is the DNA came back. It is her body. Now they got to figure out how she was killed. If she was strangled, she was shot, she was tortured. Who knows?
I think he threw her off a cliff.
You think he threw her off a cliff? Did they find her right next to a cliff?
I don't know. I don't know where they found her, but
They found her buried. I think he buried her. So he
I
buried
try
her.
not to read too much into this shit, but this guy, listen. There's sickos, and then there's guys that deserve to live and get their ass kicked in jail. And this is literally one of those dudes that when he gets, if he's even alive, I think he killed himself too. But
No, he's still alive. I absolutely
don't
believe
know.
it. Because if he was dead, they would have found the body already.
But if you're alive and your parents are in jail, you turn yourself in.
Really?
I think so.
He's running for his life.
Would you let your mom go to jail for something?
The only reason why they're in jail right now is because they don't want them to help him. That's why they're in jail. And they're trying to make sure that
they're hiding
the
a
FBI.
fugitive.
The FBI is trying to find them.
That's
and
a federal crime.
usually when the FBI gets involved, they usually find the person. So I believe they will find him. It might take a little bit longer than usual. He can't hide in Mexico because I've watched enough different
the
shows.
border right now is crowded. He ain't getting through there.
No, even if he gets through the border, they'll find him. They'll find him. Somebody will sight him or see his face one way or another, and they'll catch him. They always do. So there's really no way. He can go to Canada because a lot of people think that's where he's going to head. Vancouver, he can cross the border. He can do all that. They'll find him. They'll find him. But it's just a sad situation. It really is. How about the two girls that were found also murdered? The two lesbians. They found them within 15 to 12 mile vicinity of where they found her body.
They think he did that too.
Here's the thing. I don't know the whole story, and until they find him, I don't think anybody's going to get the right information about what happened, except when he tells them if they find him, and I believe they will. So, to me, I believe that she saw him. This is my thought. She saw him murder these two ladies, and then she threatened him that when she gets back home, she's going to tell the authorities what he did.
Yeah, Carl thinks the same thing. He thinks he killed them also.
Mm-hmm. And obviously he was doing drugs, he was drinking, whatever he was doing. And she was crying when they pulled her over. If you watch the video, the hour and 15-minute video that's on YouTube.
You can tell she's shook.
Yeah, she was scared. He was swerving. He hit the curb. I mean, it was in Wyoming. And by the way, I think the death penalty is over there in Wyoming. So if they catch him, they got to bring him back to Wyoming. I think the death penalty is there.
No,
so
he won't die.
Carl says true crime with Errol Marks.
I wouldn't say true crime, but I feel bad for the girl and her family. Obviously,
right.
It's a shame, and unfortunately, in the situation that this all happened, and it happened so fast, the fact that they haven't found him yet is disgraceful by the FBI. I think
disgraceful they didn't throw him in jail.
Well, they didn't know that he killed her. So obviously came back. If you're coming back with your fiance, if you're coming back without your fiance, obviously you think something happened to her, but he claims she ran off. By the way, Mike Eilers, aka the Beeve, says my sister works with her mother. It's sad. It's a sad situation.
It's local. It's really local.
Yeah. It's a shame. And they actually lived in Florida, and they're from Blue Point. Her family lives in Blue Point. His family lives in Blue Point. And it's just a sad situation. I think when you look at the big picture right now, you just never know. You never know who is capable of murdering somebody, killing somebody. And what the stories that are coming out from Blue Point in high school, some of his friends said he was quiet. He was a nice guy. Nobody would ever dream that he would be a murderer or kill somebody.
But isn't that like the cliche response?
What do you mean? Cliche?
I feel like everyone always says that. No one ever says, yeah, we thought he'd kill the girl. Yeah, no one ever says that. You know what I mean? I feel like that's what everyone said. Oh, our friend did that? Oh, God. I'll give you a perfect example. There's a kid that I went to college with. What the hell was his name? I can't remember his name, but I know.
He killed somebody?
He killed his mother.
Mm-hmm.
He drowned her in a pool. And when the FBI asked him what he did, he was like, oh, man, she was a lot stronger than I thought. She resisted really hard. Now I'm laughing because it's sick, but I'll tell you right now, I wasn't surprised. I was more like, God damn, I can't believe he actually did something like this. I wasn't surprised though, because the kid acted crazy in class.
But that has nothing to do with a story like this. These two people, two kids that were in love, they traveled around the country. They were what were they doing? They like to what do they like to climb mountains or something like that. They like to trail. They like to take trails and stuff like that. The fact is that the story's coming out from her parents that he was very abusive. What people are saying that he didn't have an abusive soul in his body. So it doesn't make any sense. If they catch him and they catch the kid, I'd like to know the full story on how this happened. Why did this happen? What was behind on what he did and why he did it? I mean, it's disgusting. And where he left her was despicable too. This is a person that you loved.
Carl says, yeah, seeing her dad plead in interviews is tough. Local there and local here is sad in a small world. And yeah, Tyler's point is true. Just like when there is a shooter and the first person interviewed always says, sounded like fireworks.
Well, I don't know if she was shot. I think she was strangled. That's what I think. Mostly, when you hear stories like this, the woman gets strangled. And supposedly somebody saw him with a shovel with her truck somewhere in Wyoming, and he was burying her. So obviously he didn't bury her too far because somebody found her and they found the body. So it's just disgusting. It's a disgusting story. Hopefully they find this kid and hopefully they drop the hammer on him because he absolutely deserves it. It's disgusting. And right now in Blue Point, they have her favorite color is pink. They have ribbons all over Blue Point. So if you actually go into the town of Blue Point, you'll see ribbons on every single light in Blue Point. So, and Blue Point's not a big place. It's not a big town.
No.
It's just, by the way, Carl says, yeah, that video was chilling if it was true. So I believe it was true. I want to know how he killed her. The video that they had, the 1:16 video that they had on YouTube when she was crying, when the cops pulled her over, that video.
Oh, it's an hour. It's like an hour long.
That's what he's talking about.
Oh, you said a minute. So I was like, I'm confused. But no, the whole thing, that video was very... I
didn't say a minute.
Carl
just said, yeah, the video was chilling. And I said, the hour and 12-minute video, I said an hour and 12-minute or hour and 16-minute video. And by the way, Jeff says he doesn't live far from me, from Florida. And but anyways, I don't want to get too deep into this story. We will obviously, as the story starts to move, we will talk more about it. It's just a sad situation and disgusting, absolutely disgusting. I want to get into the NFL in week number 2. And let's go into the Jets and Patriots game first, and then we'll get into the Giants game. Obviously, the fans liking and deciding to still point their fingers at Daniel Jones. I have no idea. Daniel Jones was one of the best quarterbacks.
Who's blaming Daniel Jones?
A lot of people. Go read social media. If you're not, your head's not so deep into the Yankees underpants, you would know that the Giant fans are still pointing fingers that Daniel Jones is not the quarterback of the future.
Well,
and it makes no sense.
Two truths can be true.
Yeah, no, two truths don't mean it's true. But anyways, I want to get into the Jets game. And what we saw in week number 2 with Zach Wilson is a young quarterback, and he put himself into situations to fail. He threw the ball in coverage that made absolutely no sense. And honestly, when you look at where the Jets are right now, and they're rebuilding, and I'm not making any excuses for Zach Wilson for throwing 4 interceptions in a game. It's a bad game for a quarterback. But he is a rookie quarterback. And when you start a rookie quarterback and you're not playing Denzel Mims and you don't even give good information or any information on why you're not starting him, and you say that Braxton Berrios is practicing better and Smith is played better at practices, these two guys are nowhere close to the talent in Denzel Mims. Denzel Mims is 6'3", 6'2", runs a 40 and 4.3. None of these guys can run a 40 and 4.3 except
But if he's not
obviously,
playing well in practice, what do you want them to do?
I do not believe that's true. Obviously, if you read what all the writers are saying at practices, Denzel Mims all week has looked the best out of all the wide receivers. So if he looks the best, why isn't he playing? Why are they giving him a healthy scratch? Because they don't like him. Now, obviously, they don't think he fits the offense. But even though, did Julio Jones fit the Atlanta Falcons offense? The answer is no. He didn't. What are you making faces? He didn't.
I don't know. He was just like Roddy White, except faster.
Really? How many coaches did the Atlanta Falcons go through when what's his name again was there? How many coaches?
Only two. Only
Dan Quinn, and Mike Smith.
Mike Smith.
And now they have another one. That's 3 coaches.
Well, he's with Tennessee now.
Yeah, I understand that. There's 3 coaches. He had 2 coaches, and honestly, when Mike Smith was there, they had to work Julio Jones into the offense. He didn't fit the offense. And if you read the story and if you hear what Bart Scott said in the interview after the whole situation with Denzel Mims, and he said that when Denzel Mims wakes up in the morning and he puts on his sneakers, he's better than half the wide receivers on this team, this Jet team.
That might be true.
But when you look at the Jets right now, they have no offense. Their offense, obviously, Elijah Moore has not looked, and I obviously he didn't start the preseason. He didn't play any preseason game. He wasn't healthy. Either was Denzel Mims. Really, all preseason long, he had no preseason. But Elijah Moore is playing every single game. He's practically involved with almost every single snap. And Denzel Mims, because he doesn't fit in every position, he doesn't understand the slot position in the West Coast offense, and he doesn't understand what the 1 and 2 on the outside does in the offense, they're sitting him. They're giving him a healthy scratch. Now, again, we could go back and forth of where the Jets are. Offensively, if you're not scoring touchdowns, now how many points did they score in week number 2? How many points? 6. They scored 6 points in week number 2. Now, don't you think when Elijah Moore, Braxton Berrios, Smith, all these different guys, Corey Davis, none of them could do anything in the offense. Don't you think that you should have Denzel Mims on the sidelines so you could put him in the 4th quarter and see what he can do? Because they obviously couldn't do anything the whole game against that defense.
No, because if the whole 4th quarter, that game was over. So if you put him in the 4th quarter and that guy does anything to go, oh, why didn't you play him the whole time? Now you look like
they look like idiots right now.
Well, not
the press
really.
is attacking him. Yes. Robert Saleh, if you're watching the press conferences all week, I'm a Jet fan, so I watch the press conference.
I'm sure.
The first thing they're saying is, why isn't Denzel Mims playing? That's the first thing.
And his answer is?
He hasn't looked the part in practices. Meanwhile, the press sees him catching touchdowns, catching balls in the practices. So how could you say that this kid cannot catch the ball? He's not playing well at the practices. Meanwhile, he's been the best guy on the field the last 2 weeks.
Well, the head coach, I think, knows a little bit better than the reporters.
The head coach don't like him, and that's what it seems like. Well, and they're looking to move him. And I'm guaranteeing this. They're going to trade Denzel Mims. Denzel Mims is going to go to another team, and he's going to be an all-star Pro Bowl wide receiver.
Well, isn't that what always happens? They leave the Jets and get better?
No. It's the Jets being stupid. And Robert Saleh being stupid. And Mike LaFleur, and listen, he's not Matt LaFleur until he proves himself as an offensive coordinator. He needs to put every possible good offensive player on the field. And by the way, Zach Wilson needs to learn when he stays in the pocket and he doesn't have any person to throw to in the open field to throw the ball away.
Or run.
Throw the ball away. He had no chance to run. Their offensive line can't protect him. They looked horrendous against the Patriots.
It's also the Patriots.
Oh, come on, man.
The Patriots front seven is not loaded, though.
No, but the Bill Belichick knows how to get in the Jets. I mean, that's Belichick.
That's true.
Belichick absolutely schemed this team up to perfection. So I think you're overreacting just a second.
I'm not overreacting. You're a professional football team. That's what you are.
And you got Belichick. It's okay.
Okay, you got Belichick. Belichick played last week. Did they win? Did they win last week against Miami? They didn't. Against Tua,
no.
Okay? And Tua's a horrible quarterback.
He is. But at the same point in time, they only lost by a point.
It doesn't matter. They lost.
Mac Jones' inefficiency is what did that, and the fact Damian Harris can't run.
First of all, Mac Jones' efficiency was great in week number 1. His efficiency in week number 2 was great.
200 yards.
Was great.
He's over 200 yards.
It doesn't matter. The way they're using him, they don't have to throw 200 yards. All he has to do is be efficient. If he's efficient, they have a chance to win.
Like you said, they put up 16 points against the Dolphins. And again, that's familiarity with Flores and everything like that. So I'm not I'm shocked they lost. How they lost, but I'm not.
I'm not shocked.
Surprised.
Miami always played well against them. And by the way, Tua is a horrible quarterback. And we could go back and forth. He didn't look good. Mac Jones was better on the field in week number 1. Mac Jones was obviously better in week number 2. He only thrown 186 yards, but you don't need to throw 300 yards to be a top quarterback in this league.
No, but
all you got to do is be efficient.
You need a quarterback, and this is the problem with Lamar Jackson. You need a guy that can make a big play with his arm.
Lamar Jackson looked pretty damn good
with
against
his
Kansas
legs.
City. No,
with
he
his
threw
legs.
over 300 yards.
No, he didn't.
Yes, he did.
He
Go to the game.
had 300 total yards.
Yeah, he had 300 yards thrown. I'm pretty sure he had close to 300 yards in that game. And by the way, you could say whatever you want about Lamar Jackson. He just beat the best team in football. Okay,
He played the Buccaneers.
No, he beat Kansas City.
Second best team.
Yeah, no, I don't think that. First of all, the Buccaneers are not the best team in football.
No, they're undefeated in the
Now they are. But going into week number 2, the best team in football was Kansas City. Now, obviously, watching the Jet game, and I didn't watch the whole Jet game because I was doing other things. I was running around taking care of some stuff, obviously, with my hip surgery. 239. Okay. And Lamar Jackson was consistent. He was the big part of the reason why Baltimore won that game.
He's also a big reason why that game was close.
Really?
Yes.
I don't know what you're talking about.
He threw two very bad picks.
He threw two very bad picks in the first half. And the second half, he dominated the game. He outplayed your
his legs.
Pat Mahomes. Listen, you win no matter how much. You can use your legs. You can use your arm. This is football. You can win the game.
And correct me if I'm wrong. Ain't I the only one that picked the Ravens to win that game?
No, I picked the Ravens to win.
He did pick the Ravens.
I picked the Ravens to win too. So, and by the way, I won this week in picks. I'm pretty sure I did.
I have to check if you were over or under, but I'm pretty sure you were.
I won in the picks. But again, going back into week number 2 with the Jets, the quarterback play has got to be better. Zach Wilson didn't make any excuses. The press has been attacking him all week, as well as they should. And I'm sure Zach Wilson, when he came out and said at the press conference, he said that I got to learn how to throw the ball away when I'm in trouble. And he does. And this was the same problem Mark Sanchez had early in his career. And it ruined his career. Now, obviously, Zach Wilson's more talented than Mark Sanchez is. He's probably the most talented quarterback the Jets had since Joe Namath. But just because of talent, just how much you can have all the talent in the world, if you don't get your feet set and you don't put you use your strengths to your advantage, you're never going to win. And what we saw in week number 2 was the Jets just play absolutely horrible offense. Corey Davis couldn't catch the ball. Elijah Moore couldn't catch the ball. And when you watch all these guys, none of them can get open. Don't you think that if you see all these guys can't catch the ball, can't get open, don't you think that you should have a guy like Denzel Mims on the sideline who is faster than any one of these guys? He is faster. He's actually even faster than Elijah Moore. Okay? He's longer.
But Brails is fast, isn't he?
What happened?
No,
he's not. He's
not.
Doesn't run a 4.3.
No, not 4.3. He's a good returner, good quickness, but not 4.3 speed. Carl says, meanwhile, Wilson just threw another pick. Gina Marie says, love you, Errol XO. Snug says, Zach Wilson started off 2 for 2. He was killing it. Gina Marie says, go Speedy, go. Carl says, ha ha. Jeff says, we saw the best offensive line in football. JETS, Jets. Snug says, Speedy is the man. Robbie Anderson and Sam Darnold looking pretty good. Carl says, only 4 of 18 draft picks from 2018 to present on the field. No bueno. Snug says,
and I'm going to, by the way, before you finish up what people are writing, Sam Darnold looked good in week number 2. But when you have a Christian McCaffrey, everybody will look good. Christian McCaffrey is the best catching running back in the league. And if you look at the majority of the throws, which actually Eric Martini, we went out to dinner today, and he brought 90% or 85 or 86% of Sam Darnold's passes are to Christian McCaffrey. Now, to me, it doesn't really matter. He's still making the passes. He's still obviously efficient throwing it to Christian McCaffrey. But when you have a weapon like that, any one of these quarterbacks will be successful. Now, that doesn't take away how good Sam Darnold has looked, and he's playing the Texans in week number 3 on Thursday Night Football, so that's almost a guaranteed win. So they're going to go 3-0 in a division where nobody thought that they were going to be as good as they are early in the season. But their schedule gets a little bit harder in the middle of the season, and we'll see what Sam Darnold could do against really good defenses. Right now, We have, and the Saints are a good defensive team. And I know a lot of people are going to say, well, the Saints are very good. Yeah, the Saints are very, very good. But they also have Jameis Winston as their quarterback. And as good as Jameis Winston looked in week 1 against the Green Bay Packers, and he looked good, Jameis Winston chokes. He's not as good as everybody thinks he is. And I want to see Jameis Winston all season long play at the top of his game like he did in week 1. And I don't believe that's happening. So.
Well, he's already 1 for 1, so.
Snug says, I don't know. They went
No,
to
he's
and
not. He's
almost
1 and
won a
1.
Super Bowl.
No, he had a good game and he had an awful game.
Yeah, so he's 1 and 1.
That's what I'm saying. He's 1 and 1.
Snug says,
You
I
said
don't know.
1 for
They went to and almost won a Super Bowl, so I'm not sure that Julio Jones was much of a misfit. Jeff says the offense is terrific. Carl says you better get Mims going because the X position is the only way to attack the Broncos. Ponies corners are solid. Jeff says the O-line is the best in football. ZW is the best QB in the draft, and Mims, Crowder, and Davis are the best receiving core in the AFC East.
No, listen. And by the way, Jeff, he likes to stick these stupid things in. And what do they call this when people post up stupid things? Trolling and stuff like that. I don't care what Jeff says. And me and Jeff had a conversation. He actually called me up and we had a nice conversation. But again, he's bringing up Zach Wilson. This isn't all Zach Wilson's fault on why they didn't win against the Patriots. Okay? Their offensive line can't stop a nosebleed. And yes, I thought the offensive line was going to be very good this year. Elijah Vera Tucker didn't have a preseason. Mekhi Beckham is out now. Morgan Moses came at the end of the preseason. He barely even had a preseason. Okay. All these offensive linemen. Font wasn't even some people thought that the Jets were going to drop Font. Okay. So again, we can move back and forth and say what I thought the Jets offensive line was going to be. So far, it's a complete, utter disgrace right now, what we've seen the Jets offensive line in the first 2 games of the season. Do I think that the offensive line is going to be this bad? No, I don't. I think they'll figure things out as the season progresses, but a little too late. The Jets go down 0-3 or 0-4. The season is over. So does it really matter? No, it doesn't. But I expect this team to get better and better every single week. Robert Saleh's got to get his head out of his ass, and he has to play the best players on the field. And if Denzel Mims is the most talented offensive talent that he has right now sitting on his bench, he should be playing them.
Snug says the Jets scored 6 points, and so far the Red Sox have scored 10 runs tonight. Is the Red Sox offense currently better than the Jets? Carl says seeing droves of fans leaving at 12-minute mark in fourth quarter was fitting. Jeff says the Jets will win the practice Super Bowl, the actual one out of reach. Snug says Robert Saleh was super smart 3 weeks ago. How did he get
I don't know
so
why you laugh
dumb?
at it. It's stupid.
Carl says, I know you watched the video
funny.
of the one play I sent you. 5 linemen beat or blocking each other. Harris was carrying 7 Jets into the end zone. Snug says, you won the Super Bowl last year or 2-0 this year. You have the GOAT at quarterback. What else do you have to do to be the best team? Carl says most pundits said Lamar was the most talented guy on the field that game, Tyler. I think it would be amazing if there was a veteran quarterback in the quarterback room this week, but the Jets are the Jets and didn't bring one in. Snug says it was a bad offense versus a very good defense. Carl says Rodney Peete had Barry Sanders and still looked miserable. Ben said Rodney Peete went to my high school, and Snug says Rodney Peete would have been better with Zeke in the backfield. And now we got Jeff on the phone. Jeff, I know the Mets lost.
What's going on, Jeff?
Errol, how are you?
I'm good.
Tyler, good evening.
Good evening.
Speedy, you're the one I'm fucking coming for right now.
I figured that. I regretted tagging you in the tweet after all that.
No. What you should regret is saying the Patriots front 7 isn't any good. Matthew Judon, by the way, one of the best players in football, right?
Yeah.
Henry
Bentley
Anderson
is solid. Dante Hightower's a stud. I don't know what you're smoking over there, but
right. By the way, and you haven't even gotten to the 4th ranked player in football, all of football, in defensive pressures, quarterbacks hit, and rush percentage. He's only behind Aaron Donald, TJ Watt. I'll have to go look at Mark Daniels' Twitter from the Providence Journal, but those two. Josh Uche is 4th, gets no love. So you saying the Patriots defense is no good, you're a fucking idiot.
I said the front 7 wouldn't have great.
I don't think. I think he used the wrong word.
By the way, when you mention front 7, that includes linebackers. We're going. But Tyler just named them: Juwan Bentley, Hightower, Uche, Matthew Judon, Henry Anderson, who was on the Jets last year, and Errol will attest to this. Henry Anderson
is good.
Was the number 1 rush defender in all of football last year. You are not giving their.
And Jeff, I think
you are not giving them any credit.
I think he used the wrong words. I really do, and that happens.
They came out of his mouth. Defense in the league.
No, and again, and by the way, the Jets defense did not play bad either. The Jets defense is
the Jets defense was very good.
Yeah, and they have a bunch of young players, and And Roberts, with the Jets don't have a pass rush, and that's going to make
they had a really good game plan on defense because the Patriots' offensive line was handicapped with Trent Brown out at right tackle, and they attacked the Patriots on that. They had a really good defensive game plan.
Rankins look really, really good, but
think about this: they intercept Zach Wilson every 4 minutes of the first half.
Yeah, and listen,
and they didn't come away with any points.
No,
they didn't really come away with any points.
And Zach Wilson did not look good, but it's one game.
That wasn't supposed to be a dig at Zach Wilson. It was more of a highlight of when you do turn the ball over, teams, good teams score points over that. The Jets were preventing that.
And this is the NFL. And if Zach Wilson thinks he's going to get away with playing in BYU and throwing the ball up and hoping that his wide receivers are going to catch the ball, that just doesn't happen. But if you had a 6'3" guy that can run a 4.3 and they're sitting him out and they're not playing him on a healthy scratch, it doesn't make sense.
And I love how the Patriots front seven is no good, but they're going to be a top 5 defense in all of football. And by the way, they're also doing it right now without Stephon Gilmore.
Right.
And no one's taking shots at the Patriots. We all know that
Jackson and Jonathan Jones
but I think
make it a top.
I think Speedy used the wrong words.
He didn't. No, I'm judging him on the words he did use.
I think that the Patriots front seven is really good. Their secondary is strong. Obviously with Gilmore there. The problem right now with the Patriots is, even though their quarterback is efficient, could they win with Mac Jones going into the playoffs playing that way? And I don't think so either.
Well, listen, it's possible if their defense holds up. Listen, Trent Dilfer won a Super Bowl. Did Trent Dilfer light the world on fire? No. But we're also talking about a kid that was in his second game in the league. And you and I, like you said, you and I had talked on Sunday, and I did not take shots at the Jets, did I?
No, you didn't.
Right? But I did say to you, Mac Jones is elite as far as this rookie class.
Yes.
Because Mac Jones has no turnovers.
Yes. And again, the Patriots are not putting him in a situation where he's not going to make mistakes. And with Zach Wilson is a young kid, a little cocky. And he believes,
but you're not seeing. You're not seeing the ridiculous throws from Mac Jones.
I would love to hear what's the big thing, Tyler?
Belichick drafted Mac Jones because Belichick knows the type of quarterback he was getting in Mac Jones. He's somebody that's not going to force the ball. If it's not there, he's a game flow. He flows with the game.
If Justin Fields was sitting there at 15, he was drafting Justin Fields.
He'd be doing the same thing.
Yes, he would be drafting
the same thing.
So that's a crock of shit.
That's not what I'm saying.
That's a crock of shit.
They realized it might have been out of their, because they did try to trade up in the draft. They couldn't get anybody to do it. So I'm sure they wanted Justin Fields.
Actually.
They did.
They didn't.
No, they didn't.
They wanted to move up.
No, they didn't, because he had the inside. He had the inside.
They had plenty of opportunity to do it, and their asking price was too high, and they literally said, "No, we're good."
And they were waiting. They knew
that the definition of trying to move up.
They knew a quarterback was going to fall to them at 15. If it wasn't Justin Fields, it was Mac Jones. One of those guys was going to fall to them. He would have drafted either or. And by the way, Justin Fields is nowhere close to the efficient passer that obviously Mac Jones is. The fact is, the way they run their offense, you don't have to be a deep pass thrower. You don't need to do that. You could be efficient throwing 185, 200 yards. We've seen this happen. How many quarterbacks? Jimmy Garoppolo was efficient for six. He was 6-0 with the Patriots. And by the way,
but it's not even just that. You can do it with Tom Brady though too, right? Because they did it with Garoppolo. They did it with Jacoby Brissett when Brady wasn't there. They did it with Matt Castle, right? But the thing is, this is exactly what they did with Brady. When Brady first started in the league, his playbook was super short. They weren't running all types of plays for, they developed Tom Brady into what he could be. And so you gotta kind of look at it like this is Tom Brady. And I'm not saying he's going to be as good as Tom Brady. So this is Tom Brady, like when Tom Brady came in. This is a totally green kid, and they're not trying to overwhelm him with the entire playbook.
No. And if Zach Wilson was on the Patriots, Zach Wilson could do more. He's got the better arm. So the Patriots would love Zach Wilson. If Zach Wilson was behind the line of scrimmage, he could do more than Mac Jones. But the fact is...
That's true, but when you look at what was done, though, Mac Jones isn't making his... And listen, I'm sorry, because I'm not taking shots at Zach Wilson, but some of those interceptions...
No, we were horrible, dude. But we've seen this before. When Lawrence threw 3 interceptions a week before that, week number 1, he looked horrible, too. But again, everybody attacks these quarterbacks because it's the first 2 games of the year, and everybody's thinking, oh, this guy looks terrible. These guys, it takes a while for these guys to develop. And when you start them in the beginning of their career as a rookie quarterback, obviously they're going to have their woes. And Zach Wilson, early in the season, the first game, he looked pretty damn good. The second game, he didn't look good. Maybe this week against the Broncos, he'll look better.
I mean, was it his first 2 throws?
Dude, you hate the Jets and you hate Zach Wilson.
God.
And every time, everything that comes out of your
Broncos defense is good.
Everything
Get
that
the
comes
head out of your ass.
Everything that comes out of your
Their
mouth.
defense is good, but they're not going to be as good this week. I don't know if you saw, but Von Miller is out for 6 weeks.
Bradley Chubb's out for a few weeks. They still got Von
Bradley
Miller.
Chubb? I thought it was Von Miller.
No, Von Miller's playing. Von Miller will play.
Chubbs is out.
Chubb is out. I mean, it's going to be...
And you hate, we all know you hate them.
I don't hate the Jets.
Speedy,
I'm
honestly,
sick of this being a 2-hour Jet show.
No, it's not. We're talking about we're going to go to the Giants and we're going to go through week. And when we get to the Giants, your ass is so far up Saquon Barkley's ass, you think he's just as good as Barry Sanders, which is a joke.
That's not
which is a joke.
That's not what I said.
Which is a joke. You
That's
think
not what I
he's
said.
got all the athletic abilities Barry Sanders. He's
said
not
he's
even
the
close.
only one that I've
no,
seen
he's not. No,
make
he's
cuts
not.
like Barry
No, he's
Sanders.
not. No, he's
That's
not.
what I said.
Kareem Hunt makes cuts like that. We've seen Curtis
Well.
Martin make cuts like that. It's a crock of you know what. Everything that comes out of your mouth, you have your head so far up
but
Saquon
it's true,
Barkley's
though.
ass. No, it's not.
He doesn't make cuts like Sanders?
No, he doesn't.
You just
He's
said
nowhere,
that Current does
he's
it.
nowhere close
and
to
Martin does
he is
it.
Nowhere. I just told you Curtis Martin does. I just told you. And by the way, there is no way in hell Saquon Barkley's anywhere close to the athletic talent as Barry Sanders. Not even close. So I'm sick and tired of hearing. By the way, Daniel Jones outran your star running back. Okay, the star running back. He looked again horrible his second week.
I wouldn't say he looked horrible.
He looked horrible. Okay,
horrible.
I'm going to tell you this right now. He'll be lucky if he breaks 1,000 yards this year. He will be lucky if he breaks.
I don't think he's going to break 800 yards.
Well, there you go. So what makes you think he's anywhere close to Barry Sanders?
I didn't say he was close to Barry Sanders. I said he had the potential to be Barry
Not
Sanders
even
because
close.
he's the only one I've ever seen even come close to looking like Barry Sanders.
Get out of here, dude.
Snug says Henry
Here's
Anderson.
something for you. Here it is, Speedy. Before you go any further, I just want to rattle this off for you.
All right, go ahead.
Uche has a 22.4 pass rush win rate. It's only 4th behind Aaron Donald, Joey Bosa, and TJ Watt. He has a 16.8% pressure rate, which is 8th in the league. And he has a 10.0 pass rush productivity, which is 9th in the league. That's amongst every defender in the NFL with at least 100 snaps.
You were wrong, Speedy.
Okay, I'll surrender that one. I was wrong.
When you tell me the Patriots front seven, they're not very good, go fuck yourself.
Well, Speedy just apologized and he said he was wrong. So he took back what he said. But again,
and that's a no name. That doesn't even count. Like Tyler said, Kyle Van Noy, Juwan Bentley, Hightower, Judon. Right? They got an underrated guy in Dietrich Wise on the other side. Right? Henry Anderson or Christian Barmore up the middle. That doesn't even count Lawrence Guy, who's been dominant in this league since he was even with the Ravens. Right? But the Patriots front seven, whatever, bottom of the league.
Snug says Henry Anderson got a second chance at life in New England. Carl says, so why does Mac Jones look poised and Wilson look hectic? Snug says Ballot. Carl did.
Okay. He did look hectic. Maybe because his offensive line wasn't protecting him. How much pressure? He had 1.7 seconds to protect himself in the game. 1.7, 1.8. I think it was shown this week from the Jets pregame show. Okay. How do you expect a quarterback to make a throw when he has 1.7 seconds behind the line of scrimmage to make a throw? Come on, guys. Come on, Carl. That's what I'm saying. Mac Jones had forever. He had forever, and the Jets don't have a pass rush.
He did not have forever.
He had 2.9 seconds. He had over a second more than Zach Wilson.
Pressure on him, and
that's
he
fine.
took a ton of big hits.
Yeah, that's fine. He had more. He had almost a second more than Zach Wilson to make the throws. That's a lot. That's a significant amount of time. Okay. And the Jets, let's be honest, they don't have a pass rush. There is no Carl Lawson. They have Shaq Lawson. Let's be honest, he is subpar at best. Okay, they don't have a pass rush.
That just shows you why the Patriots aren't going to do anything this year. Their offensive line is terrible.
Snug says Belichick drafts players that he knows are coachable, will listen, and play with discipline.
And by the way, Snug, let's go back at Bill Belichick's last 3 or 4 years in his draft. They haven't been good. So stop.
They've been terrific, actually. They've been terrific.
It really hasn't. Because when they look at the draft and they've gone through the draft, there was a whole thing. I forget what I was watching on YouTube.
Right?
Hold on.
You're only looking at first rounders because Uche, Anthony Jennings, there's been a ton of picks in there.
They get players. That's right. But from what we've seen, Bill Belichick year in and year out, when he nails in almost every single round, he hasn't. His drafts have not been good. Not where it was 5-6 years ago, where he was hitting. Besides first rounds, he usually hits on the second round, third, fourth, fifth. He moves down, he moves up. He does that. And by the way, his last 3 years have not been great drafts. He gets players.
People are judging him off of that because N'Keal Harry has turned out to be a bust. But it just turns out that he doesn't know how to develop wide receivers. He has no idea what he's doing with those guys. But every guy that he spent a draft pick on defense is a starter.
Carl says Tyler
Isaiah
wrong again.
Wynn,
They
David
saw
Andrews, Shaq Mason.
Carl says
Michael
Tyler wrong
Wanu.
again. They saw Bears move up to get Fields and saw what Bears have to give up in there and decided to hold tight. And Snug says Mac Jones week 16 is going to look 10 times better than week 2 Mac Jones, and week 2 Mac Jones.
So
played
will
better
Zach
than half the
Wilson.
quarterbacks in the
So
league.
will Justin
Mac
Fields.
Jones, so I don't understand what you're saying.
So will Justin Fields. So will Trevor Lawrence. They're all going to look better. Because when you give them a little bit of time, and when the game starts to slow for them, which usually happens later in the season when they figure things out, they're going to get better. If you don't think Zach Wilson will be better in week 16, I don't know what the hell you're watching.
Dude, he's going to progress through the whole season.
Yeah, he is.
Judging him through 2 weeks is ridiculous.
It is ridiculous. And I understand. You want to hate the Jets, Don't hate on the kid because the kid made some mistakes. They make mistakes. They're going to make mistakes. Daniel Jones, look, his first year, he had 4 400-yard games, and the Giant fans wanted to throw him off a ledge. They still want to throw him off a ledge. He had a great Thursday night football game, and the Giant fans are still killing him on social media that he's not the quarterback of the future for the Giants, which is a crock of you-know-what, okay? Because he was the only really what's the word? He was the only thing that stood out in that game. Daniel Jones was the only player that stood out in that game. Everybody else looked like crap.
Sterling Shepard would love to have a word.
Yeah, well, good for Sterling Shepard. What did he have? 70 yards? That's a good game. Sterling Shepard, that's a good game for a wide receiver.
Drops?
He dropped a couple of passes.
Sure, he dropped a couple of passes. Slayton dropped the big one.
Galladay dropped a bunch too.
Let's go to the statistics of the game,
Then a
Speedy.
touchdown.
When we're talking about it, Speedy, you should be bringing it up.
9 catches, 94 yards.
9 catches, 94 yards. How many touchdowns?
Nothing.
He didn't have any touchdowns. So honestly,
that's not his fault.
Yep. Again, if you look at what Daniel Jones did, he kept the Giants in the game. He kept them in the game.
Right.
And you want to know something?
Won the game.
They should have won the game. Daniel Jones' touchdown, he should have had 2 running touchdowns, and he would have had over 100 yards. And to me, with all those drop passes, he would have threw 350 yards.
Right. And the touchdown that Darius Slayton dropped in the end zone is a touchdown.
But anyway,
the Giants should have no, I'm not blaming Daniel Jones.
Oh, okay.
I'm trying to help Errol here.
Help me. There's nothing to help. I'm just
Oh,
saying.
you need some help.
No, I don't need any help. Let's go into week 2's games. And Jeff, being that you're on, I want to know what your thoughts to it. Obviously, Denver and Jacksonville. Denver losing Chubb. Von Miller is playing this coming week, but Denver's 2-0. Obviously, Teddy Bridgewater has been sensational. He really has. 26 for 34 last week, 328 yards, 2 touchdowns. And he's an efficient quarterback. And I think you could win with Teddy Bridgewater. You could. Now, obviously, they drafted Drew Lock. I thought Drew Lock was going to win the job. He didn't. And Jeff, we were talking about this after late. Was it late Sunday or mid Sunday? We were talking about how Bezos.
Done deal. Aaron Rodgers is a Bronco.
So we were talking about Aaron Rodgers being a Bronco next year. So even if Teddy Bridgewater has one of those, Pro Bowl years, which right now he's playing as good as any quarterback. He really is. Aaron Rodgers is as good. Jeff was saying if Bezos, the guy that owns Amazon, buys the Broncos,
that's a done deal too. He's getting the Broncos.
So what are your thoughts to the Broncos? Do you think that this team is for real this year so far? And first, Tyler, what do you think of the Broncos?
Am I allowed to answer this question, or it's just going to be, you can't talk about the Jets?
Go ahead.
So I actually had the Broncos as a playoff team, so nothing that's going on right now surprises me whatsoever.
Did you? Because I think
did.
Speedy was the
He
only
did.
one that
No,
had.
Tyler did.
I
too.
did.
I think Speedy had him winning the fucking division.
No, I didn't. I had them as the last playoff team.
I like the team. Melvin Gordon needs to wake up. Cortland Sutton
Looked pretty good last week.
Cortland Sutton looked amazing last week. When you get Judy back, you get Deshaun Hamilton back, you have Tim Patrick back on the field. Noah Fant eventually will find a rhythm with Teddy Bridgewater. This offense is not going to be low your mind like Kansas City does. It's going to be sufficient enough, though, to win games. And this defense is going to be freaking amazing. Oh, amazing when fully healthy. Well, that's Fangio's forte. So I honestly, and you're going into Mile High. I know,
The Jets,
you're bashing the Jets.
By the way,
but I don't see the Jets really having much of a chance.
If you look at the last 10 years, the Jets have played very good in Mile High. So
that's fantastic. You're getting a rookie quarterback that likes to sling the ball.
That's fine.
So I'm assuming that there's going to be a few more picks along the way. And
that's an attack to the Jets. Good.
Oh my!
Good.
How?
Good.
How?
Good.
How am
by
I
the way,
bashing the Jets?
By the way,
for calling out interceptions.
I've heard
when
enough
kid
from
throws
you. How about
interceptions.
you? How about you, Speedy? What did you think about the Broncos?
The Broncos defense was fantastic once again. Trevor Lawrence did not look good for his second straight game. Had a lot of incompletions, especially with the deep ball. Really could not get any of those other receivers involved. And the Broncos defense deserves a lot of credit. Now, their offense, I think, could have been a little better against a bad Jaguars defense, but there were definitely some flashes. Bridgewater spread the ball around nicely. Javonte Williams had a nice game.
He looked really good.
13 carries, 64 yards, a couple nice runs as a whole, really showing what he could do. So there were definitely flashes. I think the all-around offense still could be a little better against a bad Jaguars defense.
You haven't seen the full offense together yet.
Well, no, of course not. But they still have a lot of talent on that team.
On the Jaguars?
The Jaguars are not going to win a football game.
I think they will.
No, they will eventually.
Trevor Lawrence has got to figure things out. Once he does, and he gets comfortable in the pocket, it's going to take a couple of weeks. Things will start to slow down, and you're going to see Trevor Lawrence explode. I think Trevor Lawrence is going to, just as much as I think Zach Wilson, Justin Fields, I think all these quarterbacks, when things start to slow down from them, you're going to see a completely different quarterback.
I don't know. I don't see an easy win on the schedule for them anywhere.
Their schedule is hard.
Atlanta,
but they can win
maybe,
in the division.
Maybe the Jets.
They can win in the division. They can beat Houston. I mean, just because they lost the first game doesn't mean they can't win the second one.
They got blown out in the first game.
Yeah, okay. That doesn't mean they can't win the second one.
And honestly, don't be surprised if Deshaun Watson comes back at some point this year.
So the Texans, that's not going to happen.
There were stories coming out that now that Tyrod Taylor got hurt, that they're kind of questioning and thinking that Deshaun Watson is coming back. And I think it would be for the best of his interest if Deshaun Watson comes back and has a good season.
Oh, I agree. I just don't think he's going to. I feel like he's just going to sit out. I don't think he likes the organization at all.
How about you, Jeff? What did you think about the Broncos and Jaguars game? Did anything stick out to you so far with the Broncos?
No, the Jaguars stink, so nothing really stood out. It actually ended up being a really costly game for them because of Chubb. And as far as the Broncos making the playoffs, it's not that they're not a good team, so I don't want to be taking a shot at them. But the Chargers look really damn good, and the Raiders are sneaky good right now too. Like, I'm not sure the Broncos are better than any team in that division. That's a really tough division right now.
Mm-hmm. It is. It is. And Kansas City's a locked fort. So,
but don't take it as a shot at the Broncos.
No, I'm not. I don't really give a shit if you attack the team or not. That's not my thing. But
I realize this is off subject, but you guys really got to see where Jordan Alvarez just did baseball. This thing is still traveling.
Going into the Bills and Dolphins game, I understand the Bills won this game and they needed this game and they won 35-0. Josh Allen, the last 2 weeks, has not looked good. He's 17 for 33, 179 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. For a guy that made a lot of money this offseason, he's the highest paid quarterback in all of football, the guaranteed money that he got offered. Patrick Mahomes obviously got $500 million, but it's not all guaranteed money. He got the most guaranteed money out of any quarterback. Josh Allen, the first 2 weeks, has not looked at the top level that we saw him throughout the season last year. Now, obviously, it's early, but this is a veteran quarterback. He's been in the league now. This is his 4th year. So we expect Josh Allen to really move forward, not move backwards. And let's be honest, he has not looked good, Speedy.
Yeah, I think the first game definitely showed a lot against the Steelers he still looked like I'm not going to say 2018 rookie year Josh Allen, but 2019 where he was still kind of finding his way. Now, this game, he didn't have to do as much because Buffalo got out to an early lead.
He didn't look good.
He didn't look great. I'm not going to say that, but again, he didn't have to do as much because they had a pretty big lead, 14-0 for a while, 21-0. The defense really did a lot, and they were trying to run the ball.
The defense was amazing.
Yeah, they were trying to run the ball a lot more, get their running backs going, and I think the second half they were kind of taking him off, making more simpler throws with him. But yeah, he definitely doesn't look like the same from last year. He looks more like 2019.
I know it's early, but even watching him early, he hasn't looked good. So how about you, Tyler? What do you think of the Bills, and what do you think of Josh Allen? Week number 2, he has not looked good.
I think that this was a great statement for the Buffalo Bills. Listen, you lost a pretty embarrassing game to the Steelers because I think you should have blew their doors off. Devin Singletary looked freaking amazing.
Yes.
And that defense, like everyone's been saying, is for real. It's amazing that you have 2 elite defenses in the same division. They are top 3, borderline top 5. Top 3 definitively defense in the NFL when everything's going right. And the fact that Josh Allen is struggling now is good news for Buffalo.
That's good news?
Get the struggles out now. Because when he gets clicking, this team's going to be a top 5 team in football.
So let me get this straight. You think Josh Allen, as the season progresses, everything will click for him, but the young quarterback.
I never said it wasn't going to click.
You made it seem like Zach Wilson's just going to get worse and worse.
No, I didn't.
Yes, Speedy, what was he just saying? He was telling, Zach Wilson this and Zach Wilson. Everything that comes out of your mouth is an attack to the New York Jets. And that's why I don't want to talk about the Jets with you anymore, because you got
You're the one that keeps bringing them up.
No, I bring up the Jets game because I have to, because obviously we have a lot of Jet fans that listen to this show. But again,
you're talking about the Bills and then you just turned it into
talking
about the Jets.
No, I'm bringing up the Jets.
I still don't remember even bashing Jack.
Dude, all you do is bash Zach Wilson.
When have I ever bashed
Zach
Wilson?
All you do is bash Daniel Jones. All you do is bash those 2 quarterbacks.
I do bash Daniel Jones.
You always do.
I
always do. And,
Right.
and that's your problem is that you sit back, you think because the Bills and obviously Josh Allen has had 2 bad weeks, as soon as he gets things going, everything's going to just fly for him. That's with any
played
quarterback.
pretty well against the Steelers.
This is a veteran quarterback that got $280 million. He got a lot of freaking money.
6 years, 258.
And he got a lot of money and a lot of guaranteed money. He should be playing and producing. He should not. Sam Darnold just looked better than him. Okay? And that's saying a lot when Sam Darnold was on his way out and probably was not going to have a job this year. And this guy, Josh Allen, who got all this money, has looked horrendous.
That's what happens when you leave the Jets. Everything seems to work.
Yeah, okay. There you go, attacking the Jets again. Another thing up your ass. Anyways, Jeff, what do you think about Tua's injury?
I mean, it's par for the course for him. This dude just isn't going to be able to stay healthy. He's just not. He's too slight. He's had too many injuries already. You realize he's only started at quarterback now for 3 seasons at any level of football, right? Like the college one, whatever. And he's already having like all of these injuries, dude. They're just piling up on this kid.
Carl says
he has fractured ribs now.
Mm-hmm.
Carl says, Speedy, do I drop Trey Sermon in fantasy? I wouldn't with all the other injuries in that backfield. Teddy 2 gloves. Speedy is still wearing the panties. Calm down. Snug says, interesting. Speedy sporting the panties. Normally the show talent either go with the tighty whities or they go sans underpants. Carl says, Brandon Cooks. Snug says, when the Jags play Houston without Tyrod Taylor, they could win. The Beeve. I told you Allen would take a step back. Snug says, hashtag ban the Beeve.
I don't know if
it's not Allen that's taking, but it's not. This is unfair to Josh Allen because it's not Josh Allen taking a step back. This team got hamstrung by the salary cap move. Do you think that they wanted to let go of John Brown and bring in Emmanuel Sanders? This is Emmanuel Sanders' 3rd team in 3 years. Nobody wants it.
Didn't John Brown get dropped in preseason?
The Raiders.
He got cut off the Bills because he was making too much money, and they brought in Emmanuel Sanders, who has 1 catch.
One big play, and that's it.
No, I think John Brown actually got dropped with the Ravens in preseason.
The Raiders.
The Raiders.
And not to mention they couldn't bring back their other tight end in Tyler Kroft, so now they're dealing with Stonehand, Dawson Knox, who's terrible, right? And Zach Moss is out, so they're only down to 1 running back.
Zach Moss is playing.
Well, he played in week 2, but he also got hurt later on, so I don't know.
Right, and he missed week 1. He sat out week 1.
Right,
a healthy scratch. He was a healthy scratch. He wasn't hurt.
They just say that. I don't know about it. How much you gonna buy into that?
So that's even better, right? He's so good. He's a healthy scratch.
No, I think Zach Moss is overrated. But what I'm trying to say is that it's not an injury thing. It was a Sean McDermott.
How is Zach Moss overrated?
I don't think he's enough of a sample to be overrated.
He's not even that great of a player.
They got worse because of the
a lot
salary
of people
cap.
think he's
They had
a
to let
starting
players
running back.
go on offense.
I don't think Zach Moss is that great of a player.
No,
I agree.
He doesn't
He's
have
not.
enough
He
of a
hasn't
sample
done
to
anything.
judge. Yeah.
I don't know why
he hasn't done
anybody.
anything.
I've never heard anybody.
Devin Singletary had a nice week this last week, but other than that, he hasn't really done much either himself.
Right.
Last
I
year
like
was horrible for Devin Singletary.
Carl says not a Jets fan, and Snug says, what is an acceptable number of things to keep up your ass?
Anyways, let's get to the
Wow,
49ers.
no, I'm at like 6 already.
Let's get to the 49ers and the Eagles game. I will say this. We talk about Jalen Hurts, and Jalen Hurts didn't have one of those sensational games, 12 for 23, 190 yards, no touches, no interception. But he kept his team in the game. He really did. And as bad, and Jalen Hurts had 10 carries, 82 yards, and 1 touchdown. So when you look at Jalen Hurts and the way he's played so far early in the season, he's been a lot better than anybody thought he was going to be. I've been very impressed with his pocket presence, his leadership. Now, I don't know if knowing that Deshaun Watson is out there, the Eagles aren't going to go after Deshaun Watson. I believe they will if he becomes available, which he probably will. But Jalen Hurts, I've been very impressed with him. And the 49ers, even though they won this game and they're 2-0 right now, they did not look good in this game. They did not. Jimmy Garoppolo, 22 for 30, 189 yards, 1 touchdown. He did not look good. I look at this team as a whole. Now, obviously, we know what Deebo Samuels is, and George Kittle's the last 2 weeks has not looked good.
Nope.
So, and we look at this whole team as a whole. Everybody thought that the 49ers was going to be amongst the top 4, top 5 teams in football. And even though they're 2-0, look at the teams they played in the first 2 weeks. They haven't looked that good. And that
defense is that good.
Their defense is good, but honestly, their defense hasn't played as well as it did last year with all the injuries they had. Now, obviously, it's early, but just think of Robert Saleh. He lost 9 starters, 10 starters, and they were a top 8 defense all in the league. They had backup players becoming Pro Bowl players.
Top 5 run defense, too.
Yeah. So again, we got to see when they start playing really good teams, how good this defense is going to hold up. They haven't played anybody yet. As the season progresses, who do they play next week?
Who do the 49ers play?
Who do they play next week?
Green Bay.
The
Sunday
Green Bay.
Night Football.
I'm going to tell you right now, Green Bay is going to score a lot of points against this defense.
I wouldn't be so sure about that.
Okay. And just like everybody thought that Aaron Rodgers is washed up and he wasn't going to have a great game, a.k.a.
He had
you.
a great half.
Cliff.
He had a
The
great
Cliff.
half.
The Cliff is coming. The
He had a
Cliff.
great half.
He looked really, really good.
In the second
Not
half,
only
he was
is the
abysmal
Cliff
in the
coming.
first half.
Not only is the Cliff coming, remember, he was trying to purposely play his way out of Green Bay.
I didn't say he was purposely.
Yes, you
doing it.
did.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did.
I did not say he was purposely.
You did say that, Tyler. You
I
did.
said he probably knows he's leaving.
Yeah,
But
well,
I don't
everybody
say
knows he's leaving.
I never said anything about forcing a
But he
trade. That was
wants to
some
play
guy in the
so
comments.
bad, so
Yeah,
he'll
he
get out.
manipulated by saying he forcibly played bad.
You said that he forcibly played bad because she wants
some
out.
wording of that. You said
You said that, and I know you said that, and you're wrong.
I wanted to play.
And he had a sensational game. He threw 4 touchdowns in the game. And I know it was the Lions, but the Lions played well against the 49ers the weekend before that.
Oh, and by the way, since we were picking on Tyler, I think you deserve a little shot here too, Errol. Who had all the touchdowns? That overrated piece of shit, Aaron Jones, who's no good.
I don't like Aaron Jones. And
Yeah,
he
and
doesn't
he was
play.
dominant.
Yeah, that's fine.
That was an inspiring performance.
He
too.
played well in that game. What I saw him do in the playoffs, to me, he doesn't play well when the pressure is on him. We saw him.
You know what you could do for once is when someone has a good game, not bring up all their other faults. The dude was dominant on Monday
I'm not
night,
saying that he
wasn't
wasn't. I'm not saying that he wasn't. And we'll get into the Green Bay Packers. But again, when I look at the 49ers haven't played anybody good yet. When they start, they played the Eagles and the Lions. They're not that good. When they play the Green Bay Packers on Sunday Night Football, I want to see what this defense is going to do against a great offense, okay? Then we can start talking about what this defense is and what this defense is going to be. But the Eagles are for real. They're not going to – they're a team that's going to be in this race in the NFC East, a weak NFC East.
That defense is legit, too. Their front four has been playing very well. Darius Slay is finally back to playing like the shutdown corner he used to be. They did it very well against the Falcons and the 49ers. Granted, the 49ers are banged up, but they still have a good amount of offensive weapons. In Atlanta, they got offensive weapons. So the Eagles doing very good job. 23 points allowed combined in the first 2 weeks. This defense is for real. And Jalen Hurts, even though he shouldn't show flashes in the air, he did have that big throw and 82 yards rushing. Granted, the Niners defense, the one weakness has always been they struggle against rushing quarterbacks, actually running the ball, but they still Jalen Hurts still played well amidst the game plan, even though he has to throw the ball better.
Now I want to get into the LA Rams and the Indianapolis Colts. I thought this was going to be a good game, and they didn't disappoint. I think this was a very close game. Carson Wentz again gets hurts his two ankles. The ankles, he can't stay healthy. I don't know what's up with this kid, but as good as this kid was before he hurt his knee, he's been a complete bust since he's been drafted. He really has. But I expected him to take a foot forward this year with obviously his offensive coordinator that he had with Philadelphia. He has not looked good really this season. And by the way, Matthew Stafford, who looked really, really good in week number 1, in week number 2, I know he was 19 for 30, 278 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 interception. He did not look good in week number 2. Against, yes, a very good Indianapolis Colts defense. But
they're not all going to be gems.
No, I know that, Jeff. But when everybody talks about how good this offense is going to be this year, that Matthew Stafford's going to be an MVP candidate, well, you got to play well every single week, and he didn't. No, he didn't. He did not look good. He didn't look good like week number 1.
He looked good, though.
No, but week number 1, he was the best quarterback in football week number 1.
No, he wasn't.
Either him or Kyler Murray.
Kyler Murray was better than him.
Well, I'm sorry, too.
Okay, well, I'm just saying, Kyler Murray.
I mean, the nitpicking is ridiculous.
I'm just saying.
Matt Stafford had the greatest debut of any quarterback ever, so that's kind of.
Hold on one second. Greatest quarterback. Well, hold on one second.
He's the
greatest
first quarterback to ever throw over 300 yards and 4 touchdowns in his season debut.
So that makes it. Look who he played in the first game. Who did he play? Who did they play?
Remind me.
Who did
Chicago.
They play? They played Chicago. Okay.
Okay.
And what is Chicago?
Is good.
And what did now Chicago won this past week? Which I'm going to tell you this right now, they shouldn't have won that game. They shouldn't. And Justin Fields, he came into the game, and I love Justin Fields, and I expect him to play. I play his ass off. Now he starts his first starting game of this season coming up this week. I expect him to play very, very well. Justin Fields did not look good when he came into the game. He didn't. He got flushed out of the pocket. They forced him to throw the ball in the open field, and he made a lot of mistakes. But again, I thought Chicago was going to be a playoff team. Honestly, even though they're 1-1, I don't think their offense is any good. I really don't. But Indianapolis, they're 0-2, and I thought that this team was the best team in their division. I really did. I thought Indianapolis was going to win that division. Obviously, there's only 2 good teams in that division. Right. But I think Indianapolis, with the talent that they had, and in Carson Wentz, I thought that they were going to compete and they were going to win that division. They're not even going to make the playoffs.
I don't know. But Cam Newton's going to find a job sooner rather than later.
I don't think
I don't know if he really fits that offense, though.
Well, Cam Newton's better than whoever else they're going to throw.
Jeff, what did you think about now the Vegas Raiders? They have looked, and I told you guys,
I don't want to talk about this.
The Vegas Raiders, they looked really, really good in week number 2.
Go get Ben.
And Derek, to me, Derek Carr has been after week number 2. Derek Carr is the MVP right now of the league, because this is a team. Let's be honest. Nobody would have thought that they were 2-0. They have a chance to be a very good team this year. Their defense is weak. This is
John Gruden gets hit by a bus.
But Jeff, you can't say anything bad about this team. This team is playing good football, right or wrong?
Yes, I can. I can say something bad about them. They don't give 2 shits about my mortgage payment, bro. They screwed up my parlay, and I'm not going to forgive John Gruden. He can bite me. Derek Carr, 28 for 37, 382 yards, 2 touchdowns. Sensational. Right now, if the season were to end, he's the top 3 quarterback in the league. He's been great. If he plays like this all season long, this team is definitely a playoff-bound team, and they're dangerous offensively. Very dangerous, because a Pittsburgh Steelers team in week number 1 that looked dominant, week number 2 has not looked dominant. So,
Watt got hurt.
Well, I'm sorry?
Watt got hurt?
One player got hurt. So,
Watt.
Yeah, one player.
No, but he is like the player there.
Yeah, right. And he got hurt in the first 6 minutes of the first quarter, right? And also Ben Roethlisberger got hurt, right? So it was hard for him to throw. Listen, when your quarterback gets hurt and can't throw, that's a problem.
So you're not going to give Vegas any credit for what they did in week number 2?
No. Vegas
had Josh Jacobs hurt.
Yeah, no, listen, they looked pretty good. Renfro made some plays. Holy crap. If Bill Belichick ain't calling that guy this offseason, I don't know what he's doing. Because Renfro looked really, really good.
He did.
He ran a triple option route and left some dude's jock on the field. It was awesome.
Didn't Renfro play for Clemson?
Yes,
he did.
And I remember he won. He was a big part of the national championship.
Because they don't get any good players, though. Remember Alabama, all the good players.
You're such a smart ass, Jeff. Anyways, I thought the Raiders were They played very, very well. And I thought Derek Carr, he really stood out of all the quarterbacks in week number 2 in my eyes. I understand the injuries. I understand all of that. But all in all, 382 yards, 2 touchdowns against a very good defense. Even without TJ Watt, it's still a very good defense. He played very well.
In a game where the Raiders only rushed for 52 yards, too.
Yeah, and that defense has played very well, believe it or not. And I don't think the Raiders' defense is any good.
Yeah.
Bengals
Speedy,
and
you're catching up. It's 12-4 now, Speedy. You're catching up.
Bengals and Chicago. Tyler, what did you think in the week number 2 for the Chicago Bears winning that close game against Cincinnati? I thought Cincinnati was going to win that game. I think they were the better team. But Joe Burrows did not look as good as he did in week number 2. Week number 1.
Awful. Joe Burrow looked absolutely abysmal. But, he brought the team back late. That's all you could really ask him to do after having a putrid half. But it just goes to show that Joe Mixon's really still the man there. When he runs, the team is good. When he can't run or has trouble, they fluster a little bit. Now, you can take it that what you will. Joe Burrow really hasn't played a full season yet, so we'll see. But I'm not surprised. I thought Chicago would win that game at home.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't. I think Cincinnati was the better team. I thought they were going to be the better team. Joe Burrows just threw 3 interceptions and it just didn't look good in the first half of the game.
Well, no, but that's what they do. They'll get after the quarterback, and that's what Chicago's going to do all year long. You've got, I think, everyone talks about Aaron Donald. Everyone forgets Khalil Mack's really, really good at football.
Sensational.
So everyone says Donald's the best defensive player. I still say Mack is first or second. If you want to give up Donald, then fine. But
Donald's the best.
Khalil Mack is second, and he's not close.
There's no question. He's second in every single defensive number. He's second right behind Donald. Donald he's been the best defensive player. And by the way, that Rams team has arguably 2 of the best defensive players in the league.
Right.
So,
probably the 2 best at their position.
Well,
don't tell that to Errol.
You can argue.
Jalen Ramsey's the best corner in football. You need.
I don't
it's
think
not
so.
close.
Errol doesn't think so.
I don't think so.
Who's the best corner in football?
Speedy.
You added a Xavier Howard.
Yes, I think Xavier Howard is better.
I mean, maybe.
That's just my thought. I can argue that, but there are quite a few good corners in this league. So I obviously Ramsey is sensational. He's an all-pro player. There are 2 or 3 really good corners in this league.
You want an underrated cornerback on a terrible defense? J.C. Jackson, that terrible Patriots defense. He had 2 interceptions this last week, right? Just himself, all these pass breakups. But, Patriots defense, they stink. So J.C. Jackson.
And Gilmore's sensational, too. When he plays, he's arguably.
Gilmore isn't playing.
No, he's not. But when he plays, he's a top.
What I'm trying to tell you is Jonathan
Jones
Jones and J.C. Jackson are still an elite cornerback duo.
Nobody's saying that they're not.
I'm just saying you don't need
the Patriots.
Those 2 are playing
really
hard.
I'm just highlighting that J.C. Jackson has quietly become one of the best corners in football. But Speedy still thinks their defense stinks.
I said front 7.
Here's a huge problem. Right now. Allen Robinson, who everybody expects to be a top wide receiver in the league, he has not looked good. He has not looked good. No, he hasn't.
Stop it.
Look, in the last 2 weeks.
Can you for a second
that's 100 yards.
Please take? Can you just for a second please take into consideration who's throwing him the football?
Andy Dalton. And Andy
Horrible Andy Dalton. Horrible Andy Dalton.
Andy Dalton has 250 touchdowns to 120 something.
Dude, this week with Justin Fields in the game, guaranteed Allen Robinson 100 yards.
All right.
Guaranteed.
I hope so because he hasn't looked good, and he's killing a lot of people in the fantasy.
Hold that thought, because I think Cleveland's rough. Let's see who week 4 is. Detroit. Week 4, he'll go off.
I hope so because
Denzel Ward matches up perfectly with him. So I'm not.
He was a top 2-round draft pick for a lot of people, and he's been hurting people in fantasy. And I expect him.
He helped me get DK
No one
Metcalf.
cares
My
about
man.
fantasy. We care about reality.
I understand, but Allen Robinson is a great wide receiver, and he hasn't looked great.
He is a great wide receiver.
He hasn't looked great. And right now, Chicago
that's not fair.
was very, very lucky that they squeaked out of that game and win that game because when Justin Fields took over the game, he didn't look any good either. 60 yards for 6'4" to 14, 1 interception, 60 yards. He didn't look good. So hopefully he looks better. I'm not going to get
the Bengals made a mistake in the draft, so that's why they're getting what they deserve.
I'm not going to get into the Cleveland.
They absolutely should have drafted Sewell.
I'm not going to get into Cleveland.
Dude, Penei Sewell's been a beast so far with Detroit, right? And if Joe Burrow would have had,
you didn't like Penei Sewell. You didn't like Panay.
No. Again, not true. This is what you're doing. You're taking it out of context. All I said was I liked Rashawn Slater better.
No, but you said you didn't like Panay Sewell. You thought he was going to be a bust. You said that.
No, I did not say that. I said I liked Rashawn Slater more.
You did, but
I would have had Rashawn
but
Slater
I
more.
remember having a conversation with you, and you thought Panay Sewell was going to be a bust. You did.
False. False.
I believe you said that. You know, whatever.
You can believe whatever you'd like to believe, but I've never said that.
Well, I remember you telling me that you thought he was going to be a bust.
CJ,
and you said he also didn't look good in the preseason as well. So
no, he didn't look good in the preseason. Yeah. No, he didn't though.
And he didn't look good.
But this again goes back to what you talk about, right? Okay, he didn't have a good preseason. He's dominating in actual games that matter. You're talking about, oh my God, the Jets receivers, they look so great in practice. Great, awesome. How about in the regular games? Terrible.
That's fine. And you said, I remember you saying Panay Sewell, he looked good. You think everything's fine?
No, I've never said that. All I said was I liked Rashawn Slater better.
Yeah, that's not what I remember you saying. But whatever. I'm not getting into the Cleveland and Houston Texans game. Carolina and the Saints, Speedy.
Why?
What did you think of the game?
Important thing that happened in that game.
So we'll also get into another guy that I told you was going to be dominant out of this year's draft. It's lighting it up right now, too, by the way.
All right. Well, Speedy, what did you think of the Saints Carolina Panthers game?
The Panthers defense has looked very good so far the first 2 weeks, especially in the front seven and especially against the run too. They did a great job against Alvin Kamara, game planning for him, where the Panthers defense against the last 3 years have been bad against the run, and they're really doing a nice job. Their defensive coordinator, give him credit. J.C. Horn, that secondary, Dante Jackson continues to play well too. Again, the Saints receivers aren't anything special, but you got to give him credit. And Sam Darnold did play very, very well, even though you're right, a lot of the checkdowns to Christian McCaffrey. But remember, Christian McCaffrey left the game as well in the third quarter and
came back, didn't he?
He came back later, but he still was very limited because the Panthers were up, so they were limiting him. And he still was playing well. He was hitting all these slot receivers I never heard of. It wasn't DJ Moore. It wasn't Snug. As much as you want to say it was Robbie Anderson. Robbie Anderson wasn't great in that game. It was DJ Moore. Yeah, DJ Moore, and mainly a lot of slot guys I never heard of.
DJ Moore had 8 receptions, 79 yards, and 1 touchdown.
Yeah,
he was the best player on the field.
I give Darnold a lot of credit.
Nobody's taking away, but the Saints did not look good. And Jameis Winston looked like a bust in that game. He looked good week number 1, and he looked like crap week number 2. So that had a lot to do with it. And Jameis Winston was horrible. How about you, Tyler? What did you think?
I mean, let's just be honest about something here. The Saints are not going to make the playoffs. They just won't.
They're too good not to make the playoffs.
No, they're not. That offensive line up the middle is a problem. They've got 2 amazing tackles and then mashed potatoes in the middle. That's just not going to get it done.
Don't they have a Pro Bowl guard on their team?
I mean, Eric McCoy is the center.
Don't they? Speedy, you should know. Do they have a Pro Bowl guard?
Not that I know.
I'm pretty sure they do.
No, Pete hasn't been good in a while.
He's okay. And then Ruiz,
who's a second-year player.
Yeah. So I mean, Cesar Ruiz.
How about you? Jeff? What did you think of the game with the Saints and the Carolina Panthers?
I mean, just an unbelievable football game, right? Because everyone thought the Saints were so good coming off of week 1. Jameis Winston's changed. But, dude, the Panthers put him in their place. And not for nothing, what a magnificent performance by Sam Darnold, who completed passes to, 8 different receivers in the game. 8 catches by Moore, 5 by McCaffrey, 3 by Arnold, 3 by Zylstra, 3 by Anderson, 3 by Marshall, right? When you're doing and spreading the ball around and giving it to just about everybody, you're going to be really hard to stop. And the vision of Sam Darnold and the amazing ability to do that and spread the ball around is second to none right now.
CJ responding to Carl, this is a factual statement. This is why I have mad respect for you. Ben says Green Bay is the real deal. Carl responds to CJ.
Who said that?
CJ says everyone needs to stop worrying
Who
about
said that Green Bay is the real deal?
Ben.
Okay.
CJ says everyone needs to stop worrying about Zach Wilson. The kid is tough as nails and will be better from the lessons that he learned.
No one's worried about Zach Wilson.
Ben says
no one cares about Zach Wilson. Show us his mom.
Ben says, so glad Aaron Jones got his father's ashes back. That would have been heartbreaking if they were lost for good. He lost.
Where did they find him? I didn't hear that they found him.
1:45 a.m. They found it in the end zone somewhere.
Who did? What
Aaron
happened?
Jones. Aaron Jones was wearing a necklace that contained
his father's ashes. Okay.
Yes. And they lost him in the end zone on one of the touchdowns, and they didn't find it until 1:45 a.m. that following day.
Wow. Why would you be wearing that in the middle of the game? doesn't
Maybe
make
it
it.
makes you play better.
it's a tribute to his dad. Yeah, I mean, he loves his dad. It's a tribute
And
to his
he's
dad.
lucky
It
he
wasn't
found
quite
that.
inspired.
And
yeah,
he's lucky he found it, because if he didn't,
And he also wears like 5 necklaces too. So like, it's crazy that that's the one that like broke and came off.
Carl says Teddy 2 gloves and Carson 2 ankles. Agreed. Carl responds to Ben, but Errol said he didn't look hard enough. Snug says, I think it's your time. CJ says the best that could have ever happened to Zach was take a beating like this to see if he's mentally tough to make it at this level. Point blank, period. But the question that everyone should be asking right now to Joe Douglas is how do you feel about not signing a veteran quarterback? Ben says, but Lieutenant Wentz, you ain't got no ankles in my forest.
Nobody thought that the Jets were going to be a playoff team, and that's why they did that. They weren't looking for. They were actually, there were stories coming out that they were interested in Nick Foles, but obviously they wanted to go with Zach Wilson. They wanted him to figure things out on his own, and that's what they expect. They don't expect to win a lot of games this year. So
Carl says,
why couldn't you have both?
Carl says I made that point. Also, Snug says Cam Newton is going to find a job at Carl's Jr.
Did anybody sign Nick Foles? Yes or no?
He's on Chicago, isn't he?
No, he's
No,
not.
he's not. Andy Dalton's on Chicago now.
Nobody signed Nick Foles. There's a reason why.
But I think Nick Foles was still there. I think they had the 3 quarterbacks.
I think they had the 3 quarterbacks in the preseason,
He's a free agent.
but I think he's gone now.
Yeah, he's gone. He's a free agent.
CJ says, I saw him working at a car wash here in Central Florida. Carl says, Spider 2Y bananas, car flowing floaters to rugs. Carl says, CJ may be the best running for surveillance
Spider
for Best
2Y
Buy.
banana. My mortgage was on that shit.
Yes,
as usual, Tyler's right. He is still there.
I thought he was dropped after they brought in what's his name again, Andy Dalton. I thought he was dropped, and that's why the Jets were looking into bringing him in because he was a free agent
after they signed Andy Dalton.
I'm sorry.
Well, let me ask you a legitimate question about
They traded for him after they signed Andy Dalton.
No, they didn't.
But let me
ask you Cowboys. Nick Foles was on the team last year.
Andy Dalton was on the Cowboys.
Andy Dalton was on the Cowboys, so Nick Foles was there when they brought in Andy Dalton. So,
but don't you think that would be a worse scenario for Zach Wilson, right? Like, don't you think it can be like confidence killing and soul crushing, where if like you really start to play bad and they take out Nick Foles, like that can really demoralize you. So maybe they're doing right by him and saying, no matter what, he's going to be our guy. We're not going to bring in anyone else in and put pressure on him to perform. They're just letting him learn. So
that's fine.
I mean, what would bringing in Nick Foles do besides crush his confidence if they were to pull him out and put Nick Foles in?
I think so too. And by the way, Carl is saying you are missing the point, Errol. No, I'm not missing the point. I don't think the Jets need to bring in a veteran. Zach Wilson, he watches a lot of video. He watches a lot of footage. I don't think he needs another quarterback sitting behind him, pushing him out of his position.
But how's he going to learn anything if he doesn't know what he's looking at?
What do you mean? He understands what he's looking at.
Apparently not. He threw 4 picks last week.
So,
but that's what
Joe Burrow
coaches
threw
are
3
for in
picks.
film time.
Lawrence threw 5 picks in 2 weeks. What does that matter? I can name a bunch of quarterbacks. Aaron Rodgers threw 3 interceptions so far in 2 games.
Right,
what does that mean? Aaron Rodgers is the best quarterback in the league. So
Who's
again,
teach Aaron Rodgers?
Kyler Murray's thrown 4
Pat
interceptions.
Mahomes learned from Alex Smith.
Kyler Murray's thrown 4 interceptions.
Tom Brady learned from
in
Drew
2 weeks.
Bledsoe. Like, what are you talking about?
What are you talking about? What I'm talking about? Kyler Murray is one of the best quarterbacks in the league. He threw 2 interceptions this week. I think he threw 1 interception the week before. He's thrown 3 interceptions. What does that mean? Because he's thrown 4 interceptions. People make mistakes. He's a rookie quarterback.
Right, but how do you learn from mistakes
and
if
why
no
are we
one's
going
there
back
to teach?
into Zach Wilson?
You brought up Zach
No,
Wilson.
I didn't. I'm reading what people are saying.
I don't necessarily think that it's the amount of interceptions that he's throwing. Seriously, I think it's how bad. Like the Devin McCourty interception. Who the fuck was he throwing that ball to? There wasn't a receiver within 15 yards of that throw.
He just threw the ball up there because he thinks that being that he's from BYU and he played college football, he could just throw it up there and his players are going to go up. This is the NFL.
But I think that's more the thing than the number. Who cares if he's thrown 10 interceptions? It's the style in which he's thrown them that's troubling.
I guarantee you he's going to look a lot better this week than he did last week.
He can't look worse. 3 interceptions in the first half.
That's
then
fine.
the Patriots got to put in their second
That's
team
fine.
and only got 1.
That's fine, Jeff. And again, you're going to make mistakes as a rookie quarterback. And I'm rooting for Sam Darnold. So I don't know why anybody would think that because Sam Darnold's playing well, I'm upset. Anybody knows.
Honestly, he spread the ball around really well this week. Like
Speedy, who did I want to keep? Who did I want to keep in the beginning of the season? Last year, after the season, did I not want the Jets to keep Sam Darnold? Yes, I did. Okay, everybody can take shots and say whatever they want.
I said the same thing.
I wanted to keep Sam Darnold. Again, I'm not upset that the Jets got Zach Wilson because I think all-around talent and the ability that he has, he's got a lot more talent than Sam Darnold does. But again, we're not going to know until we see what Zach Wilson can do when he figures out the offense.
Carl says Mac needs to pressure more. Ben says Vegas better went 15 for 15 on 16 game pick parlay on $25 bet. Would have scored $726K if he went 16 for 16. But he picked Detroit. He picked Detroit to pick Green Bay, but ended up to get payout before the game ended, $133K. Carl says I thought he didn't. Calm down, Errol. So many purple are hurting fantasy wise. Ben said he backed out of the last 16th pick before
I'm not
game
hurting
ended.
in fantasy.
Carl says Allen Robinson is great and will be. He has been for 4 years. When we did live mock draft, Jeff took
Hold on one second. Allen Roberts is going to look good for 4 years, so he's going to look good this year. How do you figure? It doesn't mean because he's been looking good for the last 4 years. Now he's got a rookie quarterback coming into place. We don't know what Justin Fields is. I love Justin Fields, but we don't know how he's going to play. So how would you think that he's going to have? Oh, he's just going to have a sensational year. I think he has 100 yards so far in 2 games.
I missed that last comment, Speedy. What was it?
Carl said Allen Robinson. Allen Robinson is great and will be, has been for 4 years. And then when we did live mock draft, Jeff took Sewell before all of us. And
see, there you have it.
Yeah, that's fine. And then I remember you talking to me in the preseason, and you said, I told you, Penei Sewell, I think he's
going to be a bust. Just said I like Rashawn Slater better. That's all. I could be wrong, too.
You did say you like Rashawn Slater better. But you also said that when you watched him in the preseason, and Speedy was in the car when we were driving, and we were in front of the house, and you said, Penei Sewell has not looked in the preseason. I wouldn't be surprised if he's a bust.
Why is Aroldis Chapman in the game right now?
Carl says Tyler looks like he's had too many mashed potatoes in his middle. Snug says I wouldn't be surprised if Darnold made the Pro Bowl this year.
Yeah, your mom made him.
Carl said you already read that. Let him learn from the vet. Why wouldn't you want him watching film with the vet? Why wouldn't you want him picking a vet's brain? Why wouldn't you want him consulting a vet on how to handle a bad outing? Snug says is 4 picks the golden sombrero of the NFL. And Carl said, why wouldn't you want to?
Let's go through it. We don't have time for this. I want to get through the game.
Well, CJ actually had a question too.
All right, what's the question?
Each of you name your top 3 quarterbacks so far this season and why.
Go ahead, Speedy.
I'm pretty sure we're all going to have the
I will say,
don't spit it out.
I will say 1, Kyler Murray, 2, Derek Carr, and 3, Matthew Stafford.
How about you?
Matt Stafford, not in order. Matt Stafford, Russell Wilson, and Derek Carr.
Okay.
How about you, Jeff? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're all on pretty much the same page here, right? It's clearly Stafford and Kyler Murray so far 2 weeks have had like exceptional games, right? I think we can safely say that. Yeah. Listen, the third could be, just about anybody, right? Because everyone thought Jameis Winston had really turned a corner after the first week, and he looked terrible this week. So, that third quarterback could be. I mean, how can you keep Tom Brady out of this conversation? Isn't he just body bagging people?
If Denville was going to give him MVP, I wouldn't be surprised.
I mean, the most consistent person so far has probably been Tom Brady, right?
I don't know.
Russell Wilson's pretty consistent.
I think Kyler Murray has looked pretty consistent, and so is Derek Carr.
Not that the numbers have been as high as Kyler's or Stafford's, because they haven't. But he's done a really good job just spreading the ball around, just quietly, bringing back the Super Bowl.
First of all, Carl, I want to move on because we got a lot to talk about, and I don't want to be stuck on this conversation. So that's why I want to move on. And second of all, my guys are Kyler Murray. I think he's been the best quarterback. He's right now, and I picked him to be the MVP of the league. I think Derek Carr has been right over there. And
it's got to be Stafford. Just say it.
I
know you hate him, but just say it.
No, I think Russell Wilson.
No,
I like
Errol loves Stafford.
I like Matthew Stafford.
He loves Stafford more than like everybody 3 years ago.
I love Matthew Stafford. Yes, I do. I love Matthew Stafford.
Oh yeah, he did.
Yes, I did.
You should have seen the.
And
when I first came to this network, you should have seen the third and longs. So, like Errol was praising Stafford like he was a top 5 quarterback.
And
there's a reason that show's long gone too. Clearly.
Why?
Clearly, the intelligence on that show was
really
minimal.
The intelligence that show was doing pretty good. What are you talking about?
Yeah, they've upgraded with you.
Yeah, it was definitely very good. I don't know what you're talking about. The show is gone because we moved on from the show, from the guys that were on it.
Right.
And second of all,
right. The guys that are on it are no longer here for a reason.
Russell Wilson has been sensational in the first 2 weeks. So I would put, but Matthew Stafford's right there too. You can argue Matthew Stafford's been there too. So, and Matthew Stafford has looked good the first week. I don't think he looked as good in the second week. Let's see what he does in the third week. Minnesota and the Cardinals. The Minnesota Vikings, even though they're 0-2, all around they've looked good. They really have. Now, obviously, their offense is really, and anybody that takes shots at Kirk Cousins, 22 for 32, 244 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interception. Those are numbers that you can win with. You can win with those numbers. So it's not because of Kirk Cousins they're not winning. The problem that they're not winning is their schedule. Look who they played in week 1, and look what they played in week number 2. Arizona, we know they're going to be a dominant team. They're a fun team to watch. They're very well built defensively. They have Chandler Jones, the best pass rusher in the league. They have J.J. Watt on the other side. I mean, this is a very good, talented team. And
but they're doing with both ends,
yes.
right? Like they're playing defense and they're scoring a shit ton of points.
Yeah, Kyler Murray's been sensational. They're running the ball very well. They have Kyler Murray's running the ball very, very well. And,
you got a future Hall of Famer on defense.
And and Rondell Moore is slowly but surely moving.
Well, what did I tell you about Rondell Moore? Right?
Yes, you were right about
what I was referring to earlier. Right? I told you, dude's a video game. Right? And everyone's like, oh, I don't know about. Dude's a video game, bro.
Mm-hmm. Quite a good route runner too. And the other thing, like you were saying earlier about guys spreading the ball around, after DeAndre Hopkins had that first touchdown, and he really didn't get targeted a lot. It was Rondell Moore. It was Max Williams. That shows a lot with Kyler Murray's development too, where it seemed like there were points last year. He was great, but there were points last year he was force feeding Hopkins. And same thing with Cousins too. Spread the ball around nicely. The leading receiver was KJ Osborne in that game.
That game was fun to watch.
Very fun to watch.
That was the best game of the week.
You're going to see ridiculous things out of that team, though, right? Because you go back to week 1, it was the Christian Kirk show, right?
Mm-hmm.
Christian Kirk did nothing in week 2, right? It's an embarrassment of riches right now. Christian Kirk can run. D-Hop is who he is. Like, everybody thinks he's a top 5 receiver in the league, right? Like, dude, and then you got Rondell Moore.
AJ Green was inefficient. 3 for 40, 3 receptions, 44 yards, 1 touchdown. If you can get a touchdown a game and be that efficient, you have a great number 2, great number 3 type of player like AJ Green. I think he has 2 touchdowns, 1 touchdown in each game. I mean, that's pretty damn good for AJ Green. And remember, AJ Green he's a Hall of Famer. He's a first ballot Hall of Famer. And to have a player.
No, it's not.
Absolutely.
Terrell Owens didn't get in first shot. He's not getting it.
Terrell Owens was hated by the league. That's why he.
No, not Terrell Owens again.
Is AJ Green a first ballot Hall of Famer? Yes or no, Jeff?
Oh, it's tough. I've seen some dudes that I thought were first ballot dudes not get in it until like their second, third, fourth try. So don't ask me. I'm going to be a horrible judge.
All right, listen to these numbers. 80 in 129 games, 654 receptions. By the end of this year, he's going to have over 10,000 yards, averages 14 yards per catch, 66 touchdowns. Those are Hall of Fame numbers. Those are Hall of Fame.
I mean, none of that really means anything. and until I hear what some of the other guys have done. Like, how does that stack up with Hines Ward, who isn't in, who everyone thinks should be?
Hines Ward? All right. I'll bring Hines Ward in.
Hines Ward probably is better.
Carl says AJ Green not first ballot, but could get in.
I think
who has more Rondell Moore or Allen Robinson? It is Rondell Moore by a good amount right now. Allen Robinson only 59 years.
Hines Ward has played in almost 80 more games.
Oh, right.
80 more games. And I think it's 80 more games or 85 more games. He has 1,000 receptions, 12,083 yards, only 12 yards per catch at 85 touchdowns. I think if you look at the numbers,
AJ Green didn't win a single one.
AJ Green, he has played in 80 more games.
Right.
How many times you have to? How many?
He's also the best blocking wide receiver we've ever seen.
Oh my God! If you play in 80 more games and you're only beating him by
injuries are probably why he's not going to get in on the first shot.
And you're only beating him by 2,000 yards and you've played in 80 more games. That's a significant amount. Honestly, when you look at the numbers and yards per catch, I'm going with AJ Green.
Carl says any playoff wins for Green. No, Carl, the Bengals didn't win any playoff games. You can't blame AJ Green for the fact that Vontaze Burfict and Adam Jones decided to be dumbasses at the refs.
Yeah, I mean,
Or that Andy Dalton was there.
Again.
Or that Marvin Lewis was there.
Again, the fact is that I think AJ Green is a first ballot Hall of Famer. You could disagree. That's fine. I could care less. My point is when you look at the numbers, and you try to compare and contrast the numbers to Hines Ward, I think AJ Green has better numbers. So, but again, if you're liked by the league, you're going to get in before another player. We've seen guys like Terrell Davis. Terrell Davis should not be in the Hall of Fame, but he was loved by the league. They loved him, so he got in. I think he was a first ballot Hall of Fame, right?
But I also think it's harder. I also think it's harder, though, for guys that toil away on bad teams, which the Bengals were basically his whole career, right? So it's like, very few guys like Calvin Johnson stand out on bad teams that get in. Like normally when you're on a bad team, people overlook you.
Well, AJ Green is not Calvin Johnson, but he still was a great receiver for this era. And even though he was still on a good team, he was just a team that didn't win playoff games.
Let's do it this way. Is Larry Fitzgerald the first ballot Hall of Famer?
Absolutely.
All right. So is AJ Green and Larry Fitzgerald in the same class?
That's different.
How?
Larry Fitzgerald's played in a ton more games than AJ Green.
And we're all telling you the same thing. Injuries are why he's not going to get in. Chris Carr didn't get in the first shot. T.O. didn't get on the first shot. AJ Green, if he gets in at all.
He'll get in. Just not.
Larry Fitzgerald.
I hope he gets
by the
in.
way, AJ Green is not Larry Fitzgerald. Okay, Larry Fitzgerald is one of the top 5 wide receivers of all time. Okay,
understood. But that's what I'm trying to say.
But this is also why this is the Hall of Fame is halfway a borderline ridiculous conversation, because who's had a better career, AJ Green or Julian Edelman?
AJ Green.
And no one thinks Edelman's going to get it, but he has a far better career.
Well, he's a better playoff player. We all know that. Julian Edelman is.
But this is what I'm saying. This is why it's so arbitrary and ridiculous with who gets in and who doesn't. Because we'll go back to Hines Ward. Hines Ward should be in. Is he? No. It's ridiculous.
But Hines Ward's loved by the league.
No, he's not. He was.
Who doesn't love Hines Ward?
And by the way, Julian Edelman doesn't have anywhere close to AJ Green's numbers.
Carl says Anquan Bolden or AJ Green. I would take Bolden.
I agree.
What happened?
Anquan Bolden or AJ Green. Carl asks.
I would go with AJ Green.
I'm taking Bolden just on toughness.
Maybe, but I would go with AJ Green. I think AJ Green doesn't get the respect that he deserves. And that's my opinion. That doesn't mean that I'm 100% right. I think AJ Green is a first ballot Hall of Famer.
I think when people talk about Anquan Bolden, they really overlook that he was the #1 dominant receiver on a team with Larry Fitzgerald when he took them all the way to the Super Bowl, and they got robbed by the referees.
Yeah.
Robbed.
Mm-hmm. That playoff run, Fitzgerald's run was great too, but the Bolden's playoff run was great that year, and with the Ravens when they won in 2012.
And here's a number with Anquan Bolden. He's played over 203 games. That means he's played over 60 more games than AJ Green. He's got 13,000 catch yards, 12.8 yards per carry, and 82 yards. If you compare and contrast the numbers and the amount of games that he's played, AJ Green has better numbers. Again, I'm just saying when I'm putting the numbers.
But you're also talking about AJ Green was a #1 on his team. He was the only guy to cover, which may make it harder. But Anquan Bolden wasn't getting nearly the throws. He played on teams with Larry Fitzgerald. He played on teams with Steve Smith. He played on teams with guys that were getting the ball a whole lot more than he was.
Again, I'm not taking shot. And Anquan Bolden is going to go to the Hall of Fame. He's a Hall of Famer. Yeah. He's going to go to the Hall of Fame. But AJ Green, to me, what I've seen, and if you compare and contrast the numbers and the amount of games that these guys play, and that's what you look at, because if you see AJ Green play in 60 or 50 more games or 80 more games like Hines Ward, he's going to have a lot better numbers than those guys. So that's just my thought when the process of the games that he didn't play because of injury. But AJ Green is a Hall of Famer. I think he's a first ballot. He's probably not going to be first ballot. That's fine. He's still a Hall of Famer in my eyes. And so is Anquan Bolden. He's going to go into the Hall of Fame. Larry Fitzgerald.
Jamie Collins is going to get traded this week.
New England.
He's holding out.
New England.
They held up. No, he's not going back to New England. He just left there twice now. And there's no room for him.
Well, the front seven is terrible.
Oh, you're right. They probably do need him. They don't have any good linebackers on that team.
Come on,
you're
Jeff,
correct.
pay attention.
Carl says Tyler
falling
just
behind on this one.
Carl says Tyler just give up on the injury point. A good one, by the way. Call AJ Green Gale Sayers, according to Errol.
What happened?
Carl says Tyler just give up on the injury point. A good one, by the way. Call AJ Green Gale Sayers, according to Errol.
I didn't say that, but again, Carl taking words out of my mouth, which is completely untrue. So, but that's okay, Carl. I could care less what you think when you attack something that I did not say. Tampa and Atlanta, we all know what happened in that game. Atlanta is not a good team. Yeah. Seattle, That Seattle-Tennessee game, I believe that was the second best game. Went to overtime. I was very impressed with Tennessee and how they pushed forward. They didn't give up in that game. Derrick Henry was a beast in the second half. I was very impressed with what Tennessee did.
He's the only reason that team wins any games. Ryan Tannehill is a bag of flaming doggy doo-doo.
You don't think he had a good game?
Dude, Ryan Tannehill stinks.
No,
Ryan Tannehill's the reason they almost lost that game.
He looked pretty damn good. He didn't throw any interceptions. 27
for the
for
amount
40,
of effort Derrick Henry
147
puts
yards.
in, for the amount of effort Derrick Henry puts in and how dominant he is and how much, every team is putting 8 guys in the box and Ryan Tannehill still can't complete a pass, should be embarrassed. Should be embarrassed.
Again, I didn't think Ryan Tannehill had a bad game. I thought he played pretty well. And if you look at the numbers and you look what obviously Russell Wilson did, he played just as well as Russell Wilson did. 22 for 31, 343 yards, 2 touchdowns. Tannehill, 27 for 40, 347 yards.
The difference is Russell Wilson doesn't have any help at running back. Their running backs
Carson's
stink, and they're all
Carson's
hurt.
not that bad.
He's always hurt, and he's not that good. And by the way, go look at his numbers. They weren't very good this week.
13 carries, 31 yards for Carson.
Oh, 31 yards.
What did he do?
Carson, he's not that bad.
What did he do in week 1?
Awful.
No.
I thought he did pretty well in week 1.
Awful.
What
Go
was
look
his
at week
numbers?
1.
Go, Speedy, go look.
Oh, by the
can't
way,
do it.
for all the people talking about how Julio Jones is going to fall off.
Who
or
said
whatever.
that?
What?
Who
A
said
lot
that?
of people told me that. But anyway, Julio Jones played pretty freaking well, and he got robbed of a touchdown.
16 carries, 91 yards, and
That's
3
pretty
catches
damn
for
good.
26 yards. That's pretty good.
That's pretty damn good. I'm sorry. Carlson, I remember him playing very well week 1. And he had one bad game, and he played a very good defense.
Well, he's been like that his whole career.
So 50% of the games have been bad.
Well, he's been like that his whole career.
Carlson
He's
is not a
usually on
bad
and
running
off.
back, Jeff. I don't know what you're talking
Right,
about.
and he gave Russell Wilson 0 help against the Titans.
That's
0
fine.
help.
That was one
he got
game.
0 help. Meanwhile, Ryan Tannehill has the most dominant running back in football, and they're loading 8 guys into the box, and Ryan Tannehill is thinking.
Again, I've been very impressed with Seattle because I think there's a lot of deficiencies in their defense. They've played pretty well. They lost a lot. They lost a lot of defensive players in the offseason. The last couple of years, their drafts have been horrendous. Their secondary is very weak. They have a bunch of young guys playing on the secondary, players that you never even heard of. So I think Seattle's played very, very well. And Russell Wilson, as much as everybody thinks that Russell Wilson's going to be on his way out at the end of this year, I don't see it to be. I don't. Russell Wilson is not going anywhere. He's under contract, and as long as he's under contract and he has a no-trade clause, he's going nowhere. So
He does have a trade clause.
No, he has a no-trade clause.
He has a no-trade clause.
Oh, but no, you're right, because we argued this before.
Carl says, AJ Green had many games taken away because of injuries. So did Gale Sayers. I was backing up your point.
And by the way, Dak Prescott has been one of the top 5 best quarterbacks in the league in the first 2 games.
Hold on.
He has been.
Terrific.
He
Cowboys
has.
can kick
I know
rocks.
you don't like him. But
It's not that I don't. It's not that I don't like him.
fans are
Again, it's not that I don't like him.
That's fine. The fans are obnoxious, but anybody could say whatever they want about the organization and the team. Dak
Dude, getting your
Prescott.
whole, we've done this before,
Yeah.
right? We've totally done this before.
Yeah.
The Cowboys steamrolled through people through 4 weeks. They were undefeated. They played the Dolphins, the Redskins, the Giants, a bunch of nobodies through 4 weeks.
They played the
do this
Chargers.
They do this every year. They're going to play halfway decent for a little while, and then
He
they're
didn't
going to
play great
choke
last
from
week.
Thanksgiving all the way through
23
December.
for 27 is efficient for 237 yards. That's efficient. That's an efficient quarterback. He made every throw that he needed. He didn't throw any interceptions. This is a guy that's coming back from a bad ankle injury. A lot of people, and he threw 400. No, he didn't. He threw one.
Yeah,
Oh,
he did
yeah,
one.
at the end of the game. That's right, he did. Right over here, it says he threw 1 interception. He played a very good game, and he was very efficient. And in the last 2 weeks, he's got 700 yards in the first 2 games.
Yeah,
that's pretty damn good. Okay,
They only won because of the refs.
Oh, stop.
No. Sorry, sorry. I'm going to do this because
Yes.
I'm
Jeff,
doing this.
please do it and roast him.
No, I'm doing this because if they only lose because of the refs, well, then that's the only reason they win too. So I'm sick of that kid's bullshit too. He can take his goofy ass and kick rocks also.
Again, I thought Dallas and Dak Prescott.
And by the way, the refs did help Dallas, right?
Yeah,
because
they
they
did.
backed
Yeah,
they backed the Chargers up on a phantom roughing the passer call and took them out of range to get a touchdown, right? Where they only had because they were on the 3-yard line, right? And could have scored a touchdown. And that was the worst intentional grounding call I've ever seen. That dude didn't even have a hold of him. Justin Herbert was giving him a stiff arm, and they called it intentional grounding, right? And backed him all the way up, so all they could get was 3 points. They would have scored a touchdown had they still been on the 3-yard line. So yes, the refs did help the Cowboys.
But that's in every game, Jeff. We can argue that happens in every game. The ref helps this game.
Speedy, show him the video of the Justin Herbert intentional grounding call, and you tell me how egregious it is.
Errol, I will tell you this. I bash the Chargers all the time. They got screwed by that call pretty badly.
That's fine, and we've seen this in many games. This stuff has happened. It's not just one game. We've seen the Cowboys get screwed in games too. We've seen the Jets get screwed. We've seen the Patriots get screwed. We've seen Tampa.
Are we talking about this game?
What?
The Cowboy
Yeah,
game?
we're talking about it right now.
Okay, because Ezekiel Elliott has to take a seat on the bench.
Tony Pollard outperforming him. You're correct.
That's correct.
He needs to take a seat. And not for nothing, he also fits better with McCarthy.
I think it's time we started
Ezekiel
telling
Elliott
that
didn't play
stupid
bad.
muggle
16
that
carries.
Ezekiel Elliott is no good.
Yeah, but 16 carries for 71 yards and 1 touchdown is not bad.
Awesome. Now tell me what Tony Pollard had.
13 for 109 and
one touchdown.
And a touchdown. Also had 3 catches for 31 yards.
Okay.
Tony Pollard for president. That'll do it.
That's fine.
So does this now mean Tony Pollard is better than Barry Sanders?
Now, what's the overall ranking system?
Don't
Is
do
it
that.
Tony Pollard?
You can't bring up Barry Sanders' name around here.
Barry. Why does
By the way,
everybody
one of the
compare
easily
people
one
to
of the
Barry
dumbest takes on the planet. Zeke Elliott hasn't had a good season now in 3 seasons. Right, he led the league in fumbles last year. Right, Barry Sanders, dominant running back for like 12, 13 years or whatever he was.
10
in
years.
the league, right?
10 years, yeah.
10 years in the league. We're talking Zeke Elliott had a good rookie season, and what sense?
Yeah, and by the way, Barry Sanders retired at the age of 29. So I mean, he's the only besides Curtis Martin. Curtis Martin and him are the only 2 running backs that 10 straight seasons.
Zeke Elliott is so good, he's getting outperformed by Tony Pollard. Is Tony Pollard now Emmitt Smith?
Calls us Tony Pollard or Barkley. Ha ha ha. All right, Jeff.
Barkley.
Barkley. That's even a rhetorical question.
But who's played better in the last this past year?
One's
so
coming
far?
off an ACL and one has had
It's not an excuse.
Oh my god!
It's not an excuse.
Jeff, here's the rest of the logic. Does that mean Jonathan Taylor,
Dak Prescott
Javonte
came
Williams?
from a major ankle injury,
It's
and look
two
at
different
look at-
positions.
Yeah, the quarterback position's harder.
Right, but if his shoulder was torn, I'd agree with you.
Dude, people
So
thought
what
he
was the
wasn't gonna
comment,
play.
Speedy?
I was going to say, if Tony Pollard is better, I guess Javonte Williams, Chase Edmonds, Tyson Williams, Melvin Gordon, Miles Sanders, and many more running backs are better than him because they had more rushing yards this year.
Dude, but this is.
Remember I
Listen,
said Zeke was a top 10 run back and everyone roasted me for it? Well, guess what? That conversation's for real now.
What happened?
Zeke's not a top 10 running back in this league.
Yeah, you
right
said that 2 years ago. You're right about that. Yeah.
At one point, like 3 years ago, he was. That
Dude,
the
top 10
last 3
running
years,
back.
no,
He's not even the best running back.
not
on his
anymore.
team.
Not
Right.
anymore. He hasn't been a top 10 running back for the last 3 years.
I'll tell you what,
After his
he's been
second year, he fell out.
He hasn't been a top 50 running back in the league.
Third
since
year.
they paid him.
After his second year, he fell out.
Well, yeah,
So I
technically
just
2.5
said-
because he was suspended too. That 6-game suspension in his second year too.
He got paid, he got complacent, and now he's just happy to be there.
But this is why I always say I want players to get their money and whatever, because God bless Zeke Elliott. That's the last contract he's ever signing.
Mm-hmm.
No one's paying that. That dude is going to be a league minimum player at the end of his contract.
He's going to get traded at the end of the year.
Zeke's number, his first of all, Zeke,
No, he's not going to get traded. That's crazy. No one is going to trade for the highest running back contract in the league. No one's going to do it, Tyler. No one. He's not getting traded.
Zeke's numbers, his first 4 years were sensational.
I can't.
And by the way,
imagine
his
Dallas
fifth
keeping
year
him.
wasn't bad either. 979 yards, 6 touchdowns. It was pretty damn good too. I mean, yards per carry, I think was over almost 4. I mean, he's the last 4 or 5 years.
Aren't you looking at it?
I'm looking at his numbers right now.
All right, so what do you mean almost 4?
2016, 2017, 2018, 2019, and even 2020 wasn't so bad. Okay, his numbers were
So
pretty
bad.
damn
He
good.
led the league in
wasn't so
fumbles.
bad. He led the league in fumbles, dude. Yeah, I mean,
As a running back.
Again, Ezekiel Elliott, when you have almost 1,000 yards and 6 touchdowns,
dude, they
that's
paid
not
him
bad.
$1 million a fumble.
We understand they overpaid
Now
him.
I understand that you don't understand the fact that Daniel Jones having more fumbles than touchdowns is bad. Now I get why.
Yeah, okay. And anybody that listens to you on what you say about Daniel Jones probably thinks you're out of your damn friggin' mind. You're a typical Giant fan that has his head up his ass, thinking that this kid doesn't.
That's terrific. Tyler's Daniel Jones take is on the same level as your Jets offensive line take.
What are you talking about? I came back and said, first of all, when you look at the acquisitions that they made in the offseason, and by the way, Elijah Vera Tucker didn't have a preseason. He didn't play in OTAs because he was injured. Elijah
Jeff,
Moore.
don't make fun of the Jets.
Elijah Moore. No, it has nothing. I'm saying the truth. Now, I've taken back on what I thought with their offensive line. I thought it was going to be good. Mekhi Beckham is obviously hurt for 8 weeks. I don't think that this offensive line is really where I thought it was going to be. So my take with the offensive line is wrong. There were a lot of takes that you have said, Jeff, were out of control too and crazy too.
Not Rondale Moore.
Whatever.
Not Zaven Collins.
No, not Zaven Collins.
And as far as
Hall of
Zeke
Fame,
Elliott,
baby.
and as far as Zeke Elliott,
we're
his
riding
numbers,
this rocket ship to the moon.
4 out of the 6 years, he had pretty good.
Musk will come here.
Zeke's numbers in the 4 out of the 6 years were pretty damn good. So I don't know if he was elite. I think he was elite for 3. Actually, I would say 4 out of.
Let's put it this way: he
5,
hasn't been
6
good
years.
since they paid him.
Yeah, I would say that. Yes,
that's fair.
2019 was his last great year.
But keep in mind, 4 years of Ezekiel Elliott is much better than a decade of Barry Sanders.
Yeah, well, he's not anywhere.
What is it? How does that compare to 3 years of Tony Pollard? That's the real question.
Dude, first of all, let's go by. You want to go by numbers? Let's go by numbers. Let's stack their numbers up compared to their paycheck and see who's earning more per dollar.
Oh God!
Well, what's Tony Pollard getting? Like 1.6 million.
He's a 4th round or 5th round pick.
He's
so
been
I
good.
can't imagine his contract.
So he's not. No, so he's getting Damian Harris money. He's getting $500K.
Yeah,
I think he fits better in Mike McCarthy's offense because they use him. They use him as a wide receiver. He can catch the ball. Zeke has had problems doing that, and coming to the league
didn't I say that 2 years ago?
I'm not arguing, but Zeke is not a bad running back.
Which, by the way, is another check mark in the column for Tony Pollard. He's more versatile.
He is.
Unless we're looking at that as a negative.
No, he absolutely is. He's
so good take, Beeve. Zeke Elliott is just the best.
So what did you guys think of Kansas City and Baltimore? I thought that game really stood out to me, and Baltimore showed me how much heart they have. You could say whatever you want about Lamar Jackson. He threw 2 bad interceptions early in the game, and then in the second half took over the game. And yes, you could say whatever you want about what his numbers was in the 4th quarter. He outplayed your guy, Pat Mahomes. He did. He outplayed him. He ran the ball when he needed to, and he won that game. He won that game for the Baltimore Ravens. Baltimore Ravens, a lot of people thought Kansas City was going to go undefeated this year. I heard how many times throughout the offseason that Pat Mahomes thought that he can go undefeated, go all the way to the Super Bowl undefeated. Well, he lost.
You're catching up, Speedy. It's 12-5 now.
Oh, yeah.
So, obviously.
Top of the 9th, 2 outs, man. You guys can come back.
Obviously.
You realize if they do come back in some small, minuscule chance, this is going to be hysterical to play back years from now.
Yeah, you think they can score 7 runs?
I don't think the Mets
we all know
score
they
7
can't
runs in
score
a week,
7
but
runs.
that's
Jeff.
fine.
Lucky they score 7. Yeah, I was going to say, lucky they score 7 in a week.
You know who didn't show up to that game on Sunday night? Tyreek Hill.
Yep.
He did not show up in that game. 1 carry for 15 yards at that, and
3 for 14
3
catches.
for 4.
Yeah.
So
and there's the 3rd out. Good for you, Tyler. Good call.
I didn't say they were going to. I said it would have been hysterical.
I mean, Speedy, what did you think of Sunday Night Football?
That was actually the first thing I was going to mention. The Ravens defense had an excellent game plan on Tyreek Hill.
Absolutely.
And
Marlon
obviously it's easier said than done with a lot of these teams trying to double team him because he's I guess a smaller receiver in comparison to other receivers in the league, as great as he is. But they let Travis Kelce do his thing and they stopped everybody else, and they had a great job.
They shut Kelce
Tyreek
down
Hill.
practically all 3 quarters until the 4th.
Yeah, and again, they did great against the run. They did well rushing the passer in this game. Kansas City's offensive line, we know they improved. They had a lot of new pieces. The other thing that's concerning, though, is with all the offensive players the Ravens were out in that game, the Chiefs' defense did not look good considering that. That's a big concern for them going forward. That secondary outside of Honey Badger.
Clark came back.
He did, but he didn't look good either.
He had no preseason.
Yeah, first game back. I'll give him a pass for now. But
Quentin Williams,
all of that,
just in general,
all of that really wouldn't have mattered if, listen. There's a lot of positives and a lot of negatives on both sides of the ball. You could clearly say Lamar was good. He was good. You could clearly go, right. You can clearly say a lot of good things. all of which do not matter. When on that last drive, Patrick Mahomes took that team all the way down the field on 2 plays. And if it wasn't for that chucklehead, Clyde Edwards-Helaire dropping the football,
oh, he looked terrible.
Kansas City was easily going to win that game. They went down the field in 2 plays. They cut through that Ravens defense like a hot knife through butter.
That's fair.
It wouldn't have mattered.
That's fair. It's just still a lot
you can say a lot of good things and a lot of bad things about both teams. Honestly, Clyde Edwards-Helaire is the only reason the Chiefs lost.
That's fair. There's just a lot of concerns with that defense with all the injuries the Ravens have, though. So,
and because who cares how many catches Tyreek Hill did or didn't have? It wouldn't have mattered. They were carving them up. Byron Pringle and Mecole Hardman were coming out of nowhere.
Pringle looked good. What is this, his second year?
Third, I believe.
Pringle looked really good. I was very impressed with the kid.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. If they had just not given the ball to Clyde Edwards-Helaire, who's an idiot, right? Like, no break. All they needed to do was kick a field goal. They didn't need to go any further.
Robinson a long touchdown too, 3 for 46. Mecole Hardman 5 for 55. Yeah, they replaced the production for sure.
I just want everyone to know once again that he completed 1 pass on that game-winning drive.
That's fine.
As a quarterback.
To me, when the quarterback wins the game, and it was a big part of the reason why they won, you could say whatever you want. Lamar Jackson was one of the reasons why they won that game.
He's a glorified Wildcat.
It doesn't matter. He makes the throws when he needs to, and when you look at his numbers, he's efficient. He's an MVP.
Dude, this is what I don't understand about you guys. Errol did it earlier. Tyler's doing it now. Why do you have to cut people down? Oh, he's a glorified Wildcat.
No.
Dude, he was a league MVP. He's a good player. Why
he's a great player who is very electric. He's not an elite quarterback.
How could he not be elite when he's an MVP?
Dude, he's only been in the league 3 years and he's won an MVP.
Playmaker.
He's made the playoffs
yet to win games as a quarterback. That's great. Well, how's he doing in the playoffs?
His record as a quarterback in the regular season, I think he's like 35.
In the playoffs, how does he play?
He's won 2 games in the playoffs.
But you want to know
it's not easy to win.
I understand that. It's not easy to win.
Unfair too. That's totally unfair too, because he has a coach who, by the way, doesn't know what the rules of football are.
John Harbaugh.
Do you remember him whining against the Patriots because he didn't know what the rules were?
But John Harbaugh is a good coach. That's not fair. Harbaugh's a very good coach. To be honest with you, I think if Lamar Jackson was on any other team, he would be not in the position he's in now.
Lamar Jackson, he's only won 1 Super Bowl. They've had one of the best teams every year, right? And they're also a team that gets knocked out of the playoffs. So maybe it's not just Lamar. Maybe people should be looking at John Harbaugh, Jim Harbaugh, whatever Harbaugh that is.
And who's their running back? Who's their running back?
Lamar Jackson.
They don't have a running
back. The great 2014 platoon of Le'Veon Bell, Latavius Murray, and Devontae Freeman.
Le'Veon Bell's not on the roster.
I know.
No, he is, but he didn't play well last week.
I'm kidding. I was kidding about Bell. He's there though. So
he didn't play He didn't play well last week. But as far as what Williams did,
talk about something else. What? I think they're going to miss Ozzie Newsome drafting.
Ozzie Newsome's still part of the organization.
Yeah, but he's not in the draft room. He's not.
Yes, he is.
Their new GM is still good.
Yes,
though.
he is.
I don't know.
He's in the draft room.
Yes,
Their new GM has still been good, though.
Yeah, I don't know.
They just need to find the one position, like Jeff was saying with the Patriots. The Ravens have always struggled with wide receivers. That's really it. They've done well with pretty much every other position.
All right, and the final game of the week, the Green Bay Packers and the Lions. The Lions that played very, very well the week before. Almost beat San Francisco, almost came back in the fourth quarter to knock off the San Francisco 49ers, one of the Super Bowl elite teams. What did you guys think about the Green Bay Packers and Aaron Rodgers' performance, Speedy?
Yeah, I think a great, well-rounded effort from the Packers as a whole. Their offense had everybody clicking for them. Even some of their secondary receivers, Aaron Rodgers was able to spread the ball around nicely to them. Aaron Jones, obviously, you mentioned earlier, very inspiring performance for his father. 4 touchdowns. What, did you lose money on that too?
No, I'm saying how unbelievably lucky are the Packers that one of their worst players, Aaron Jones, was terrible and overrated, and no one wants him on his team to have a game like that. What a lucky performance that is, because Aaron Jones is no good.
Now, going back to the Packers, I think their defense was still a little concerning. The Lions actually did move the ball around. The Lions moved the ball around pretty well, considering their receivers. I don't even know who's on the field half the time. DeAndre Swift and TJ Hawkinson, and that's really all they have. And maybe
Shut
Jamal
up.
Williams.
Quintez Cephas is really good.
He's
You
played
can
well.
look
That's what I'm
Sam.
saying. Like he's a new breakthrough guy. That's what I'm saying. Like he's emerging as that guy.
And people shit on Jared Goff. Go bring up the corner route touchdown pass he threw to T.J. Hawkinson.
He looked good.
It was one of the prettiest passes I've ever
He looked
seen.
good.
I think Goff has looked good much of the year so far.
He has.
He had one bad quarter really against the Niners, and that was really it. The second half, again, they just kind of figured him out a little bit. The pass of the offense
And having a good year thrown to no one. These aren't Robert Woods and Cooper Kupps
Right.
and those kinds of guys. He's got Quintez Cephases. Which one of you Nimrods could even tell me where Quintez Cephas went to college?
Wisconsin. He was a 5th-round pick. I know who he is. I just
there you go, Speedy.
Like you're not thinking of him as a number 1 receiver though.
Right. No, Wisconsin's never had any good players. They're more known for Ron Dane.
Don't tell that to
Thank
Josh.
you for bringing that up with the Giants.
Don't say that to Josh Silverberg, who thinks that they're God's gift to the world in basketball and football.
Dude, they're not. They're terrible. They are where quarterbacks go to die. Alex Hornibrook, get out of here, bro. Jack
I
Cole,
forgot about
kick
him.
rocks.
I forgot about Alex Hornibrook.
Well, hold on one second.
Yeah.
Didn't Russell Wilson go there?
For
Wisconsin.
not the whole time.
Only for a little while. He
Yeah.
went to NC State. More.
Yes.
He was only there 1 year. He was an NC State
Well,
quarterback.
didn't he go to Wisconsin before? he
1
got drafted?
year.
1 year. That's
Yeah,
what he's
but
saying.
he played for Wisconsin.
Yeah.
To go, and he had one of his best years. He had his best year with
Right,
Wisconsin.
but that's literally it's such an outlier because is Jalen Hurts an Oklahoma quarterback?
Right.
No.
It's
He
like we
was
were saying, like is
Alabama.
Justin Fields an Ohio State quarterback or a Georgia quarterback? Yeah, same.
No, well,
logic.
Fields played there more than 1 year.
No,
Jalen
I know that.
Hurts
I'm
is
just saying, like
apropos.
we classify if we classify Fields as the Georgia quarterback for the list we were doing a couple weeks ago, you have to classify the same thing with Russell Wilson.
Yeah, 1 season. Who cares?
Read
Get
what
out of
people are writing.
Carl asks Lions or Jets.
I don't know what that means, but
I guess which seems better. I guess
Lions.
Right now, it'd probably be the Lions.
Carl says, why did ESPN get rid of baseball tonight? Harrison Bader scored from second on a sac fly. Ben says Cephas was great in college, and Wisconsin, hashtag on Wisconsin, and Russell Wilson.
Yeah, Cephas was great, but how much better would Cephas have been if he had just played somewhere else with, I don't know, a quarterback that could throw?
Right. Yeah,
Dude, Alex
Wisconsin's
Hornibrook,
always known for
enough said.
Wisconsin's always known for running backs and offensive linemen more than they are with quarterbacks.
The fact is that Aaron Rodgers, even though he didn't throw 300 yards, 255 yards, 4 touchdowns, 22 for 27, no interceptions, he was very efficient. And again,
in the second half,
Aaron Rodgers, if he plays like that, Green Bay is going to have a chance to win every week. He's sensational. Obviously, his first game, he didn't look very, very good against the Saints.
Look at you praising a guy with only 250 yards passing. When it came to Matthew Stafford, it wasn't very good. But with Rodgers, it's sensational. And the only reason Rodgers even won that game was because Aaron Jones dominated. Say it.
I said Matthew Stafford's a top 5 quarterback in the league right now.
Dude, when we talked about the Indianapolis thing, you were like, he wasn't very good.
He wasn't good his second week. No, he wasn't.
Yeah,
what did he throw?
30 more 30 more passing yards. Than the terrific Aaron Rodgers.
Oh my God! Did he throw 4 touchdowns? Did he?
First of all, go and look at those touchdowns. They were touch passes to Aaron Jones. They were glorified.
Did he
handoffs.
have 4 touchdowns?
Dude,
yes or no?
They were. Go watch
That's
those.
half of Brady's.
That's
half of Brady's touchdowns. 7-yard passes, 9-yard passes.
I watched the whole game. Aaron Rodgers wasn't dominant at all.
Really? Because what I watched was a dominant.
He made one dominant throw to Devontae Adams that was like 50 yards from his end zone.
First of all, 19 for 30.
That was the only big play Aaron Rodgers had.
He made another great throw to Valdez.
19 30.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
19 for 30, 278 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 interception is not better than Aaron Rodgers' 255, 22 for 27, and 4 touchdowns. Sorry, it's not. So
I know, Eeyore. We're not having any fun.
It's not. You could call me Eeyore all you want. It's true. That's the facts. When you were looking at numbers, you're comparing, contrasting numbers. You can't honestly tell me that Aaron Rodgers didn't have a better game than Matthew Stafford.
Those passes, those touchdown passes, they were touch passes to Aaron Jones. They were glorified handoffs. Aaron Jones did all the heavy lifting. You're welcome.
Well, and we've seen that with Brady over the years. We've seen that with Peyton Manning.
He doesn't do the touch pass. He throws screens at least.
Oh, screens? Oh, that's so much better.
Hey, listen, Cam Newton couldn't throw a screen.
Well, Cam Newton can't throw anything. He's lucky he could throw it to a kid.
No, I continue to go back to my analogy with the surfer.
So why don't we go to your analogy with Ben Simmons? The story coming out in Philadelphia is he is not going to play this year if he's still a Philadelphia 76er.
Shocking.
That's a dumb thing for him to say.
Does this hurt him when it comes to getting traded? Yes or no, Speedy? What are your thoughts to it?
In terms of him actually getting traded, no. In terms of his trade value that other teams are going to ask for now, it's going to decimate it big time. You might even only get one first-round pick, if anything. Now, a player wants out. We see it a lot in the NFL. Players get sold short all the time, especially in the NBA too, where it seems like these guys get nothing back, and especially with NBA superstars, they run the league. So if not that Ben Simmons is a superstar, but these young players demanding it now, it's going to decimate that trade value. I think he's only getting one first-round pick now, if anything, and maybe a couple players.
How about you, Tyler? What did you think? What do you think about the whole
to be fair to Ben Simmons here, and listen, his play has been awful. But I will say this. It has been a very poorly kept secret that Philly didn't want him there. So, yeah, now Philadelphia is asking too much. Now teams are like, you're crazy, you're crazy. They wanted Steph or Klay Thompson from Golden State. Are you insane? Are you crazy? Listen, I get it. Daryl Morey is used to ripping people off and stuff, but that's absurd. That's crazy. It's a fact. To be honest, if they would have got Andrew Wiggins in a package, I think they should consider themselves lucky. But Ben Simmons here now has absolutely put Philadelphia's back behind the wall, and they're going to get robbed for Ben Simmons. Robbed blind.
How about you, Jeff? What did you think about Ben Simmons coming out with his agent this past week, early this week on Monday or Tuesday, stating that he will not play for the 76ers this year? And then actually Doc Rivers came out and said that he really wants Ben Simmons to come back. They have a chance to win this year with the team that they have pretty much established. So what do you think with the situation with the 76ers?
It's a whole lot of nonsense. We've known this is going to happen for a while. It's been the worst kept secret going, right? And the whole Doc Rivers thing about, we want you back. No, they don't. His trade value is in the toilet because he can't shoot, right? He shouldn't even have hands to be able to shoot a basketball. He's that bad at it, right? And the whole we want you back thing is because the Sixers are asking way too much for a dude that can't shoot in a shooter's league, and they're trying to boost his value. So the whole, we want you back thing is just so they can try to drive up their price, because Ben Simmons isn't worth a dime. He's a max contract player who can't
But you can't honestly say that Ben Simmons isn't a good player.
No, he's not.
He's a three-time All-Star.
Terrific. All-Star means absolutely
I
nothing.
understand that, but when you're in the league for 5 years and you're a three-time All-Star.
Oh, yeah? How well did he do when he was in the playoffs with the game on the line trying to shoot a free throw?
Jeff, we've seen this with a lot of teams and a lot of players.
First of all, if they were any good with maybe the league's most dominant center,
James Harden's
right?
not a good playoff player. Terrible. He's not a great playoff player.
Is Embiid probably the best center in the league?
Second to the Joker, I would say.
I mean,
right, Harden's the exact opposite of Simmons. He can do anything offensively, and he can't play defense worth a lick.
If we go through some of the players, some of the stars in the league on some of these teams, some of these players are not good playoff players. They're just not. No. They don't show off in the playoffs. They don't show off in the playoffs.
Which Ben Simmons is one of those.
It definitely is. He's not a good playoff player. A matter of fact, he was the reason why they choked.
They're asking 65 first-round draft picks and of your 10 best players.
They're not getting that.
For Ben Simmons. Dude, their asking price is ridiculous for a dude with 3 career three-pointers.
Right.
Ben Simmons is a headache.
Can we live in reality?
To move on.
But again, the whole point here is when you look at Ben Simmons. Now, I don't think he's the type of player that they're trying to trade him for all this draft stock and everything like that, or even some of the players that we've been hearing that they're interested in making a trade for. I don't believe that he's as good a player as what they that he thinks he is, and how the 76ers think that he is. But a three-time.
Let me just ask you this, right? For all three of you, right? Mm-hmm. Out of everyone in the league with a max contract, isn't he the most undeserving?
Probably. I'm not sure who has max contracts and who's don't.
So think about
I would
that.
imagine of the ones I know, yes, I would say so. Because a lot of the ones that were bad before that,
Conley was overpaid.
But he actually played very well last year. I thought the same thing at the time too, but he played very well last year.
Yeah, but he's a high profile player, high price player.
Oh yeah, at the time of that contract, when he was the highest paid player in the NBA, absolutely. I thought.
But that's what he's saying.
Overpaid.
What kind of players?
No.
He brought a player. He brought a player.
Right, but
he asked me a question.
Mike Conley can shoot a three. Mike Conley can shoot. Right.
Mike Conley can't stay on the court. That's Mike Conley's problem.
Mike Conley's not a great playoff player either.
Right, but guess what? You had everyone on the planet wondering why Doc Rivers had Ben Simmons still in a playoff game with the game on the line. Isn't that the same as, Mike Conley can't stay on the court? Dude, you had fans begging, please don't give the ball to Ben Simmons to try to shoot a free throw in the last minute of this game. Please. And he's a max contract guy? Get out of here.
How about Paul George?
Paul George has
Paul George
way
has had bad
more than Ben
stretches.
Simmons.
I didn't say that he's not better than Ben Simmons.
Playoff P's a thing.
Paul George, last year he was better. The last 2 or 3 years has not been good.
Yeah,
in the playoffs.
He's not a Robin. That's the problem.
Here's the question, Errol. If I'm in the last minute of the game and I'm down 1, right, and you had a choice between Paul George shooting the free throws to win the game or Ben Simmons, who do you want at the line?
Paul George.
Then Paul George is a better player.
I never said that he wasn't. But you're asking me when you look at players that are overpaid and that they do not show up in the playoffs. I'm just giving you players that I think are stars that they don't show up in the playoffs. They just don't. Kawhi Leonard deserves every dime. No, he really hasn't.
He has.
Has he ever played in the finals?
Indiana has.
Has he ever played in the finals?
Oh my God.
That's what you look at. Has he ever played in the finals?
No, sorry, LeBron James.
Has he ever played for a championship?
No, but neither has Ben Simmons.
We're talking about that.
Right.
He asked me how many players, overpriced players, highly profile players.
No, I'm not saying like overpriced. I'm just saying he's the one that doesn't live up to his contract. I'm never going to say anyone's overpaid. Go get your money, fellas, because after this, you're going to be Vin Baker managing a Starbucks.
Mm.
Yeah,
right?
I actually met Vin Baker.
So go get your money, right? So go get your money. That's fine. But out of all the players with max contracts, he's the one most not living up to it.
Right, yeah. According to the Spoke Track, he's the 13th highest paid overall contract in the NBA. Who are the other guys? The only ones above him are Chris Middleton, Tobias Harris,
Chris Middleton might be
Anthony Davis, Klay
He's won a
Thompson,
championship.
Kevin Durant,
played very well in the finals.
Joel Embiid, Steph Curry, Rudy Gobert, Russell Westbrook,
Rudy Gobert is another one.
Luka Doncic, Steph Curry again with his new contract, his new extension, and Giannis.
I mean, you can say Rudy Gobert all you want, but Rudy Gobert was Defensive Player of the Year.
Oh,
right, but he can't shoot either.
But he's not a ball handler, point guard type.
Yeah, that's not the kind of player he is. He's a rebounder and dunker. He's like one of the last true centers.
No, I get it. I understand. I completely get it that his skill set is fine. But if you're going to complain about free throws, hello, this dude also cannot shoot free throws.
Rudy Gobert can make free throws.
Who's behind him? Who's behind Ben Simmons?
Not much better than Ben Simmons.
So right behind Ben Simmons is Paul George, Kawhi Leonard,
better,
Damian Lillard, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Maybe that one is questionable.
No, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is absolutely.
And here's the problem with Damian Lillard. I love Damian Lillard. He's never won the big game. He's taken his team to the Western Conference
He's clutch,
Finals.
though.
Yeah, he's great.
It's also not his fault. He's the one throwing up 60 points.
He lost to Golden State.
I understand. But again,
let's be honest. If Ben Simmons was doing that, no one would complain about shooting or his contract. If he's throwing in 60 points, 50 points, what Lillard is doing, no one would say 2 words. People would go, "Oh, Ben Simmons, he's really doing it." No one's saying that because Ben Simmons shouldn't. They should chop his hands off. you want to? That's what they should do. They should send him.
They should make him play with his feet.
No. They should send him to one of those Middle Eastern countries that chop your hands off if you steal, because that's what he's doing to the Philadelphia 76ers, stealing their money.
So the rest of the top 20 is
hold on one second. You said everybody should get their money, right?
Everyone should get their money, but it's high. Dude, all Ben Simmons is missing with that contract is the gun and the mask. It's robbery.
Who else, Speedy?
So the rest of the top 20 is Trae Young, who just got his this offseason.
Good.
James Harden and John Wall.
Oh, all right.
And then
John Wall and James Harden.
And then you got Kevin Durant's big contract, which is right at 21. Donovan Mitchell, De'Aaron Fox, Bam Adebayo, who you do think is overpaid. I remember you saying that. Jason Tatum, Karl Anthony Towns, Devin Booker. Oh, Kristaps Porzingis. Oh, yeah.
Yes. Very overpriced paid player. And by the way, he has no trade
he's also like 20 spots behind. Right, but he's also 20 spots behind Ben. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, Ben should be back there with him. They should both be in the back of the bus.
That's not Ben Simmons' fault that the 76ers gave him more money.
No, it is Ben Simmons' fault because he conned them into thinking that he would try, and he hasn't.
Brandon Ingram, 5 years, 158 is and Jamal Murray round out the top 30 of them.
You know what Ben Simmons should be doing in the offseason? Ben Simmons should be putting up jumpers and shooting free throws and working on his game, not streaming video games on Twitch.
You're absolutely right. He should be practicing.
But that's the new generation, man. Like, that's what the guy wants. He wanted to make the NBA to get paid. He got paid, and that's that.
Right, which this is the thing, right? Like, if you want to be Kevin Durant and stream on Twitch, great. You're the second best, third best, first best.
Durant puts in the work. That's disrespectful.
Right, Durant puts in the work. You know what the difference is? Ben Simmons goes back to Australia, diddles a couple of down unders, and then streams on Twitch.
He's been unlucky too, and we got Mark coming in.
We got Mark coming on the show now.
Who's unlucky?
What are you talking about?
Who's unlucky?
What do you mean who's unlucky? What are
you just said somebody's very unlucky too.
What are you talking about?
You just said that.
What did I say? I don't know what I said.
You said he's extremely unlucky too.
Who? I don't know what you're talking about. Anyways, Mark, what's going on, bud?
Mark, you're muted. You got to unmute yourself.
You got to unmute yourself, Mark. I'll unmute.
I'll have what Mark's having.
Mark, you hear us?
Is his volume on?
We don't hear you. We need to get you.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we hear you now.
There it is.
Yes. What's going on, Mark?
How you doing? Nice to be on with you guys again.
Absolutely. How's teaching?
It's trying, but it's fun too.
We have Jeff on the phone. Jeff, say hi.
Hi, Mark. How are you? I hope you're feeling well. You look good. You got the electric bill paid. That's a step up.
Yeah, it certainly is.
So before we get into football and what you thought of week number 2 in football, what do you think about this Ben Simmons situation?
Ben Simmons.
Did you hear about Ben Simmons? That he's not, he told the 76ers that he will not play this year on the 76ers. He'll sit out for the season if they don't trade him. What are your thoughts to that?
Well, I mean, I think that he was disappointed last year, and now that the playoffs wound up, and he expected them to win. Look, athletes now are getting really bold with what they want. If they're not happy in a situation, they think they can go and create their own oasis, like LeBron did, where he can pretty much went to how many different franchises and got whatever he wanted. So I think more players are trying to do that.
So we were just trying to look at players that are highly overpaid or highly paid in the league. Ben Simmons right now is ranked 13th in the league. He's the 13th highest paid player in the NBA and really has not shown up in the playoffs. James Harden, I think he's 18th or 19th.
Yep.
Okay, so Speedy, spit it out so I don't have to do it because you have the list in front of you. So what are your thoughts to that? There are a lot of overpaid players in the league. Now, I think whatever, and Jeff will tell you the same thing. If these players are getting that money, you can't attack them. You want all these players to make as much money as they possibly can because they have one chance to make that kind of money.
Right.
When you look at Ben Simmons, do you think that way? Do you think that he's highly overpaid because he's not a playoff player?
Absolutely. I think he totally, the bed last year in the playoffs. He just was he wasn't there for half the games. And then the big critique was he couldn't shoot outside shots. The big critique was he shoots for a low percentage. He didn't even shoot the ball, though. So he was supposed to be a team leader. The 76ers were depending on him to get to the next step. And I think most people, when they watched him, didn't think his heart was in winning. And I think that's the biggest thing.
Now, Mark, before we get into the NFL, I want to get into college football. I know you're a big college football fan. So is Jeff. And Jeff, all season, since the beginning of the season, he had Georgia winning the whole thing.
Well, hold on. That's true. But hold on just 1 second. I do owe Mark and especially Garrard, because I shit on Garrard too. I said I thought Alabama was going to have a down year, and they look a lot better than I thought they were. So, Mark, you were correct. I apologize. Alabama does look really good.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, they look okay.
Now, what are your thoughts to who do you think is going to get into the playoff? Jeff thinks Alabama, Clemson, right, Jeff?
I appreciate that.
No Clemson.
Yeah, Clemson out.
No
Who do
Clemson.
you have? Who do you have?
I got Alabama, Georgia, Cincinnati, and if I gotta pick another team, Oregon.
Oregon? Okay.
Like right now, Oregon maybe.
How about UCLA?
No.
They just lost to Fresno State.
Yeah, no. Just because they beat LSU, LSU is overrated.
So what are your thoughts, too, so far? It's early in the college season. What is it, like week 5 right now in college?
Week 4, yeah.
Week 4, technically, if you want to count the
So what are your thoughts so far in college football? And what are your thoughts moving forward with some of these teams? Who do you got as your Final Four?
Well, I think Oregon's win over Ohio State was huge for the Pac-12 because the Pac-12 has been nondescript for so long. And you had kind of UCLA beating LSU in week 1, but people didn't know what to make of that because LSU lost to some bad teams last year. Even though they were supposed to be better this year, defensively, they still are awful. And you saw that in week 1 against UCLA. You can't beat UCLA. You're not a very good defensive team. I think the shock, there's been a couple shocks this year. Number 1 has been Arkansas in the way that they've just physically dominated their opponents. They absolutely manhandled Texas. They wiped them off the face of the earth. Texas had no chance to compete with them physically. I think they got a very athletic quarterback. He does the run-pass option very well. They are a bit of an unknown in the West. I think before the season started, you looked at the West and you said, okay, who's going to challenge Alabama? You figured Texas A&M could. I don't think they can anymore without the quarterback. Their defense is outstanding, but their offense isn't going to be able to score enough. You need to be able to score 30 points a game to play with Alabama. LSU, you wondered, could they be in the Texas A&M class? We found out in that game against UCLA, they're not. Then you add Ole Miss. I think Ole Miss can score. We don't know how they're going to do against the SEC yet, especially the West, but we know they can score and beat teams outside of the conference. Then you have the Auburns, the Mississippi States, and then Arkansas was a bit of an unknown.
You really like Arkansas.
Arkansas is proving now that they belong more with the Texas A&M than they belong with maybe a Mississippi State. But they got 4 tough games coming up here. They get Texas A&M first, then they got to go at Georgia, then they get Ole Miss, and then they get Auburn. 4 straight games against teams ranked in the top 20.
Are you surprised with Georgia? Because Jeff loves them. And I actually, in the beginning of the season, I picked Georgia to win the whole thing.
I thought Georgia was the best team in the East by far. They have the best talent in the East. I was surprised at how poor they played offensively against Clemson. And I think it looks worse and worse the weeks that go on. Clemson barely beating Georgia Tech was bad for Georgia because Georgia almost could have passed Alabama this week if more things went right. I don't know if they're going to be able to pass Alabama if Alabama keeps on winning. Obviously, if they lose, they will. But Georgia, we learned something about Florida too, and about some of these other teams like Minnesota in week 1. The teams that took advantage of that 5th-year senior rule where you can come back for COVID, right. Florida has 22 seniors on their team. 22 seniors.
Why do you think it's blasphemy?
Dude, he makes some solid points, right? The Clemson thing, they look kind of shaky, but Clemson has always played to the ability of their opponents. They always have, historically, okay, right? And so against good teams, Clemson has always been good. Georgia offensively in that game, they had 3 starters out on offense. They're going to get better. And we're going to see at the end of the year because they're Mark, I'm with you. Alabama, very good. But we're going to see this year because they're going to play twice. It's not going to matter in the SEC championship. They're going to play that game, and that's going to be fine. But both of those teams are going to move into the college football playoffs, and they're going to end up playing again. They are by far the 2 most superior teams in college football. Notre Dame can kick rocks. Ohio State can kick rocks. Oregon, hey, great win against Ohio State. Dude, Anthony Brown at quarterback is not very good. He cannot throw the football. The rest of these teams, they can't keep up. Maybe the 3rd best team in the country, honestly, and we'll find out against Notre Dame in 2 weeks, might be Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Because the rest of these teams, I thought UCLA was good. You get smoked by Fresno.
I know.
You're lost. Right?
What do you think of Michigan?
I like his take on Arkansas. It's exciting to see an up and coming SEC team in Arkansas that is impressing. But let's be honest. It's Arkansas, and they stink. And when they play the big boys, they'll probably get beat.
They'll get blown out.
Well,
Back to
yeah,
their
we'll
usual
see.
baseball
We
school.
got four tough games coming up. What do you think of Michigan?
He wanted to know what you thought of Michigan.
What I thought of Michigan?
Mm-hmm.
Dude, Michigan's terrible. Terrible. Oh, what? They beat Western Michigan by 60? Who gives a shit?
Well,
Let's
yeah, a
go
lot
to
of these teams
Wisconsin
right now.
and Penn State and some of these other good schools, Ohio State, who, by the way, Jim Harbaugh or John Harbaugh or whatever Harbaugh that is, he can't beat either, right? They're already missing their best player in Ronnie Bell, who went down in the first week returning a kick. Michigan's going to stink.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
they're gonna lose that
think
key game.
wake me when you beat Ohio State if you're Michigan. But I mean, they put together good numbers offensively and defensively in the first 3 games. I think Maryland's been a surprise with Tua's younger brother. I think he's completing 70% of his passes, 9 touchdowns, no interceptions. He looks really good.
Ohio State hasn't looked good this year.
No,
their defense is horrible.
No, Penn State's looked pretty good. I mean, that was a big win for Penn State over Auburn.
Yeah, that was a very complete game.
You know, Mark mentioned Maryland, right? Now ask him who their quarterback is. That's why they won't win.
Yeah, Tua's younger brother. I mean, they beat West Virginia, though, in week 1, so that was a pretty good win.
Tyler, you don't watch college football, do you?
No.
So you have a pick on who you think is going to win the national championship?
Just say Georgia, and you'll be correct.
He has Alabama, so
he's not a bad dude. They're the 2 best teams this year. But dude, I'm holding out hope. Right?
I'm taking. Is Mike Rick still there or Mark?
No, Mark Rick, he hasn't been there in a while. It's Kirby Smart now, and that's why I'm holding out hope that maybe one of Satan's disciples, maybe one of Satan's demons, will finally take him down.
It's true. I mean, I tell you, the Arkansas, Sam Pittman looks pretty good. I mean, Arkansas is better than I thought they'd be. I mean, yeah, they beat Texas. We don't know until they play these SEC teams. They could, be awful, but they look really physical early on. I think that surprised me the most.
Snug says maybe Ben Simmons should practice his jump shot on NBA 2K while on Twitch. Here comes the Alabama rants. Alabama, Oklahoma, Alabama. And Bama wins a tough fought battle with Bama to win the title. Don't put Oklahoma in, Snug. Errol won't like it.
You know, the only thing that I can, and listen, Alabama's been impressive, Mark. So I don't want you to take this as a shot or, me saying that they're no good. They're very good, okay? But if I had to choose a defense, I'm choosing Georgia over Florida's defense. And Alabama did not look very good against Florida's defense. They really struggled. And I think with a little tougher defense, I think that team can be beat.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. I mean, they have to play better than they played against Florida. They absolutely did horrible after those first 3 drives. First 3 drives, they looked like this is going to be a cakewalk. Right. It was like the SEC championship game. But they made the plays when they had to. And Alabama's young, too. They're just kids out there playing against, seniors now, guys that are experienced. So I think that mattered a little bit against Florida.
That's why at the beginning of the season, Jeff was questioning them, especially with their receivers too.
Yeah.
Is there any top defensive players that really stands out to you guys that are going into the NFL draft that are going to be pass rushers, top end pass rushers in the NFL? Is there anybody that sticks out to you guys?
The 2 best players in this draft are on defense, right? And I say that for this reason. Okay, the best player doesn't always go number 1. They draft me. That's why we see quarterbacks at the top of the board all the time, every year after year. That's what we see. The 2 best players in college football this year are Kayvon Thibodeau and Derek Stingley. Derek Stingley, the cornerback out of LSU, and Kayvon Thibodeau, the pass rusher out of Oregon, who, by the way, wasn't even in the game when Oregon beat Ohio State. And they're the 2 best players in this draft. They'll go really high, but quarterbacks steal the show. When was the last time a guy on defense went number 1? Mario Edwards?
Mario Williams.
Mario Williams, sorry.
Yeah, it's a good point.
You're talking about who? You're talking about pass rushers?
Jadeveon Clowney.
Nick Bosa was drafted in the 2nd pick. Nick Bosa.
No, Jeff was saying number 1 overall. That was Jadeveon Clowney.
Yeah, Jadeveon Clowney.
Right, but you're going to see guys like, and I'm not saying that they're very good, and I know, Errol, you're going to have a very visceral reaction.
What are you talking about?
But it's going to be either Spencer Rattler or Tyler Show or Sam Howell, or it's going to be a quarter. Listen, the team that sucks needs a quarterback. Like Houston is going to need a quarterback. They're going to be looking at like guys like that, Keaton Slovis and things like that. I'm not so sure that they're going to go, you know what we need? A shutdown corner. Let's go get Derek Stingley.
Right. Mark, you actually brought up Ole Miss earlier. Actually, one of these mock drafts already, obviously very early, so things could change, has their quarterback going 4th overall.
Yeah, Matt Corral.
Yeah.
Right. We'll see about that.
I know. I agree with you. Like a little too early to judge with that.
Yeah.
I mean, but this is how ridiculous some of this is, because Matt Corral couldn't even beat out that kid Plummer. Who I think that's the kid's name. Jake Plummer, maybe, something like that. I don't know. They shared the quarterbacking duties last year. Right? So what does that tell you, right? We're discussing a guy that is mediocre.
You're talking about the guy from
Purdue? No, I agree.
I'm talking about the guy from Purdue?
Right, but that's how quarterback heavy the top of the draft is. The best players are not those guys in this draft. Kayvon Thibodeau, Derek Stingley, book it.
All right, so Mark, going into baseball before we go into football, we'll end football with you. What are your thoughts with the Mets and the Yankees? Obviously, the Red Sox playing as well as they have the last couple of weeks.
They're not playing well. They just played the Mets.
Yeah, but they've been playing well. The Red Sox have played well for the last 3 weeks. Yeah, they have.
They've just played the Orioles and the Mets. Thank God for the. Hey, Speedy, how'd you enjoy Boston? Did you get a good look at all of those home runs they were
They were mostly to left field, so I didn't see. They weren't in my section. Actually,
were you part of that pack of retards in right
No,
field?
that was the 7-line army. They were in right field. Yeah, no, our seats were in center field more.
The 7-line army.
Yeah,
I know. To Doc Gooden on how many rails he'd do on the bench.
Good old Doc. We're actually we're doing a golf tournament October 18th where we're honoring Doc Gooden. So
really?
In Smithtown on the golf course. He's going to be getting an award, and we're going to be hosting it. So
Cool.
Yeah. So why don't we get into what are your thoughts with the Yankees? What are your thoughts with the Mets? What are your thoughts of the American League and National League?
Look, I mean,
there's 15 games left.
Right. I think that the Mets just didn't make enough moves at the deadline. They never do. They never do what they need to do, and they weren't good enough then. All their injuries, the same thing every year. Injuries, things that they don't account for happen every year to them, and it's when are they going to learn? When are they going to learn?
Tyler said, Tyler said Javi Baez. They brought in Javi Baez.
Oh, yeah, big deal. I mean, Javi Baez is not what they needed. He's a guy who can't get on base consistently, and they needed more than him. And they needed a guy that could be a guy
No, what they need to
that
do
could
is not
consistently
blow
get
out
on base.
Jacob Brom's arm. Is what they needed to not do.
But they also need to not get injured every year. They need to have, like, their best pitchers not have these soft tissue injuries every year. It's either lat pulls or somebody's having Tommy John surgery. Every year, it seems like they have two major either prospects or contributors go out for Tommy John surgery.
How about the GM situation, Mark? I mean, they had one GM that didn't even make it past before the season started, and they have another GM at the end of the season. He gets drunk and falls asleep at a light.
I know.
I mean, this
not
is
much
Sandy
has
Alderson.
changed there. Not much has changed. Just like when I'm watching the Jets and Patriots on Sunday. Not much has changed. So I think for the Mets, they have a lot of work to do, and they're a very poor, still a very poor organization.
We'll bring up the Jets when we get to the thing. But what are your thoughts with the Yankees? The Yankees are actually they have sole custody of the second wild card spot now that they won today. Do you think they can hold on?
Well, I like Toronto. I think Toronto's got a lot of good young talent. I think they got more young talent than the Yankees do, and I think they play better consistently. So that's going to be interesting.
They don't have a lot of depth. Toronto don't have a lot of depth.
Neither does the Yankees.
You're extending your roster. They don't have a lot of depth. The Yankees do. The Yankees have more depth when you're extending your roster than the Toronto Blue Jays. They might have a bunch of young, good, talented players, but their depth, what they're bringing, how many people you can add to your bench in the last 25 games, 30 games, Speedy? What is it?
Well, it's all a 40-man roster. It's anyone.
Yeah, it's 5. You can only add 5.
Right. Okay, so you have 5. The Yankees have more depth in that situation than the Blue Jays. Now, the Blue Jays have 3 really talented. Vladimir Guerrero, which I've been saying since the beginning of the season, he was going to win the MVP, and I guarantee he's going to win. So it's not fair. Everybody took shots at me
6
on
guys
my take.
that have over 20 home runs.
Everybody was attacking my take in the beginning of the season, in the second half of the season, that Vladimir Guerrero, I think is the sole custody MVP, and I think he's gonna have a chance to win the Triple Crown. Everybody thought I was nuts. I was getting attacked on YouTube by tons and tons of people. And what are they saying now? I wrote to that whole message board with over 4,000 or 5,000 people that watched that take and attacked me. I don't see anybody speaking anymore when I said Vladimir. What are you guys going to say about Vladimir Guerrero now?
No, listen, he's played great, but Ohtani has also got an ERA under 3 now too.
That's fine. And Ohtani is hurt. And Ohtani's probably not going to pitch.
He's going to miss the last week of the season.
Yeah, he's not going to. And that's huge because Vladimir Guerrero he's going to win out with a home runs, which Ohtani was leading the whole season. He's gonna have the RBI, and he's not going to get the runs batted. Not the runs batted. I'm sorry, the batting average or something like that. He's a borderline.
Yeah, I think Michael Brantley or something.
Honestly,
which by the way, think about that because he was leading the batting average at the All-Star break by like 30 points or something.
It's fine. He's still batting 315, 316. That's not bad. And by the way, for anybody that took shots at me like I was crazy, that Ohtani wasn't going to that I thought there's no way Ohtani. Crazy. No, good. I'm crazy. Watch Vladimir Guerrero win it. And I'm going to stick it in everybody's face because they don't.
He could. No, he could.
He's winning.
I didn't think it.
He's winning.
I didn't think it was possible. It's certainly possible. Yeah.
Errol, you said the Yankees have more depth than the Blue Jays. But
yes, I do. Yes, I think they do.
I disagree because I think the Blue Jays. You look at their lineup: Simeon, Bichette, Gurriel.
You're right, Gurriel.
Springer. All these guys are power
Those are guys that have been in their lineup. I'm talking about the players that they called up to extend their rosters.
Who do the Yankees have on their bench?
You know what's sick about this whole thing, though, too, is the Blue Jays and Yankees, whatever. How about throwing the Red Sox into this? Because right now the Red Sox are
the Red Sox are in, though.
No, they're not.
They're not in yet. They haven't clinched the playoff.
No, they haven't.
I'm saying right now they're in.
They're only a game in front of
by the Yankees.
They're only a game in front of the
in front. Yeah.
They're only a game in front of the Yankees.
They're barely in front, yeah.
Right, but the Yankees also play a much tougher schedule. The Red Sox got some.
Yes, and they have to play the Red Sox again. Think they play the Red Sox 3 more games?
Next.
Yeah, so that's going to make a break. That's going to make a break.
Problem for the Yankees.
Why is it a problem?
Because they can't beat the Red Sox.
Really? In the second half, the Yankees have a winning record.
That's great.
Against the
And
Red
in the
Sox.
first half, what happened?
Okay, and we're in the second half now. So what does that mean? What does that mean? And by the way, Luis Severino is now in the bullpen. That's a huge acquisition to put somebody like that in the bullpen.
A guy that hasn't pitched in 2 years?
That's fine. That's fine. You're adding a pitcher.
With the Red Sox bullpen, the Yankees are certainly not on this.
I didn't say that they're not. But adding Severino, who's been a 3-time All-Star, and he's been a Cy Young candidate, he might have not pitched for 3 years or 2 years. You can say whatever you want. He's still 26 years old. He's got electric stuff, and he's still a good pitcher.
How do you know?
Okay. Well,
he's been 2 years.
I can't wait until he gets on the mound and he starts trying. I don't want to hear you after this. I don't want to hear about Luis Severino. I don't want to hear.
You don't know.
I do.
You're
I
guessing.
know what he is. I'm
You're
not guessing anything.
You
I'm
are
not
too
guessing.
guessing.
I know what he was before he got
shoulder
hurt.
problems.
Oh,
that's great.
First of all,
he was a Cy Young winner.
One shoulder problem, and he has elbow problems. He had shoulder surgery, and then he had elbow surgery.
All right, Einstein. Why does someone's shoulder normally go out?
What do you mean? Why did you shoulder?
Normally, the elbow goes, and then the shoulder goes.
Really?
So, at 26 years old,
really,
his whole pitching arm has had to be remade. Okay, that's first.
Do you want me to name a bunch of guys that did that and that were good pitchers? Adam Wainwright, one of them. He was a guy. Wainwright, yes, he had elbow, shoulder problems. Came back in the league, was a dominant pitcher. Do you want me to name more?
His fastball?
Do you want me to? Severino's not his best pitch. Isn't his fastball? It's his changeup and his curveball. So you don't know what you're talking
Errol,
about.
what sets up a freaking
off-speed his changeup and his?
He had the fastest average fastball before you last saw him.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't do that. You don't know what he's going to do now.
How do you know if he's not going to do that? How do you know he's not going to throw 98?
I hope so. I hope so. Chapman throws real hard, too. You know what happens? The ball travels real far.
Chapman doesn't have any movement on his ball. So
no, that's not true either.
No,
he has nothing but movement.
Really? This year?
I just watched him pitch.
Yeah.
It moved all over the strike zone.
You watch one game. Significantly.
Errol.
Dude, you are just
you need to stop.
You're
looking at Yankee pinstripes and you're giving them a pass.
No, I'm not.
You are.
No, I'm not.
You're not looking at them objectively at all. You're
I miss you guys. I miss you guys.
I think you're out of your damn mind.
Can I just break in here real quick? I need to run, and I just wanted to thank you guys for having me.
Absolutely.
So
thank you, Jeff.
Mark, good to see you. I wish you nothing but health and wealth and happiness and horrible fucking luck with the I hope they fucking die like dogs.
I'll see you tomorrow.
You know?
Jeff, come on tomorrow. We really
Speedy,
appreciate you joining us.
Speedy, put some respect on the Patriots name, goddammit.
All right, Jeff.
Jeff.
Thank you,
Take
Jeff.
care, Jeff.
Cheers, boys.
Jeff from Tampa, I think he gave us some good takes. Added some good things when it came to football. Again, I think Louis, and I can't wait until Luis Severino comes back this week. So
he pitched already.
That's right. He comes back. He came back this week.
Errol.
Okay. Did he pitch bad?
Errol.
You saw him throw maybe 12 pitches.
Okay. And did he throw 98?
I have no idea.
Okay. So go ahead.
You tell
Mark.
me.
Go ahead, Mark.
What do you think of the Giants and the Dodgers out there?
I think the Giants are shockingly good. I didn't think they were going to be as good. But again, the Giants have good pitching. And over the last couple of years, they find these pitchers. And their bullpen is the best in baseball. When your pitching staff is in the top 5 and your bullpen is in the top 5, you're going to win a lot. And the Dodgers.
Really's got good pitching is Milwaukee. They have nasty starters.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Burris is really nasty.
Their lineup in the middle of their lineup, they get into these spurts where they can't hit.
Yeah, but I think a lot of teams do in the postseason because you're going to be facing really good pitching. Look, with Peralta, Woodruff, and Burris, those guys are really tough to hit, all three of them.
Even Hauser as a 4 is good, too.
Yeah, and they got Hader in the bullpen. I mean, they're I like them to come out of the National League.
I did so.
I think, look, the Braves, too, they made some really good moves at the deadline. Look at how Soler is doing. Look at how Duvall is doing. Look at how Rosario. Those are 3 really good moves they made that the Mets didn't make because the Braves are a winning organization and the Mets aren't. But that's why the Braves win. That's why they're going to win the 3rd straight division. And they make good trades. All 3 of those guys have played key roles in them winning.
Duvall was a spark for the Braves, though. I don't know if he would have done that with the Mets, though. He was great with the Braves.
Well, yeah. I'm not saying they should have gotten them, but they didn't get the guys they needed to get.
Sure.
The Braves have lineup depth, like you said a while back. The Braves were able to replace guys. So you look at the 3 of them, 32 homers, 75 RBIs since they were acquired at the trade deadline. That's Acuna.
By the way, Severino pitched 2 innings, 2 strikeouts out of 6 batters, gave up 1 single, and did throw 98. He did top out at 98, and he was dominant. So 19 strikes out of 30 pitches. 19 strikes. Doesn't matter. It's a major league team. Again, you're going to take shots. Because it's against the Rangers. Severino. If Severino is,
they might be the worst offensive team in the league.
If Severino is a healthy pitcher and you put him in the bullpen, it is a significant addition. Significant. And I don't care what you say. That could be a huge addition to the Yankees in their bullpen in the playoffs. A Luis Severino.
Yeah, get there first.
They're going to make it. They're absolutely 15 games. And yes, their schedule is hard. They got to play Boston, Tampa at the end of the season.
And
Tampa's not going to start.
98?
What are you talking about?
Where do you see that?
I went on to ESPN.
I'm looking at it right now.
7-1.
He's topping out at 95.
98. He threw 98. Read it over here. 98. 30 pitches for 19 strikes. He had 2 strikeouts and gave up 1 single, which is a double play in the 9th inning. Got the Yankees out, and they won the game.
I'm reading says nothing about 98.
Well, good for you.
Snug says, sounds like we need a Yankees homer intervention for Mr. Marks, and whoever gets stuck with the.
Homer?
That's what Snug says.
It's not. I don't care what Snug says. Snug's an idiot. Snug's got his stick up his ass. Why don't you eat another cupcake or something? And he has no idea what he's talking
about. This is an interesting take, a bold take. Whoever gets stuck with the Cardinals in the wild card game is a very serious issue. Cardinals are getting hot at the right time.
By the way, Snug, you could say I look like I sound like Eeyore or whatever. You look like Eeyore. So don't give me your bullshit. Okay? So take your smart ass takes and shove it up your ass.
For the Cardinals,
I had bad voice on air. I sounded
really cracking.
Every other word, my voice is cracking.
Oh, your voice cracking? Yeah, my voice is cracking right now. It's been cracking for the last couple of weeks, but I have like my voice box over the last year and a half. I went to see a voice doctor, and he said my voice box gets scratched a lot. So, I try to do a couple things to kind of keep my voice intact, but I know what it feels like to have a voice that's cracking and stuff like that. So
you don't have any like stuff on your vocal cords.
No, but it was scratched. It was scratched about 1.5 years ago, and I've had problems with it for the past 1.5 years. So I did some stuff. He gave me some antibiotics to kind of help it out, but it gets into these situations where it does crack significantly. But go ahead.
I tell you, I miss you guys. I miss being home. Like it's just not the same down here. Like I'll always be an outsider down here. I'll always be an outsider because I'm not Southern. But I like it down here. But I'm saying it's not home.
Yeah, I miss you. When you came up here, we didn't really get a chance to see you.
Yeah, I was barely there. Yeah. But I'm going to come up probably around Christmas. I want to come up around Christmas.
You can come and stay with me whenever you want.
For a week. Yeah, I like that. It'd be nice to go back and spend more than like a couple of days there.
You can come and stay with me. I have a good what do they call that? A mattress?
Air mattress.
Air mattress. I have a really good air mattress. It's a queen size, so it's actually really, really good. So you can actually, stay here whenever you want.
I got a couple of NFL questions for you. What surprised you the most from week 1 to week 2 as far as team play?
Kyler Murray, who I chose in the beginning of the season to be my MVP. If the kid could stay healthy, I think he's been sensational. The first 2 games of the season, he had 350 yards. Week 1, and he had 400 yards the second game. I think Kyler Murray has been sensational. I think right now, if you were to ask me who the MVP is, that would be my thought. What about you, Speedy? One take.
I would say surprising unit. I would say I'll give it a tie between the Bengals and Raiders defenses. Both of them have been very, very impressive.
But the second game they didn't look good.
Defensively, they did. Offensively was where they had the woes. But their run defense, especially, which has been bad for years, they just shut down Dalvin Cook in week 1 and David Montgomery week 2. That's pretty impressive. I would give them a lot of credit. And the Raiders, so we said it all year, the defense was awful. They've looked really good too, especially up front.
How about you, Tyler? What was something that stuck out to you in the first 2 weeks?
I think Derek Carr is finally recognized now nationally as a good quarterback, or in this right now, elite quarterback. So I'm happy for Derek Carr.
Yeah, Ravens look good. And I tell you, the Ravens coming back and beating the Chiefs, that was big. I think that was rare to see that. And the Titans coming back against Seattle in Seattle, that never happens.
I was impressed. Now, I'm not impressed with the Rams because I expected them to be good. They're all around. They're very well defensively built. They have arguably two of the best defensive players at their position in the league. And offensively, Matthew Stafford, you're gonna be prolific. And by the way, Jared Goff, he went to the Lions. He's looked good in his first 2 weeks. So nobody can take shots at Jared Goff that he can't be a quarterback.
He's just with the Lions. So the Lions are like the Jets.
No, I wouldn't say that. First of all, Jared Goff, I think a lot of people disrespect Jared Goff. Remember, he was a number 1 pick in the draft. I'm not a big Jared Goff fan.
Yeah, I was going to say, you 3 years ago did.
I am not a Jared Goff fan. But you can't take away how well he's played in the first 2 games. And if he continues doing that, honestly, you can't really blame him for the woes for the Rams. Remember, they went to the Super Bowl with him.
Right.
They didn't win, but they went to the Super Bowl with him. So if you could get to the Super Bowl with that kind of quarterback, he's a winning quarterback.
All you need to know about Jared's about Jared Goff is the fact that Matthew Stafford has the most passing yards in NFL history without winning a playoff game. Mm-hmm. So that's what you get when you go to the Lions. You get a lot of passing yards, you never win. And I think the Jets are becoming that, if not that already. What's your early take on Zach Wilson and on?
I think it's early.
On Mr. Clean?
I think it's early. I can't really, with all the quarterbacks, I can't really make a take on Justin Fields. I can't make a take for Trevor Lawrence. I can't make it. All the young quarterbacks that have come into the league have not looked good. Mac Jones has been efficient. He hasn't been good. Okay.
What about Mr. Clean?
Mr. Clean, what are you talking about?
That's it. But my buddy of mine calls him Mr. Clean and Little Don. Who's Donnie?
Mr. Clean?
Salah.
Salah, I think Salah needs to get his head out of his ass. Denzel Mims is a good
Yeah,
player.
what's up with that?
I have no idea.
That's so stupid.
You have
he looked good in preseason, really did. But to not play him, to not even suit up, that's insane.
How many wide receivers in the league is 6'2", 6'3", and can run a 4.3?
I don't know.
Honestly, not many. And the fact that they haven't used him.
Why would they do that?
I think that Mike LaFleur doesn't like him. I think that there were stories coming out here in New York with some of the press stating that he's had his run-in with Mike LaFleur at practice, and some of the players at practice and in the locker room. He believes that he can compete with any of the players, any of the wide receivers on this roster. And honestly, if you look at the roster from top to bottom, he's as good as any one of these guys.
Well, that's what he was picked for.
Yeah.
That's what they spent a second-round pick. Him and Elijah Moore, basically 1A and 1B. I mean, that's why you spend second round.
I think he's better than Elijah Moore. I just think it's pathetic that they're not giving him a chance to flourish. Elijah Moore, he didn't have a preseason. He didn't play. He didn't practice really that much because he was injured. He hasn't looked good. Why is he playing?
Well, that's what I mean. Like, if you draft a guy in the second round, you can't say that, well, he expects to play. Of course he expects to play. Of course he expects to be one of the players out there competing because you spend a second-round pick on him. Last year, they waited for him to get healthy. He played well, I thought, at the end of the year.
Definitely. Out of the wide receivers that were drafted last year, the year before, and that highly profiled draft, wide receiving draft, he statistically was in the top 5 every statistic for wide receivers out of that draft class
per game and per route.
Yep.
A lot of them he was either third or fourth, right behind only Justin Jefferson, Ayuk, and CeeDee Lamb.
And he barely played. And it doesn't make sense. What's going to happen is the Jets are going to trade him, and he's going to go to another team, and he's going to be a superstar. That's what's going to happen.
Yeah, I did. That would be. There was no reason for them to not play him, especially when they're 0-2. Look, I think what happened to Lawson was bad luck, but those sort of things happen to the Jets. I mean, Lawson, I remember him playing at Auburn. He had never had any attention span, but he would always be in the backfield somehow. And he was going to be really good this year. So it broke my heart to see that happen to him because I really liked him. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, but the Achilles injury, that thing that made him so quick, it'd be interesting to see if he can keep that kind of quickness. But that was really hard for the defense. But I like them going with youth. I just don't know if Salah has the ability to teach these guys, and if they're going to wait. If they don't play guys like Denzel Mims, then what is the plan for the draft going forward? Because
they got a lot of draft stock. They have a lot of money in the offseason. I don't believe Denzel Mims is going to be traded this year. I think eventually they're going to have to play him because the Jets don't stay healthy. So you're going to see Denzel Mims on the field. But once he shows that he's good, the Jets are going to trade him for a second or third round pick. They're going to get rid of him. He's going to go to Carolina or the Rams or the Lions or somebody like that, and he's going to be a superstar wide receiver. And Jet fans are going to attack the Jets organization and management that they never played him.
He'll go to Carolina, just have Sam Darnold not throw him the ball again.
He's not going. I just mentioned Carolina. I don't think he's going to Carolina. I don't think the Jets are trading him. But
Look at really how poorly they treated Darnold. I mean, Darnold just sat there, and he was a good soldier, and the Jets really threw him under the bus. The whole organization did. And I don't think he's going to be great, but I think he's efficient. A better option for them.
He's efficient. They have a very good team around him. They have one of the best running backs, if not the best all-around running back in the league. That really takes the pressure off of him because he can throw pitch passes to him. To me, with Darnold, he just needs an efficiency with DJ Moore, Robbie Anderson. He's got more weapons, and their offense works in sync. And that's why Darnold has looked good the first 2 weeks. Darnold's playing the Texans this week on Thursday. He should win. But after that, their schedule gets a little bit harder. I think they play Tampa the week after or something like that. That's when we're going to see how good Darnold is against a good defense when the pressure is on him. I don't know, but I like Darnold. I'm rooting for him. I still don't count out Zach Wilson. It's early.
How many games do you think the Jets win this year?
Right now, the way I've seen it, 5 or 6. Because I do think the Jets will get once the game slows down for Zach, and I said it already, it will, as the season progresses. He didn't have much of a preseason of that kind. He didn't play with all his players. He didn't play with Elijah Moore barely. Elijah Vera Tucker barely played. Denzel Mims barely played because of his sickness. He lost 20 pounds. I think that when these guys figure things out together, you're going to see a different Zach Wilson, as well as Trevor Lawrence.
Mm-hmm. The biggest thing I think, too, that hurts with Mims is the loss of the weight, because the biggest thing of him coming out of the draft, his best quality was contested catches. That's going to make it harder, losing that kind of muscle and physicality, too. So once he gets that back, he should be good in terms of that regard. And it gives something the Jets really don't have in terms of the big body type.
What are your thoughts of Daniel Jones? I know a lot of Giant fans have been attacking him on social media. I can't stand Giant fans on the bull crap. When you look at Denzel Mills, when you look at Daniel Jones and what he did on Thursday Night Football, he showed up. He played very well. They should have won. The Giants should have won that game.
Absolutely. I thought he played probably one of his best games that he ever played.
I don't know about that, because in his first year, he's only one of 3 quarterbacks that had 4 400-yard games in his rookie season. So all the Giant fans that take shots at him, his rookie season was pretty damn good. Yes, he has a lot of fumbles. This year, he only fumbled the ball 1 time in 2 games.
Fumbled a lot. Kurt Warner fumbled a lot. I mean,
Kurt Warner did, and so did Brett Favre.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, look, I think he's been very good. I mean, I don't see why they complain about him.
They hate him. Giant fans hate him because he's not Eli Manning. But remember when
nobody is.
The Giant fans in the beginning, the first 3 years, they wanted to run Eli Manning out and Tom Coughlin. Then they won a Super Bowl, and then Tom Coughlin's a god, Eli Manning's a god.
Remember after Eli lost 23-0 to Carolina in the playoffs in 2005?
Yeah, that was my first year watching the full season.
Yeah, burn him at the stake. Get him out of here. He'll never be any good. Yeah, well.
That Panthers team was good, but they shouldn't have lost that badly the way they did.
No, I don't like it. There's a lot of attacks on social media with the Giant fans, and they for some reason they love Saquon Barkley. But if you look at Saquon Barkley and what Saquon Barkley has done in the league since he's come into the league, besides his first year and a half, he's been horrible. He couldn't stay healthy, and to me, they make him out to be like some God's gift to the world. Daniel Jones looked better than Saquon Barkley on Thursday Night Football, and it wasn't Saquon Barkley the reason why they almost won that game. It was Daniel Jones.
All right, your thoughts on Brady and the Buccaneers?
I think that listen, the Buccaneers, they're in a division that they're absolutely going to win. I don't know if they're going to win back-to-back championships. I don't think they're going to, but I think they're going to be the number 1 seed in the NFC. I think there are a lot of good teams in the NFC. We've seen that so far. I thought the AFC was going to be stronger than the NFC. Again, I was wrong on that because the NFC in the first 2 games, Russell Wilson is showing you why he's a sensational quarterback. Kyler Murray, we all thought. Dak Prescott's looked really, really good too.
Right. Yeah. What do you think of Dallas?
I don't know what Dallas is. We still don't know what Dallas is.
On pace to be their usual 8-8, except there's an extra game this year. So be 8-1.
Do I see Dallas winning the East? I don't know if they're winning the East. I still think Washington can win the East, but I think the best offensive team in that division is not even close. It's the Cowboys.
Easily.
Yes. And if the Cowboys can score 30 points a game, they're going to be in every single game. Their defense has played surprisingly better than I thought they were going to.
That's against the Chargers.
And their strength is their linebacking core. Their linebacking core has been sensational. Speedy attacking how many linebackers the Cowboys drafted over the last 2 years. He was wrong about that. Their linebacking core has been the strength of their defense.
And Justin Herbert, I know you liked him. What do you think of the Chargers this year?
Love him. But again, when he played the Cowboys, and he played better, all around than Dak Prescott. But when Dak needed to make a play, he made the play. Jared Goff made a lot of mistakes at the end of the game. Threw that interception on the goal line, which cost them the game. So Jared Goff Justin Herbert is a great player.
Yeah.
I think he's, when we talk about elite quarterbacks, that we're going to see in the next 5 to 10 years, when we talk about all the different quarterbacks, the Drew Brees, Tom Brady's, Ben Roethlisberger, all the quarterbacks that are going to retire, we're going to talk about Justin Herbert, Pat Mahomes, Deshaun Watson, hopefully Zach Wilson and Trevor Lawrence and young quarterbacks, and Dak Prescott, who's been very, very good. Very, very good.
We were talking earlier about Deebo Samuel kind of getting rebirth. Mike Williams, too, has gotten rebirth on that Chargers team. He played fantastic this year.
Yeah.
How about
who do you like? Who do you like in the NFC West?
Speedy, who do you got on the one?
AFC West, probably
NFC West.
NFC West. I still like the Rams the most. I think they're still the most well-rounded in terms of health.
This well-rounded,
healthy team. I think in terms of the 49ers, they're surviving well nicely so far, which is a good sign with all the injuries they've had with the running backs. But the Rams, I think, are still the best all-around team. The Cardinals are very talented, though, too. And that defense has a lot of depth, which is going to make it competitive. The question still remains with their coaching, though, the most and their offensive line. What'd you say?
Baker.
How about you, Tyler? Who do you have in the West? Or who really stands out to you so far early in the season?
I think Arizona's just too complete of a team. The pass rush, the secondary with Byron Murphy and Budda Baker, as he was saying just now. And I think all 4 teams are making the playoffs.
That's a lot. Yeah.
I know. But as far as winning the division, I think Arizona.
Would that be the first time?
Yeah,
one
that's
division.
definitely what I'm thinking. I don't know. Yeah,
That was previously
a 4-team division, I believe. So yeah,
that would be the first time in NFL history that all 4 teams make it to the playoffs.
Yeah,
that's crazy. This division is by far the best division in football.
And the AFC West is a close second.
The AFC West. Well, what do you like about the AFC West?
The Broncos are going to be competitive. The Raiders are going to be competitive. The Chiefs are going to be the Chiefs. And then
the Chargers will lose games in the fourth quarter that they should win.
The Chargers are going to be about 500.
Hey guys, here's something to keep an eye on. The Braves, if Albies and Swanson reach 30, all 4 of their infielders have 30 home runs. First time that ever happened.
Phillies win the division, though.
That's
not
happening.
Yeah,
why is Philly in first place?
No, they're 3 games back. They end the year at Atlanta.
Remember this 15
the Mets in the year at Atlanta. I think they played the final 3 games.
Right. So they end the month against the Padres, and then they go.
It's hard when the Padres are not going to play as bad as they have right now.
It's hard when you're.
I think the Padres are going to beat the Braves.
Oh, the Padres are going to play. The Padres aren't going to play right now, are they?
No, the Cardinals are in the second wild card spot right now, and the Reds, I think, are the first team out.
I thought that the NL East was going to be one of the best divisions in baseball. What a bust!
Well, man, I tell you, the Phillies and the Mets. The Phillies and the Mets belong together. They're 2 of the most gutless organizations.
Well, but when the season started, they weren't resetting. They had three really quality pitchers. That nobody thought they were going to. Nobody thought they
can't pitch.
Nobody
and
thought
they traded the best pitcher in baseball.
Nobody thought they were going to trade Max Scherzer. Nobody thought they were going to trade their best all-around player. Nobody thought that.
They still have Juan Soto.
Yeah, but their best all-around player was their shortstop the last 3 years.
Juan Soto's
Trey Turner's pretty good. Yeah,
it's pretty good.
He's very damn good.
I mean, with who's better? I mean, all around in the last 3 years, I would say Trey Turner's been better.
You're crazy. Juan Soto's the best. Juan Soto's the top 5 player in baseball.
I don't think
so. I think Trey Turner's better than Lindor.
Let me see.
This year he has been. Yeah, this year he has been. But I don't know all around. Like at Lindor's peak, I don't know. I don't know about that.
So what do you think the Mets will keep re-sign Baez? Do you think he'll re-sign?
I hope they do, but I don't know if they will.
Where's he going to play? Third base.
Second.
I thought they have that prospect. Don't they have Batty?
In baseball.
No, I don't think Ronnie Mauricio is going to stop him from coming.
No, Brett Batty. Isn't Brett Batty supposed to be
third baseman? Third baseman.
Yeah.
So they're going to get rid of J.D. Davis, and they'll probably platoon Dominic Smith like they usually do. And
Davis is what he is. He's a platoon guy. He's a guy that comes off the bench. They need those guys. They don't have any bench.
He's not going to start at third base over for Beatty if he's going to hit that.
All around, I mean, stolen bases, RBIs, runs, and batting average. He's been better. Trey Turner has a better season than Ron Soto this year. He has.
Because Trey Turner has Juan Soto hitting behind him. You're insane.
Okay, Trey Turner's
You're insane.
When he was traded, he was batting .310.
Juan Soto's hitting .321, and he's the sole reason that team got in the playoffs and was hitting everything in sight.
And you think Trey Turner's just
Tyler?
Trey Turner's the best shortstop in baseball.
He loves Trey.
I love Trey Turner. Juan Soto
is a
top 5 player in baseball.
Trey Turner's not
clearly I love Trey Turner more than you.
Yeah, I don't think he's the best.
I think you're crazy too.
Tyler,
so anyway,
Tyler, how you doing, bud?
I'm all right, man. How are you? This guy makes me so mad. How's Juan Soto not the best player in the National?
He's not.
Well,
now he is. Now he is.
He has been for like 2 years.
Now he is. But I still think Trey Turner.
Look what he did last year in a COVID-shortened season.
He was great last year. Phenomenal. It was nearly an MVP. Nearly an MVP.
But he didn't win the MVP. And again,
Freddie Freeman was great too.
And by the way, Juan Soto is batting .316. He has 87 RBIs, 9 stolen bases, and 148 hits. Trey Turner, 175 hits, 22 home runs, .318, 62 RBIs, 30 stolen bases. Runs batted in.
Who leads the National League?
Runs 94.
Who leads the National League in RBIs?
Who leads the National League? Not Juan Soto. It's not Juan Soto. Who's it? Speedy, look it up.
I mean, I can tell you.
Who is it?
Duvall.
Okay.
Oh wow, I wouldn't have thought that.
Isn't that ridiculous?
It seems like he just came along for the trade deadline.
I mean, if you looked at the all-around numbers, I'm sorry, Trey Turner's better.
Okay.
This year, especially.
Okay. Okay. Whatever you say.
There's no argument to that if you look at the numbers.
If you look at numbers, if you watch the game of baseball and you look at the two of them, Juan Soto literally made Trey Turner's job 10 times easier.
I think Juan Soto also among qualified hitters with as many of the bats as he's had, that I forgot the exact number, has the best chase rate in terms of not chasing bad pitches
He's
too.
a walk machine.
And by the way, WAR, Trey Turner has better WAR. I'm telling you, all around, it's Trey Turner. He's the better player. You look at the numbers, he is.
Whatever you say.
It is. He's got the better WAR. He's got more hits.
This
he
is
has
why
less home runs.
analytics are ruining the game of baseball.
WAR.
This opinion, right?
I also
I agree with you a little bit there.
Analytics, though.
I don't like analytics as much as some people.
Juan Soto's top 5 player in baseball.
No, he's not. No, he's not.
Okay.
No, he's
Okay.
not.
All right.
No, he's not.
Okay.
There is no way he's a top 5 player in the major leagues.
Okay.
Let's go look at the game. Let's go look at the numbers of all these players.
That's
He's
bullshit.
not even in the top 20.
You know why your argument's already stupid? Yeah. The best player in baseball hasn't played baseball in about 6
Juan
months.
Soto's been in the league for 4 years. He's got 95 home runs, batting .302 and 304 RBIs. He is
Complete hitter.
He's not the best. He's
His
not a
number,
top
hold
5.
on, before
He
you
is
say
not
another
a top 5
goddamn
player.
thing, I hear you defend Aaron Judge on this network on an hourly basis.
Aaron Judge is
and
much better than Juan Soto.
You're insane.
Really? I'm insane.
You're insane.
I'm insane.
You're
What
absolutely
is
insane.
what is Aaron Judge doing this year?
What?
What is Aaron
His
Judge
numbers don't touch Soto in anything.
Really?
Juan Soto's had a much better year.
Really?
In a pitcher's ballpark.
All right. Now,
he
this
would
is,
literally
this
have
is a
60
power
home
hitter.
runs at Yankee
He's got
Stadium.
150 hits, 36 home runs, 288, RBIs 90, and 6 stolen bases. He's a better player. He has better numbers than Juan Soto.
You're insane.
No, he's not. No, I'm not. This is a power hitter.
He's
too.
about 30 points less.
You're crazy.
What do you mean?
You're
Those
crazy.
are the bullshit numbers you just told me.
Bullshit numbers.
You
Bullshit
literally
numbers.
just said Soto's hitting about 316, which doesn't include today's game.
RBI, and
he's now
by the way,
321.
everybody says when I was picking Vladimir Guerrero that batting average in baseball means nothing. Means nothing.
They're as dumb as you are right now.
Okay. And by the way, Aaron Judge is better than Juan Soto.
You're insane.
No, I'm not.
I don't know. 87 RBIs on a team that's pretty bad is impressive.
Yeah.
You want something impressive too? 3 Blue Jays. 3 of the 4 top run scorers in the major leagues are Blue Jays.
Yeah, I can believe that.
And they got 3
all-star
really good
starters.
pitchers.
Makes
Yeah.
sense. Yeah. Juan Soto also has 50 more points in on-base percentage too than Aaron Judge.
He's a walk machine.
I know.
That's
like
not,
I said, low
he
chase
doesn't
rate.
strike
Mike
out.
Trout, Mookie Betts, Ronaldo
Soto.
Acuna, Garrett Cole, Jacob
Hold on. First of
DeGrom,
all,
Freddie Freeman,
Acuna's hasn't played in
Tatis,
about 6 months.
Christian Yelich.
Yelich?
Yeah.
Did
Cody
Yelich was hitting
Bellinger,
212?
Nolan Arenado.
Cody Bellinger sucks this year.
Yeah, he's
Francisco
been on and
Lindor.
off.
Just telling you what they said. That these are all the. This is where they have it. They have Juan Soto at 17. So there you go.
Before the season.
17. No, he's not. Dude, he's not a top 5 player in the league. He's not.
Okay.
He's not. There are a ton of players that have better numbers.
Speedy, where would you put him?
A ton of players.
I don't care. I don't.
definitively.
Before
you say another
Speedy says anything, I don't care what Speedy says because Speedy 90%.
Why? He's gonna bring up
when
numbers.
statistics. Yeah, his
I
statistics.
guarantee you,
I
Aaron
just
Judge
showed
this
you
year
statistics are completely
has
wrong.
struck out more than Soto did this year and last year.
Really.
The man doesn't strike out.
Okay.
All right, Mark, are you including the pitchers in this or just hitters?
No, just hitters.
Just hitters. All right. Definitively, I would put Trout, Betts, Acuna, and Tatis over him. I don't really see any other one that's obvious, though, to put above
Yeah,
Soto.
Machado's better than him. You don't know what you're talking about, Speedy. You talk.
Machado's been on and off, though, in recent years, too.
You're out of your mind. Go look at his numbers this year.
I would
Don't
say-
talk. You sound like an idiot. You sound like an
Isn't
idiot.
Soto's batting average like
Manny
20 points
Machado.
higher?
I just told you, batting average means nothing in the league anymore.
All right. You sound as dumb as the other moron that told me defense doesn't matter in baseball
War
either.
is the most important thing. And his
War
is
includes
better.
Pitt.
Yeah, war is better. War is better. Yep, Manny Machado's war is better.
He has the same amount of home
War
runs.
includes
only
all aspects
only
of
8
the
more
game.
RBIs.
That's a lot.
And
That's a lot.
much lower batting average on a way better team.
Way better team. So hold on one second. Because he's on a way better team, that's the reason why. Get out of here, Speedy. I've seen Mark McGwire. I've seen Mark McGwire on shitty teams.
Manny
hit
Machado has
76 home
Tatis
runs.
Jr., right?
I don't want to hear your shit.
Hello?
I've seen Barry
Hello?
Bonds was on shitty teams. He hit 76 home runs. I don't want to hear
That
your
Giant
shit.
team went to the
yeah, they went into the
series.
playoffs because of him. Because of him.
All right. Jeff Kent had nothing to do with it.
Jeff Kent.
Benny
Jeff
Santiago's
Kent.
defense had nothing
Jeff
to do
Kent.
with
What
it.
did Jeff Kent do in the playoffs that year?
I'm trying to think of who.
What did he
else
do in
was
the
on
playoffs that
freaking
year?
team.
He
That's
did
such a
shit
long time
in the
ago.
playoffs.
That's fine, but he was on the team.
Yeah, good. And he wasn't any good
Russ
in the playoffs.
Ortiz, I believe, was their ace.
Oh yeah. Won
20 games, I think.
Who are their aces?
Who
are their aces right now? The Nationals. They got 2 aces on their team.
Strasburg is hurt, and Corbin's had an awful year.
Doesn't matter. He's still a great pitcher. He's still amongst the league's best pitchers in baseball.
This year.
Oh, so because he's pitching like crap this year, so Soto is better. That doesn't make sense.
What?
Soto is not a top 5 player in the league. And
What
for you to
said
think that
made no sense.
he's not.
This year this year. What?
Soto's not the top 5 player in the league.
He's the best player on that team, bar far.
I didn't say that he wasn't.
Okay.
When
the season started, I think most National fans will tell you Juan Soto was their best player. By far.
He's a fan favorite. They hated Trey Turner. Trey Turner.
They did not.
Yes, they did. What are you kidding me? 2 years ago, they were running Trey
We have
Turner
one on
out.
our network that thinks he's the best shortstop in baseball.
When she's out of his damn mind.
We know.
Wait. Who's the best shortstop in baseball?
Tatis.
Tatis.
Right. All right. My bad. I forgot about Fernando Tatis, but I thought we'd bring him up later. But anyway.
Yeah, he was my 4th overall.
All right. So he's the second best shortstop in baseball. I completely forgot about Tatis Jr. My apologies. But he plays in San Diego, so it's not really my fault.
I think Soto played really well in the World Series. They won a World Series with them.
Nobody's taking that away from him.
Yeah, but I think they won a World Series, and the Nationals never won playoff series ever. So I think Soto is probably in the top 5, but
I don't.
But he has he has good numbers too. But either way, I don't really care.
What's Machado hitting?
281.
But listen, guys, it was great catching up with you. I really miss you guys.
Thank you, Mark, for joining us.
I really miss you guys.
Absolutely, man. You can come on whenever you want. I know we've been trying to get you on for the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, it's been crazy. I moved into a new place, and it didn't tell you we had gunshots right next door.
Yeah, I saw the photos you sent me. Yeah, it was pretty freaky.
Crazy.
Hold on a second. You moved into a place that you heard gunshots.
No, it's the same complex, just a different apartment. So now I have a.
Why did you move into another?
Because I have a roommate now. Rico's my roommate now because to save money a little bit on
the guy that we met.
Yeah.
So right next door to us, there were these people running. Now, I don't really pay attention to too many neighbors or whatever. And because it was, it was the same complex, but different area. So I didn't really know too many of the people living in this building. But supposedly they were running prostitution and drugs out of that place.
Well, it is Alabama. It is Alabama.
Yeah. Well, and they came and they shot it up the baby daddy for the
baby okay?
Yeah. Well, I don't know who they were trying to kill, but there were 6 gunshots that went pierced through the door and the windows. And
as long as you're okay.
Yeah. No, I ran right because I thought it was fireworks at first. No, it was like so loud, like pop, 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 and it sounded like fireworks, but no, it was gunshots. Yeah. Anyway,
is everybody okay? Anybody?
Yeah, no, everybody's all right. Yeah, no, but that's interesting though. So
no, I'm glad you're okay. How's your cat doing?
Good. Actually, one of them just had kittens. So
really?
It's adorable. Yeah, you got these
how many cats do you have now?
No, I have. I don't really have any. I just take in them from outside. So I adopted one officially. And then the female I keep with me now because she just had kittens.
Okay.
But yeah, if it was up to me, Errol, I would take all of them.
Really? What are you going to do with the kittens?
What's that? I don't know. I mean, the kittens, somebody's going to come by and get them.
How many kittens?
Huh?
How many kittens?
3.
All right. Well, it's not like one of those litters.
Yeah.
10.
No. No, and they're so adorable. They are so adorable. So
Tyler wants
Yeah.
a cat.
I hate cats.
I'm just messing.
Yeah, see, I never liked cats before, but I would rather have a dog. I still miss my dog, but
My girlfriend, she has a nice cat. She doesn't really move. She just sleeps. Very sweet.
They all
little cat.
just sleep.
I don't like cats, but for her cat is like a dog.
Her cat,
Cats
one of her
are
cats has
different.
those laser green eyes too. It's
Yeah.
weird.
Cats are
The
different.
Persian ragdoll.
No, it's not.
Cats are weird.
I don't remember the
No,
remember
it's
the
not Persian.
name, but it always looks like it has laser eyes.
Mia.
Okay.
And she's a good cat, and I hate cats. So, but she's a sweet cat, and she doesn't really do anything. So, and she sleeps a lot. She doesn't scratch on things and stuff like that. So she's a good cat. But Mark, thank you for joining us. We missed you, man.
Yeah, miss you too, guys.
We want to
Thank
get. I would like to get Gerard on. I wasn't here when Gerard came on the show, but I watched the show. Gerard is great. He really is. How's the show going over there in Alabama?
It's good. I do it once a week now, and I do the college, high school football. So every week I go to a game, and then Rico does a video, and then I do the usually interviews and everything, and then we do a segment on the show on Friday.
Listen, man, one person I can honestly say that works his ass off and puts the time in is you. So I hope. What are you saying wow for?
Nothing.
He does. He
does.
his
He
ass
No,
off.
that wasn't a dig at Mark Kelly. I know a lot of people that work their ass.
No, but he works his ass off. He deserves.
I'm sorry, Mark. It's not a negative towards you. I'm just.
I understand,
like
Tyler.
you too.
I
I think
understand.
all of us put the time in and we work our asses off. But
Yeah,
I'm talking to him, and I think he deserves all the credit in the world. He puts a lot of time into it. You're a teacher in school.
Yeah.
And Tyler, he works a full-time job. He comes here, he does the show. I mean, and we have a great show. We really do. So I'm very excited on the push on and the stride that we have on the show. And who did we have on the show last week?
Ovi Muhali.
Muhali. Remember Muhali from the Ravens?
Yeah. Wow. Awesome.
Yeah.
You guys are doing great.
Great comic book.
Yeah, he was great.
I remember you had the guy from Casillas on one time. I remember.
Yes.
Tony
Tony
Casillas, yeah.
Casillas, yep.
Mm-hmm.
And he was talking about that play where Barry Sanders made him look foolish.
Yes.
Where he stood him up. Yeah.
Barry Sanders made everybody.
He did. He did. That was a great interview. Yeah. So look, we all work hard. We all put in the time. I learned a lot from you, Errol. I learned a lot from Speedy. I mean, you guys are like brothers to me. So,
we're happy to have Tyler. Yeah, Tyler really puts the time into it.
Of course, I always like Tyler.
Oh, I'm sorry. Is he talking about me? I can't wear this headset anymore. It's too hot.
Yeah. So but it's getting cooler out. So I'm actually excited. Next week it's going to be in the 50s. So
Wow.
it's going to start to get cooler out
It's a
over here.
40-degree difference between this room and when you walk outside.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
it's
we're
getting
in that
cooler
studio,
here. It's getting cooler
and
here
it's
too.
soundproof. It's a huge difference when there's no
Ventilation.
ventilation. But when it gets cold out, you're not going to be complaining because the window will be open. This place is going to be pretty cool, and I'm going to hear you bitch that it's too hot, too cold.
It's
Probably.
it's getting cooler here too. It'll
Yeah.
be like 70 tomorrow. So.
Really? Well, that's not cold.
That's cold for
70.
Alabama.
Right. Exactly.
Earl didn't talk about Conor McGregor's first pitch.
Exactly.
The terrible pitch. Mark,
Yeah,
thank you.
no, we were talking
Look,
about that
amazing.
today. We were talking about that today on the show.
Just to the nut.
Really? What did you think of?
Yeah, we compared it to worst first pitches ever.
Oh,
yeah.
50 Cent. And
No.
Yeah, no, 50
That was
that's right.
horrendous. Oh my god,
That was pretty bad.
The worst
yeah.
one I could remember that I don't remember her name. It was some social media star. I think where she threw it, it barely made 10 feet.
Yeah, there were a couple bad. I remember Jordan had a really bad one for playoff
McGregor,
game.
that's the worst first pitch of all time.
I'm telling you, go watch what 50 Cent did.
50 Cent was terrible.
50 Cent was the
Oh my
worst.
God.
50 Cent was the worst.
Go watch what
I'm,
50
I'm,
Cent did.
I'm watching it right now.
It's horrendous.
McGregor's making fun of it.
All right, boys, be good.
Later, Mark.
Have a good
We'll
one,
talk to you soon. Mark
McGregor even says it's worse.
Everett Kelly, great guy. No, it's not.
He wants a superlative for worst.
McGregor never
apparently.
saw 50 Cent pitch. McGregor don't even like baseball.
No, he said he never heard "Take Me Out to the Ball Game"
He's
ever.
such an idiot. Guy's a moron.
I mean, they don't really play baseball in Ireland, so I guess
There's a couple of really good Irish players in the major leagues. Well, I don't know.
It's still not really a big cultural thing, though. So
No.
I can see why
Ireland-
soccer, get that.
soccer,
and
American
rugby,
football,
and yeah,
And drinking.
drinking,
Yeah.
and MMA now, and darts. They love darts. They're very
Pool.
good. They're
Pool.
Darts, it's a professional sport.
I know.
Yeah, it is.
Pool is good
both
too.
billets.
Yeah, pool. Are they really good at pool? I think it's English that's very good at pool.
They're up there.
I'm not sure on that one, but yeah, definitely.
I'm Irish. I'm telling you, we like to play pool.
All right.
Speaking of which,
Is that where you're going?
no, it's too late.
Are you a good pool player?
Define good.
Are you good? I mean,
I'm okay.
Skills. Good means
I'm
skills. Okay.
I don't play consistently enough to compete with league players, but if I was able to play every day,
You know who's really good at pool? Brittany.
Really?
She's really good. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, she's got her
I'll
own
play.
stick and everything.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, she's really good.
There's a joke to be made here.
I
I'm
know
not
what you were
do
gonna
it.
say.
I know.
Yeah. But I'm actually not that bad either. You know, so I'm not a superstar. I'm more better at ping pong. So
Really?
yeah, I'm good at ping pong. Yeah.
You look like you'd be better at ping pong.
Well, I could play pool. I'm not bad. I'm not a superstar player. I'm not going to go out there and say, "Hey, I'm going to bet a couple $1,000 on a game."
You want to play $5 a bowl?
I could do that. Yeah,
No, I just wanted to see if you do.
I would do that.
Because I don't want to talk shit.
I
and
wouldn't.
come in-
I wouldn't do. I've seen people play $50 a bowl.
Oh no, I'm not doing that.
No,
They're hustlers.
Yeah,
You gotta be careful. That's a real thing.
Yeah.
Like the pool sharks are legitimately like.
especially out here.
Oh, they're all assholes. Well,
They're-
I shouldn't say all. Most.
There's a lot of good pool players out here,
There are a ton.
and there's a lot of there's a bunch
a
of
lot of pool
tournaments.
halls out here.
Yeah, there's a bunch of tournaments out here that.
There's a lot.
Yeah,
There's a kickball league.
Is there a kickball league?
There's a
Yeah, I think
kickball
so.
league.
That sounds familiar.
I
I
know.
wanna
I
play.
did.
Let's make a
Just
team.
found out today. We should make a team.
We should
Yeah,
make a team. That'd be fun.
I was
you need to get a new
I was
hip.
watching some
Oh.
clips of it like
You need to
two or
get a
3
new
months
hip.
ago.
No, I'm fine.
No,
I'll
what
be able
about
to-
the other hip?
I'm fine.
What about the other hip?
It's fine.
All right.
With me, I should be able to walk next week on both my legs, and yeah. So
I certainly hope so.
it's
It'd be weird
three-
if you can only walk with
it's
one.
been next week on Wednesday. It'll be 3 weeks.
Really?
Yeah, I haven't put really any weight on my left leg. It's horrible.
Really?
It's the worst feeling.
You
in the
thought
world.
you'd be working out by now.
No, I was going to go back to working out this week. Today, I'm going to go back tomorrow. I'm going to be training my cousin and Brittany. So I'm
So
going
when
to
you
go
get a
back,
phone
but
call
only
early
the
in
upper
morning,
body.
It'll be him.
Only the upper body.
Screaming in pain.
No, just the upper body. So before the show tomorrow, I'll be doing it.
There's a show tomorrow?
Yeah, of course there is. Oh, do we have anybody tomorrow?
No guests tomorrow.
Reach out to some people that we had.
Yeah, I'll get some of the other ex-NFL
See if we
players
can
we
get
had.
somebody
Maybe
on.
some of the repeat ones.
You know who we should reach out to? Who was that guy? Very, very good play-by-play guy.
There are
what's
a
his
lot
name
of them,
again?
but you have to be more. Was it baseball? Was it football?
He was older guy. He's very well known.
Joe Buck.
No, he's very known. He
Dick
was one
Stockton?
of our first.
Dick Stockton?
Yeah, Dick Stockton.
Okay.
Why don't you reach out to
All right.
Dick? Dick loved coming on our
That's
show.
true. He did.
And he's
Yeah.
he's very well known.
Yeah.
Very well known. One of the best
How to put
play-by-play
it into
guys.
context, he's the guy who did the Colton Fisk home run call.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
He loved coming on our show. He had a lot of fun with us.
Mhm.
We never invited him back on the show, and that was like over a
That
year.
was that was one of the first ones we did. And
Year
that
and a
whole
half
wave.
ago.
I think it was him and like who was the?
That's a horrible.
It was a year and a half or 2 years.
That's a terrible.
It
job.
was.
Why
It
would
was
you not bring
probably.
the man
It was.
back?
It was him. Like it was the first week we did it. It was right at the start of the pandemic. It was him, and you had the.
Did we start that? You sure it was the pandemic?
Yeah, it was like right that first week. It was we had the Perry Williams, the Giants corner.
remember that.
Same week, and the guy that ran the Charlotte MLB to Charlotte.
When did the
expansion.
Chicago play-by-play guy? He. I asked the silly
Yes,
question.
I know.
I asked the silly question at the end of the
You
interview.
scared him off.
And I, in the beginning of our interviews, I always asked crazy questions. I would ask like 5 crazy.
I'm dying to know what the question was.
So I asked him. I said, if you were to go out in public,
Oh.
and what was the question, Speedy?
What-
Fully.
What item
You
of
remember.
women's clothing would
Oh,
you wear?
Yeah.
What was it and
Okay.
why?
Yeah.
What
Why
was it
wear
and why?
panties?
Yeah.
Is that what you wanted him to say? Oh,
No,
I
I
wear
wa-
my wife's panties.
I wanted to have some fun with him, and he was
Look.
like, "Thank you, boys, for letting me come on the show. Good luck."
He didn't even answer the question.
No.
No, like he was saying something about a toupee or something like that,
Yeah.
but that wasn't really like that's both gender. That doesn't really count.
He
No,
really-
a toupee is a man's thing.
He really didn't. He really didn't like the question.
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
And we never asked him to come back. He was the only guy really out of all the interviews that really took it to heart. We've asked a lot of crazy questions to these
I'm
guys,
sure you have.
and he was the only one that took it to like the heart. He really was upset about it. I think he was.
I would be too.
Really? You would be upset about that?
I don't know you from a hole.
So what? That's why it's an interview. That's why you have some fun with it.
Right, an interview about me, my family, my profession.
I didn't say anything about his family.
No, but I'm saying like, oh, you married after this game or whatever, blah blah blah, something like that.
I asked him if he was married, right?
Right.
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 I did, and he said he had
that's a normal
kids.
question.
He said he had 2 kids.
No one really asks, hey, if you went out in public, what kind of woman's clothing do you think you'd throw on?
That's what made the question so funny and so
It was,
interesting.
But literally everybody else at least answered it to some extent.
Yeah, everybody answered it except him. He took it to the heart.
Who is this guy?
He's the Chicago Bulls play-by-play announcer.
Play-by-play.
Chuck
And he-
Swirsky.
And he was for Michael Jordan. He was the play-by-play for all those Michael Jordan championships.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here I am talking about the GOAT, and you're asking me about what I wear under my pants. That's great.
Well, we didn't really. I mean, we talked. There was a couple of questions about.
Oh
Michael
yeah,
Jordan.
we did the Last Dance.
Yeah, but we didn't. A lot of it wasn't even Michael
Yeah,
Jordan.
right.
It was
No,
really,
I'm saying I would have asked a ton about Michael Jordan.
yeah, but you know,
But
when
there
you
wasn't much at
yeah,
that time.
There really wasn't, and when that was when the Last Dance
Just started.
just started, and he was very, you know, he knew the whole story behind it and everything. And by the way, Iron Eagle was a part of the Last Dance as well, and he mentioned, there were a couple of play-by-play takes with him, and Iron has been a big part of our network and our shows. So Iron's been on the show 3 times, and he's arguably the best.
Where's Don LeGreca? I want to talk to Don.
I should reach out to Don because Donnie, I haven't gotten Donnie on
I feel
the show.
bad for Don LeGreca.
Why?
Because he should leave that moron's show and have his own.
Well, Don is making a lot of money. He's
I'm
getting
sure.
a lot. He's getting a lot. Why would you leave a show that's paying you 6 digits right now?
Because you don't have to deal with.
He's actually
his
probably
stupidity.
making more than that. I would say he's probably making close to 7 digits. Close. I mean, maybe closer than we think. So
Well,
I like Don LaGreca. He's a good guy.
he's by far the centerpiece of that show.
Oh, absolutely.
Michael Kay doesn't know anything about anything.
Well,
And
Michael
Pete
Kay's the name.
Rosenberg's there for comedy.
Well, he's a name too. You have Rosenberg. He's a name on 97.1. He brings a different following.
Right.
That fans.
Right, the inner city.
Yeah.
Right.
And Donnie is more of the sports guru, the analytic guy. And then there's Michael Kay, who's really just the name. That's it.
He shouldn't even.
He's the
be
voice
there.
of the Yankees, and he's a name.
Wow.
I'm not a big Michael Kay fan either. But you can't take away.
How do you follow? You walk, you talk, you breathe the Yankees 20 years of your life, and yet you know nothing about what's going on in the building.
Well, he also takes shots at the Yankees too.
Oh.
He's when he is a homer sometimes when the Yankees are winning and when the Yankees are losing, he'll point his finger at people that you don't understand why he's pointing the finger to.
That's because he's an idiot.
And Donnie, he grew up a Met fan, a Giant fan. He's a Ranger fan.
Oh, he bashed Daniel Jones.
Well, yeah, but if you ask Don will tell you that Daniel Jones has gotten a lot better. If you listen to what he said the other day about Daniel Jones.
But never mind.
Why?
Never mind. No, I'm so sick of having this conversation.
Why?
Because I'm over.
It's
been 2 weeks already, and I'm just done with having it.
2 weeks? It's 1 week.
It's been 2 weeks.
Of Daniel Jones, we talked 1 week.
We talked about Daniel Jones.
We talk about
Before the
Daniel
season
Jones,
even
but I
started.
stuck up for Daniel Jones in week number 2 because I think week number 1, okay, you want to say it wasn't one of his best games.
What
That's
a
fine.
beautiful pass. What a beautiful pass. What a beautiful pass. What a beautiful pass. What a beautiful pass. Oh, what a beautiful throw. Oh, what a beautiful pass.
If you're not gonna argue the point that Daniel Jones wasn't a top 7 quarterback in week number 2, you're crazy. 'Cause he
Daniel
was.
Jones had
He
the
was.
game of his life.
His game of his life was the 400-yard games in season 1. He was sensational. How many rookie quarterbacks do 400 yards in 4 games in his rookie season? Only 2.
Probably
Only 2.
him and
Breeze, and who's the other one?
Jones?
No, Jones, Breeze, and somebody else.
Matthew
Marino.
Stafford, I think.
No.
It wasn't Marino?
Matt Ryan.
Guess again.
Andrew
Oh,
Luck.
wait, I got this. Joe Montana?
No.
No, they didn't have really 400-yard
No,
games back then.
and he always has Joe Montana questions shoved up his hoo-ha, so I figured maybe he had one more.
Guess again. Guess again. You'll get it. It's not Peyton Manning, so we.
No, he had all those interceptions.
It wasn't
his rookie
Peyton.
year, Yeah.
Is it like an obvious name?
Yes.
Ben Roethlisberger?
No.
Phillip Rivers?
It's not Brady.
Nope. Yes, it is.
It is Brady.
It's Tom Brady.
Oh wow, I wouldn't have thought that.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I didn't
It was
think
Tom
that
Brady. Tom Brady in his rookie season, his full rookie season, he had
2 out of 3 ain't bad.
4 400-yard games in his full rookie season. Not when he came in for Bledsoe.
Where was that?
When he came in for
his second year. In the
yeah,
league.
his full
okay,
rookie
okay.
Hit that out of
Gotcha.
Arizona.
He was a rookie.
Right,
in the second
right.
year.
I was thinking his literal rookie
No.
season. That's why I did
But it was Breeze, Brady, and Daniel Jones.
Wow, see, my next guess would have been Favre.
No, Favre.
One
Favre,
from
his rookie
Favre.
season, he was drafted by Atlanta, wasn't he?
Yeah, but he
sounded
never
best.
played with
Yeah,
Atlanta.
he never played with Atlanta. That's right.
Another great that didn't start right away. Oh, looky.
Oh, Brett Favre.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't start right away.
No,
I don't
He's on
think
the bench.
so. Yeah, I don't
Really?
think so.
because they had
Who started before him?
I don't remember.
he wasn't
I
better
don't,
than
I don't
Brett
remember
Favre.
who the quarterback was, but yeah,
No.
it was a.
They've
It was a guy. Whoever
Chris
they had in the
Redmond?
80s.
Green Bay has had probably the best overall quarterbacks of all time. If you
Oh,
look at it,
right.
if you look
You've
at
got-
we've
We've got 3 of the top 20.
we had Bart Starr,
Right.
then you had Brett Favre, and then you have Aaron Rodgers.
Well, Brett Favre's the best of the 3, so
I don't
Favre would
think
be
so.
1.
I think Aaron
would be-
Rodgers is the best.
You know what? You could make the argument though. Rodgers is 3rd.
Oh, here's the name. Don Majowski.
Mm.
Yeah, 87 and 92, and then Favre took over that season.
Yeah, how'd that work out?
Yeah, he said he sat behind Majowski. I don't
Yeah, I
don't
just
even know.
remember-
I don't even Majkowski. I don't even know who he is.
Yeah, I remember the name. I just couldn't. I remember
I
it now.
have
I know.
no
I know
idea
he
who
played
he
like
is.
mid 80s to 90s. I know
played,
the name
one
now that
did
I
not.
see it, but no.
It's crazy, but it is crazy when you look at the numbers. And Daniel Jones falls only with 2 quarterbacks that've done it. And
2 or 3 are Hall of Famers.
Yep.
That
Yep.
one's him.
Yep. Well, he's not. We don't know what he is yet. We have no idea what he's going to be.
No, we know he's not going to be Tom
He's
Brady.
22 years old, right? He's 22, 23.
Nobody's gonna be Tom Brady.
Nobody thinks he's Tom Brady. Okay, but
He might think he's Tom Brady.
I don't think he thinks
No,
anything
he's
of that.
He's not like overconfident
No.
and cocky about himself.
Absolutely not. I've never seen Daniel Jones go up there and be cocky about himself. He never even pointed his fingers at anybody. He did fight with Kenny Galladay.
But apparently, Kenny Galladay was taking shots at Jason Garrett, not him.
Yeah,
So,
and he was sticking up for Jason Garrett. That's what he was doing, because it wasn't Kenny Galladay was running the wrong routes. In the 4th quarter, Galladay was running the wrong routes, but he blames everybody else.
I could believe that. He's not exactly the brightest.
You know, so he blamed Jason Garrett.
I would too.
Who's also not the brightest either. But
No, nobody
Jason
said that he
Garrett did
was.
coach well, I think, that night.
Yeah, he
though, as
did.
a whole.
Yeah, it did.
Not late in the game. I know people are criticizing late in the game. I understand that, but
No, but
for
that's-
most of the game,
Joe
did
Judge
very
is the
well.
one that makes
Joe
the
Judge didn't
calls
do
at the
well.
end of the-
Right, I agree
at
with
the
that
end of
too.
the game.
No,
with
they
two-
both deserve the fault.
2 minutes and 11 seconds. It goes through Joe Judge. It goes through him, and his play calling with 2:11 left of the game in the 4th quarter was terrible.
Oh, he deserves blame too, for sure.
Terrible, horrendous. So, but again, I like Joe Judge. I think he's going to be. I still think he's going to be a quality coach in this league, and
He is a quality coach.
I think Daniel Jones is a quality quarterback. I just think the Giants need to put the right players around him to succeed, and if they don't, it's going to fail very, very quick. And Gettleman has a lot to be blamed for it too, because
Dave Gettleman's a moron.
because after he traded Odell Beckham, you would have thought that he would bring in a number 1 wide receiver with all those drafts.
Forget a wide receiver. Give us a freaking offensive
They had
line.
a chance to get CeeDee Lamb. They had a chance to get some of these quality
Offensive line.
Yeah, but
It's the first thing he said he'd fix. He still hasn't fixed it. It's 5 years.
Even if you don't want to look at the 2020 draft, look at the 2019 draft with all those receivers that fell late in the first round. I think the only 2 that went were Hollywood Brown and N'Keal Harry. Then you had Metcalf and Brown in the next round. So they could have done something in that direction too, even if they still took an offensive lineman in 2020, because it was a big strength of that draft. They took Thomas, who's probably the worst of the 4, but it's still very good. And so even if they didn't do that, at least take one in the 2nd round or even the 3rd round 2019 is something productive.
Right. Well, that's it for our show, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be back tomorrow. My voice is cracking. I'm gonna take something for my
Oh,
voice.
that's because your brain's cracking.
No, it's actually, I have a cracked voice I got about a year ago. I've taken antibiotics. It's gone away and it's come back. So I'm going to take some hot water and honey, and it helps actually. You know, honey does. It helps. Hot water and honey. It helps. It really it helps the voice box. So we'll see. We'll be back tomorrow. It was a great show. Shout out to Mark Everett Kelly, Jeff for joining us. Jeff for joining us. Shout out to all the fans that listen to us every single week. We really appreciate you guys. Ben, Snug, all you pain in the asses, but I love you guys. Thank you, Carl. Carl, you don't know Carl?
No, I don't know, guys.
All of you guys, thank you for joining us. All the fans that are on all the platforms, that follow us on all the platforms, I thank all of you for putting the time and energy into listening. I think our show was very, very good today. A lot of argumental banter. So we'll be back tomorrow at 9 p.m. Until then, this is Errol Marks, Tyler Harrison, and Speedy Petey saying good night. We'll talk to you then. Good night, everybody.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
Saturday, August 28th, add it to your calendar. The Sports Betting Channel presents To Be Determined. Our new show starts at 8 o'clock out here in San Diego, 11 o'clock in New York, and then we're done just in time for the first game kickoffs for college football. You're going to get 4 totally different slices of sports. Blackhawk West joins us for Saturdays in Canada and some plays for the CFL game. What do you do when the easy sports data is trending in opposite directions? Well, Mo's going to help us decide what to do on Something's Gotta Give. There's also Paulo's plays. Now, if you're not betting soccer, you really should be. And this guy is very, very good. Finally, there's Wake and Bake, where sports betting meets marijuana. Hey, the games start early here in Southern California. Now, 9 o'clock's a lot easier when marijuana is legal. It's like having 4 shows in one. Check it out Saturday, August 28th on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network, on the Belly Up Sports Podcast Network, and on the Sports Betting Channel.